dropping a single hard point last year and only dropping one control.
So they chose tempo over the ideal weaponry that the rest of the world is going with. Have you seen any off metas that could work out here now that we're in the playoff bracket?
You know, what's funny is the one team that was actually going to be correlating that to is OUG. Because when you're looking at a lot of their search and destroy, you're not seeing the traditional double sniper. You're barely even seeing a single.
Take a look at the teams, the three. Tribe is not here, right? So you got Wolves and you've got Elevate. So who has the better chance of going for their second world title? What have you seen from them so far, and what's it going to take to get there, Andy?
I'm going to go ahead and give it to Wolves immediately. I think that they're the team that jumped off the page just instantaneously. Everybody was ready to write them off how late they attended the event. They're missing their star player, SMG, that was in attendance for their entire run thus far. But still, I truly do believe that Wolves are going to be the one to get it done. Their hardpoint yesterday was astounding.
And here's a look back at what happened last time around. Walk me through this one, Shift.
Yeah, we've got opportunity for revenge in a lot of these games simply due to the fact that last year, I'm really looking at Wolves and Gallerus, an immediate matchup between two of the teams that we figured would be kind of at the top of it. They were playing in the Swiss stage when they had played last year. And then, of course, Elevate Street Gaming. That's one that, again, you could start to get back into the mix of, will we actually see those two powerhouse squads have a chance to square up once again and see who really has the edge over one another, as Elevate, of course, did not play in CDM this last year. It's going to be unique to see how these Korean teams really do face up against the Chinese powerhouse.
It was awesome listening to the players at the start of the show. If you guys were tuning in before we kicked off, we did an interview and
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 here at the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships of 2025. I'm Enigma. I'll be one half of the pair that's bringing you all the action across today, alongside my good friend here, Gil. Man, how much are you looking forward to today, especially considering everything we got to see just last night? With all we've seen yesterday.
Asking who is the greatest aimer in the game right now. They said it's a guy from Brazil. 3 different folks said it's going to be Lucas.
Para, qué sé yo, estudiar a Q9, aprender algo y poder sorprendernos el día de hoy, GA.
Bueno, es muy complicado el equipo de Elevate, así, Wolves, Elevate y todos esos son los equipos más fuertes.
Make sure to check us out on socials. That's Instagram, X, and Play Pod Esports. But we've alluded to it a little bit, my friend. We talked a bit about.
There ain't no explaining it. It's just the way I live, and I won't say sorry. Beg your pardon. You don't wanna get me started.
Today, buddy, we had some insane moments. 250-249s, 1v4.
Coming out of day 1 that you think is very important to focus on coming into day 2?
I mean, I like to think the fact that New Gen definitely showed a lot of really, really good gameplay with themselves. So we see there Marvel with Accolade and an extra kill to nearly finish that round. It was really, really impressive to see so many of these players showing the talent that we are already aware of them, but at the same time that not everybody can bring in when it comes down to the final stage.
No, we've seen indeed several players step it up something extra, and we got to tune in with Amigos and S8UL's roster mixing in with Godlike's roster, New Gen Ninjas now that team becoming Wolves and Animus. Unfortunately, we said goodbye to Animus pretty early in this one, and then Amigos at the end here in this dramatic fashion. Viper, no anti-venom to him. He shut everybody down, wiped them off the board, and that sets us up beautifully to the playoff bracket for today. You'll have Elevate alongside Street Gaming up there towards the top. It is going to be the matchup that we see here on B stream. We've got Wolves and Galores that will be over on the A stream. Q9 New Gen Ninjas will also be on A stream today, and Stalwart Esports v OUG will be here on B stream. Looking at all 8 of those teams, all 4 of the games that we've got, we're set up for a beautiful day here in Poland.
We absolutely are. We absolutely are. And in case you want to take a peek onto what the schedule is going to be looking like here on the B stream, well, as you mentioned, we're going to start off things with Elevate going versus Street Gaming. Then we would like to see that STE Stalwart Esports versus OUG. And after that, we'll figure things out.
We certainly will. It'll be obviously winners against winners, losers against losers, and so on and so forth. You're aware of how playoff works at this point. It's a double elimination brackets. You will get second chances. There's no losing to the champions in round 1 and falling early. If you're Wolves, you've plenty of chances to make that dream run and get yourself through. But that's the schedule for today. We know what our first game is going to be here on the B stream. It is going to be the defending champions to kick us off. It is Elevate, a team that stole it last year, the squad that knocked out the defending champions of last year to take the throne. This is, of course, the boys coming out of the Garina region. Chloe, Kendi, Yoppie, PJ, and Susano, coached by Olia. This is a team that, well, quite frankly, my friend, are not struggling with the pressure of being defending champions.
Not at all, not at all. It seems like they knew what people were expecting from them, and they are being able to show us just that. It's sometimes, well, we saw it, for them to be able to be champions, they had to defeat the at the time reigning champions, which was Wolves, as you mentioned. But this time around with this, the double bracket is going to be interesting to see how that plays out as we take a look onto the players. Of course, that's Kendi, Susano, Kalo, PJ, and Yop. And I gotta tell you, man, I was watching the games from yesterday from Elevate. They were not sweating at all. You know, they were just like pretty much a walk in the park for them because of how good of a roster they had managed to build.
Well, one of the conversations is, of course, how good they have been. Would they be the team that we saw last year? There's obviously a lot of growth that goes on through the competitive year with these teams being split off into various regions. But Elevate have come in swinging, showing that the crown is indeed not heavy. Winning yesterday 3-1 VOUG and a 3-0 against Unmythic Dream. It has been pretty straightforward from them. But when you are one of these teams that's coming into this, you know that target's on your back. You know that you're under a lot of pressure. And, well, one of their players actually has a message for everybody else in this competition if they want to steal their crown.
There are no more questions. There are no more doubts. Elevate are the greatest Call of Duty mobile team in the world.
I really don't feel any pressure just because I'm a defending world champion. Like we said, we just enjoy the game, enjoy the moment. Of course, the win matters, the world championship matters, but our coach always tells us to just enjoy the game, enjoy the moment, don't think about anything else. Back to the grand finals, we said that nothing really matters now. I know we're secured, but we want the throne back. We wanted it more than them, and we defeated them with a score of 4-1.
Back, it's going to be a B execution here. FPX gets the first blood. PJ gets the second. Make it a double for the side of Elevate Puck. Susano gets Reap as well. And that's the players of STE here. Trapped here. You go for the strike here on the B side. And it's going to be scored away from the scene as the Elevate Puck are your Arena regional champion.
I'm looking to get my second world championship trophy. If you want the throne that badly, you have to go through us first.
If you want the trophy, you have to go through us first. How many colder words can be spoken going into a world championships, my friend? And these guys are standing tall and very much are making their point of, we're here to be the world's best team yet again. Go back to back. A feat that's achieved by very few in anything, especially not here in Call of Duty Mobile. This is the team that everyone else is looking at. They will have to get through. And this is a team that's ridiculously strong when it comes to their respawns. They're a team that, quite frankly, look untouchable, whether it be hardpoint and control. Why do you think that is with these 5? Is there something about them, whether it be the way they play or individual players, that stands them out from the crowd?
I definitely feel like it's how they play individually. Their micro is just so clean, so good. The way that they always manage to fight till the very end on each and every single hardpoint, for example. They always manage to make sure that what could be scrap time, whenever it comes down to the 15 and below seconds, they fight for it. Even if they don't necessarily jump in, they're just trying to make sure that you don't get to chip away. You know, they're trying to make sure that you're not truly taking those 10 seconds or whatever amount is left, and at the same time they always manage to caught you off guard when you're trying to rotate. It is really, really wild how their individual decision making is done, because at the same time it feels like they are on their own in a sense, but at the same time collectively have a general idea of where they want to be, where they want to go. I would love even to hear what the comms sound like for this team, because it is really, really wild how they manage to control pretty much the entirety of the map at the time.
They do, indeed. It's fantastic thing to watch. Phenomenal, really, to see how much they control that chaos, deal with the pressure. They've no problems in doing so, and a very strong team unit. And if you are going to go through them, you're going to have to be pretty much perfect. And the team on our screen now is Street Gaming. These gentlemen coming out of Brazil, and they have shown a few things at this tournament that have raised a couple of eyebrows. This is, of course, GTO, Maggie, Chaotic, B1 Godera, and Pabzera coming in to this lineup. We'll get to that pretty soon. But yeah, coming in, you're playing as this third seed, and you're kind of in a situation where maybe a couple of other teams aren't seeing you as a threat. The fact that you've stood up and gotten to playoffs pretty smoothly, losing only to Stalwart in the group stages, shows that actually this team are here to play. They are here to be counted. And it is a case of them where they are overcoming this seed situation so well. We mentioned it there, third seed out of Brazil. They did not care yesterday. They marched through TLE not once, but twice. 3-1, 3-0. Looking incredibly impressive. They do take a map as well from Stalwart, one of the best teams, of course, in the world, coming out of that Garena region where they have to consistently play against the likes of Elevate. So this squad, very impressive. It looks like a team that could do a bit of a run. However, if you are going to start that run, Elevate is a hell of a way to try and get things started, for sure. This Pabzera transfer, he comes in, Zeus going the other way off to Glorious. Was that something that surprised you at the time?
He definitely did. He definitely did. Because I wasn't sure whatsoever who would benefit the most. You know, it was an internal decision, of course, but to flip those two in particular, Pabzera and Zeus, it was really, really interesting to see how everything played out for them. It seems like both of them have really made sure that they have gotten used to their own respective teams. And in here, well, Pabzera is already an amazing player, so adding it into the roster, I feel like in a sense was really a good catch for the side of Street Gaming. And as you mentioned, it showed off. It paid off heavily. They were managing to fight against the current champions, sorry, not the current champions, but the second seeded team for Garena. And at the same time, they dominated in a sense that 3-1, 3-0 against TLE, the best team in NA for now. It was really good to see them play. Pabzera definitely doing his job, making sure that the transfer was good, but everybody else also doing a phenomenal job as a team.
Yeah, 100%. They look beautiful. Pabzera, of course, that superstar sniper coming in and having an instant impact. And if you are going to have an instant impact, if you're going to elevate your game and your strategy enough to take on Elevate, well, you're going to have a fantastic brain behind the scenes. And what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is an interview with their coach to break it all down.
Back here in the pit with Street Gaming's GLDA. Coach, you had a very intense day number one. You started it off with your match one with TLE. You weren't too happy about it with the control. But one thing that stood out to me, in the possible elimination match, your control raid. You played it again. What made you want to play it again up against TLE?
Like, because we know we can be aggressive like on them, so it's not a problem for us. Like, we lose the map, we just burn the map, so we just fix some things and we can play again.
It looks like that you know how to adjust, even though it's a chaotic environment. Today's going to be even more chaotic as you're going up against the previous 2024 champs. How have you prepared your team to go up against the boys of Garena?
So, like, against Elevate, we need to prepare to hold their push. We know that they are really aggressive, so that's the goal here.
All right, let's see. Good luck, my dude. We still have a lot of matches today. We'll see you.
Lovely looking at how they're planning for this. You know that Elevate are going to be very aggressive. You know that they're going to push full front onto you, and you're looking to hold against that, set up defensively. So what that says to me is when we come into the hard point, rotate early, aim to put the factors on your side of trying to set yourself up in the best positions to defend from that onslaught. Love what they're saying as well about VOD review. They adjust into things very well. They'll have gone back to the hotel last night, sat down and done the homework, the hard yards to give themselves a great chance in this series. That being said, if you are going to take on Elevate, you need to do it across our 5 maps. It's going to be starting us off on Hacienda. We're back here again, my friend. That is to standoff S&D, a crossfire control, and should we get there, the slums for map 4 and firing range for map 5. Anything picks and bans that you're looking at and thinking that could sway us here?
I find it really, really interesting how often we've gotten to see that Hacienda hardpoint for the first map. And I gotta say, I do like it. I feel like that is definitely going to bring in a lot of opportunity for Amigos in particular to show us exactly how well they have prepared against Elevate. More in particular, because it's, in comparison to a lot of others, a map that has a lot of room, a lot of space for these players to try to capitalize on different things, a few details. It brings in a really, really good chance for the side of Street to show us, like they were mentioning, how well they prepared for the hyper aggression that Elevate has gotten us so used to.
Yeah, no, Hacienda is a map that Street do like playing on typically, and if you are going to try and bring that straight into the map pool at the start here, you've got to be well prepared, right? We've seen this several times through yesterday. P1 is going to be a bloodbath. We know that sits in the center of the map, and everyone just fights for top halls control. It's rotating in early for P2. It's playing in for the back of Lambo, rotating in early for your P3. Over Rockside, that's a mess. Everyone's just going to launch grenades on top of that, pop a couple of operators, and we're going to get to enjoy a hell of a bloodbath over there. But yeah, it's that P2, P3. I think that's where Street need to set up to play defensively, as they were talking about in that interview. But of course, Elevate, arguably the best hardpoint team in the world. In terms of respawns in general, very few come close to laying a glove on them. So they'll be feeling comfortable regardless of the map, regardless of how much the opposing team has prepared, defending champions for a reason. And their message was, if you want our throne, you will have to go through us. And when they will go through them is in a minute, because we're going to reset the lobby and sort a couple of things out. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep on yapping up here until we are all sorted. Moving beyond this map 1, I guess then, my friend, and talking a little bit about what there is through the rest of the series. Of course, if Street do like this map 1 and somehow nick it away, well, actually, the one thing that Elevate have wobbled with is search and destroy. So there is a situation where, although Street aren't necessarily amazing at search and destroy, it's a case of, could you put yourself in that spot to maybe have done the research, find the chinks in the armor that exist in that mode, and put yourself up 2-0? That then puts a whole lot of pressure onto Elevate's back.
That would be wild. That would be wild to see. But at the same time, we were talking about it. Papsera, a great addition for the side of Street. And his long distance control is definitely going to have to come in play when it comes down to standoff. It was actually a map that was picked by Street, so it makes a whole lot of sense. It's going to bring in the opportunity for Papsera to shine, to make sure that those early picks are there, and to allow the team to, well, capitalize as best as possible on those early things. I feel like it's really, really important with such a aggressive team as Elevate is for you to be fast. You need to be quick.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you are positioning yourself right, that you are well prepared for what they're going to be doing, because they are pretty much like a Goliath. They may not necessarily be the fastest, but they certainly are the strongest.
Oh, most certainly. We saw this yesterday a little bit. We saw, for example, there were moments where Animus did the right thing, but Wolves were so quick to adjust, to make those movements around the map and counter what was coming their way, that even though Animus had made the right decision, that window closed before they could even execute it. And that could be one of those situations here. All the preparation in the world is wonderful, but you still got to go out there and play. It's not done in just VOD review. It's done out here on land, on the stage, in the map. So for Street, there's a lot to kind of figure out as you go here. Have they upset a couple of seed positions? Sure. But this is the biggest task they may well face all weekend. For Elevate, I guess the conversation is the pressure that they consistently are having to deal with here. It can burst pipes, but it can mold diamonds, and they seem to shine ever more every time we see them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that's the biggest thing. Even under pressure, they seem to get more and more thrilled to do what they do best, which is just dominate. And it's not something that every team can do. We were talking about it yesterday with Animus, the fact that whenever they start making mistakes or whenever they start to feel the pressure, their gameplay tends to lower in a bit, but it's the complete opposite end of the spectrum for Elevate. As we go straight onto game number 1, we were talking about it. This is Hardpoint on Hacienda. And as we start, the initial few seconds are going to be here for Elevate. Really intrigued to see what Street has to bring into the table.
Yeah, this P1 as we're seeing players down, but it's about making early statements, and Street with 4 kills in the feed there. Unanswered is a good way to make noise about how much you intend to fight for every inch of this map. 30 seconds left of P1. Start to look in the next 10 for players rotating in. It's a weird split spawn that comes in through Street, actually, that will still hand them lobby control, so they can set up to defend. And as per the interview, we know that that is what they want to do. 15 left on the clock, so start to keep an eye on those arrows rotating over, getting themselves set up for Lambo. But honestly, off the P1, Street, they're in the lead. It's slender, but it's there.
Yeah, no, and I mean, the amount of kills, for example, right there, Kiyot is getting on top of that, the Pred missile from up above will allow not only to potentially get a kill, but also get the information. It's so important to take as much intel as you can from there, and I feel like that's going to be huge, as Street Gaming are actually going to be slightly late to the party. There is Maggie trying to get inside, gets a kill, but going to get executed himself. The remaining of the Street gang are trying to get inside, but, well, there you have it. It's quite hard when you're facing Elevate.
It is indeed. GTO is going to pop up from the waters, finds 2, does a great job. They're going to be traded out instantly by Susano. Kendi's going to be there for backup as well. Chaotic tries to fight this and will find himself cut down from a heady. You do have the backside if you're Street, and a player actually spawns out the front and wins the fight, so this will set you up for a pinch situation. PJ's going to do his very best to stay alive with the tempers. Finds 2. Susano's there for another. PJ doing great work around the point to keep himself alive and provide assists to the teammates. He started off with 11 in less than 1.5 hills. An incredible beginning here. Street Gaming, they are here to fight, but when a man starts like that, it's very difficult to counter.
It definitely is, and even more so when you have a War Machine into the mix, is really tough to get through. In here, Candy already with the double digits will get the last few seconds, 52 to 25. A really good way to start the game for the side of Elevate. This time around, though, it is Street Gaming with a super clean rotation, and they are the ones who have to build in a wall to make sure that they can't get through. That's a double kill there for GTO using the Tempest. That's the third and the fourth one, just like that. On top of it, there's going to be the War Machine coming down from Kiyada. No one from Elevate was able to get through. Finally, there is the Sparrow to break through the enemy lines, but even in here, Street Gaming are showing really good potential against the reigning champions.
Yeah, they're certainly giving as good as they're getting. Maggie's going to pop the equalizer, slip in through 10, reach the spawn. Susano will be first victim. You know that the enemies are going to be on the point. Your teammates are clearing out from the opposite side. However, it's countered quickly. PJ with 2, Chloe with 1. Pabzero will answer with a grenade. Still just going to go back and forth here. 10 seconds left. So who begins the rotation on towards Rock after 3 hills? Very little to split these two teams. And Street, they're on the rotation, but it's going to be matched. Elevate already have 3 bodies over here. Controlling middle of the map, very important. That's what Maggie's going to try and do.
So far in here, I really like the fact that Street Gaming has not made themselves feel small. You know, they're making sure that even in the individual gunfights, they're taking so much value off of this situation.
Oh my God.
What happened?
Chloe just turned and burned and won a fight that he should never have won. We get that free cam coming in from the Observer, and GTO's not going to want to watch that one back. 3 around the point to hand it to Elevate. PJ's got himself another Tempest. There's the second with it, and the third will finally be cut, but will be numbers to reinforce this point. That being said, Chaotic's having his own moment around the point. That's 4. Pabzero with another. GTO wipes the board. There will be close spawns for Elevate. This is one of those hills. You get yourself immediately back into the thick of things, and as the paper planes go up over the top, Elevate will look to the skies and start to cut down the players in front of them.
And right now, there's only about 20 points in between one another. The last few scrap seconds will potentially go in favor of Elevate, but the fight continues. Already see PJ with 22 kills, but he's not the only one doing a phenomenal job when it comes down to obliterating the opponents. Now Beagle there making a 40, and here gonna find a triple kill now, a fourth one. Well, job done there by Beagle there, but the
And I'm not talking about the substitute for Wolf top the game. D1 still open and active for Galvez, and they're some moments here when Galvez can probably set themselves up for success as we move to the rest of this rotation. Demons from China.
By Beagle there, but the fight just continues. It's just so much chaos, and that begins to show more and more of the
but the setup is the most important part. They're shutting down any sort of opportunities that Wolves were once looking for, and they just have to meet them at the gates now. More operators ready for
Wolves 2 as the Galleries try to defend. Roughly a 30-point game. Death Machine out first for Mihawk. King calling in a Pred Missile to try to slow this down. He finds Zeus with it. But now Mihawk has to go quickly, trying to clear up the north side of this P2 hard point. Able to find the first. Response from Zai on the other side, trying to win the spawns, and that's a huge win. Opportunity for Wolves to flip and get over the 200-point mark.
And now this is going to be the flip and revert of the pressure, isn't it? Where Galleries wanted to play mostly for the P2 spawns. They didn't contest much of the P1 time, and then the operators get pulled. It goes in Wolves' favors. Now they can have the opportunity to run away with it. The back spawn still there for Galleries. Able to work their way back in towards the current time, and there's still 30 left to play.
Huge moment here for Galleries. They have a Tempest available, and they're going to pop it. But Zai holds it down from inside the hill. That could possibly grow this lead to insurmountable outcomes as Galleries are still spawning behind. Win now taking that position from the front. Trying to hold this was King, but he gets shut down off of his operator. And look at the spawns. Galleries will find themselves spawning right on top of the new hard point. An opportunity to bring this thing back.
Old man Ratai has an EMP. Zai rips his first. This could be the snowball to encapsulate the last 25 for Wolves to finally put Galleries to rest.
EMP is out, but Wolves are a long way away from seeing this hard point. Pred Missile finds one in the back. Backing up to deal with that as Lucazin. Sees his teammate spawn near him, but now you've got Wolves from the front. Oh my goodness, Head finds two off screen. Just hanging in a corner. Foki now has the opportunity to pull equalizers to bring this back, and he sees the window to hit the triggers at the perfect moment. Galleries looking good to get past 200.
Holding off two different EMPs between Zai and King, and they're still able to anchor the spawns. They're still able to get their operators afoot and keep this in their favor. Still 25 seconds left to play for here on P4, and Galleries would do well to soak up the rest of it. Zai around the back with the Death Machine. It's a bullet hose. He sees one spawn right in front of him, deals with it in kind. Wolves have flipped the point.
Wolves cannot win here. They will get damn close. What do we have available? Nada. Absolutely nothing. This is just raw vanilla COD Mobile. Heading over to P4. King has earned himself back that operator that was initially shut down before. I think he can even take a shot with it. But Galleries are late to the party before the hard point opens.
War Machine to start things off here for Sounds. Trophy system not in play to stop that initially. So
wow.
P4 Wolves, they're going to be able to use the operators snowball back in towards their favor. They'll close out map number 1, but scary and humbling, I would say, for the Wolves team.
Unbelievable start. We got a little late coffee delivery, but I don't know if we need it.
Yep, no, I'm good now.
My goodness. This is about to be an epic clash.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, again, just if you're joining us late or if you were just, getting the sleepy dust out of your eyes, Bobby, looking at you, brother. This is a map series layout that really does set up for what could be an instant classic. You've got two hardpoint maps that both teams either would love to see or don't see often. And a search and destroy map pool that has us sitting, could go either way. And I'll tell you what, I think that the opening of this, the first 2.5 rotations where it's just you take 30, we take 30, we're contesting evenly. It's just a back and forth game of tug of war. I think that's going to be the sentiment around this entire best of 5.
Can't see it going any other way, man. Again, just the explosivity that came out from Gallerus, specifically from Mihawk. I mean, I go back to last year and I think about how active he was during the R9O meta. And we're seeing it now, especially playing off of the back end of Lucasson, just leading the lobby as far as eliminations is concerned. Just got a little away from them there at the end where the death machine gets pulled, one route just gets completely extracted for Wolves. Find those couple of spawn kills, and I mean, once you end up getting those 2 EMPs and can't really do much to contest the back 20 over on P2, there's only so much you can ask for. But 45 and 43 from Sounds, he would be the in-game MVP for Wolves. But Zai, from that poll that we saw there at the end from the Death Machine, 56 and 37. Look at everybody just sharing in the limelight as far as the OBJ time is concerned.
Yeah, let's go, dude. I'm so here for this. Yep. And I think the thing about this matchup, and, you know, I would have to have a feeling that those that are very, very passionate COD Mobile competitive followers, you look at just how this year has played out, and you look at what Wolves has done from start to finish in China, dominating in the respawn. And they only dropped 2 hardpoint maps across some of the best teams in the world over the course of about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Gallerus yesterday did not show us, I think, enough against Q9 to make us believe that they could hang with the other teams from China, whether that's Wolves or maybe even OUG.
Sure.
That's a statement.
Yes, it is.
That's massive, I think, for Gallerus. You can come and say, all right, you know, we dropped it. That was their map pick. We're hanging.
Yeah.
Let's come back, keep that same energy, and slap them in the face here in the circuit.
You know who shares that sentiment with you? Gallerus, because they were not very happy with how that series versus Q9 went yesterday. I caught up with them in the player lounge, and I was asking, I was like, what ended up happening? Because the scoreline was just completely out of this world, and not something that I would expect, especially playing Hardpoint versus Q9,
or that
known search and destroy entity coming out from the Chinese region. So I think it is extremely, it's a massive statement. Let's just put it that way for Gallerus, that they are here to play. But now the road continues to become a little more windy. Let's just put it that way. Firing range yesterday for Wolves. Search and destroy was the only map 2 they played. They lost a total of 5 rounds in between New Gen Ninjas and Animus, which is quite boasting if you're thinking about it from the New Gen perspective.
For that. I think the other thing, too, here is just kind of looking over these map picks and bans, which I know it's early. We're digging into the nitty gritty. I know there's a couple of you nerds that are awake, ready to hear this information.
It's
us. It is us. Wolves, Q9, when they play this map, they play it in a way that is very uniquely different than I think a lot of other teams internationally, because it's, I hate to make this sound so like oversimplified, but it's very predictable how they play it. Smoke over the, like from the offensive side, smoke over the top, flash into the smoke, run up, plant, play a 5v5 post plant at worst.
Yeah.
As much as we often look at, you know, China for their sniper rifle presence in search, that's not really what Wolves have trusted, and it's hurt them in the past. But I think them playing that style versus Gallerus could really work out for them, especially with King in the roster instead of Ryze.
Yeah, playing fundamentally sound, I think, has always led them to find success on the international stage, especially when it comes down to series like this. Even last year in the map number 2, I believe, is the one that they ended up taking off of Gallerus in the group stage. But we'll have to see. Just a little while longer to see those setups for Wolves that Alan was talking about. It is Gallerus on the offense first, as ceremonious as ever. Get some nades over the top and just post up in wood.
Yeah, the smoke, though, for the offense at A is a little short. Didn't take enough club to get into the backside of A. Snipe, though, lands for King, and that's another thing you want to talk about. Again, he's a world champion, and a lot of the conversation surrounding him was that when he pulls out a scope, he's usually good for at least one. And Wolves have started off this firing range flawlessly as Gallerus are blown out of round 1.
A double sniper just immediately stopped right in its tracks. If you get those nades and those stuns right over the top, the nade did connect to the player that was outside of American. I don't remember who it was for Wolves, but again, Gallerus just kind of posts up inside of wood. It is as firing range opener as you could possibly imagine. And the Wolves just completely run them over. So any immediate adjustments that can come through the nades this time around, Alan, they reach all the back. There is a trophy system back trailer, but Gallerus are taking a lot more space quickly.
Smoke this time, still a little bit short of that A site, so it looks like Gallerus want to try to play this in the middle of the map and over towards 10. King still alive and kicking, able to get back towards safety. He's got wind right next to him. But the biggest issue here, and you could see it, King knows the bomb's down inside a trailer, so these smoke attempts to try to block off the mid-cross and dive into 10 has not really worked out all that well.
How do you try to retake this?
I have no clue.
This is exactly what you do. You leave one player of Lucasson. He's playing inside of the showers. Just maybe if anybody overextends, but like you said, the information is mutual. That bomb is dropped inside of trailer. So now you have to use the last 60 seconds to clear all of B through tires. One player overextends first. Nobody near for a trade. We're still clearing B, but we got to recover the bomb.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, but that three-man swing needed to move together, and they needed to move quickly to try to get a 1v3 situation.
Yeah, isolate one of the targets and at least walk away with the trade.
Well, a look for Lucasine over towards the trailer. He's not going to get anything. Or
elbows.
How?
Elbows poking.
That's a mistake. You've got a crossfire set up in the bomb in front of you, and the substitute in makes a critical misstep. Now Wolves trying to play this over towards the obstacle course, and that'll work.
And you can just shut it down. Yeah, hey, what a nice little slide job for 3, sure. Yeah, critical errors be damned. Everything gets nullified when Win slides over by the training dummies. So I'm stuffed immediately. 4 Galerists who've had really struggled to try to get the bomb anywhere near this A bomb site. So they're going to take a pivot. They're going to take this fast hit over towards B all the way through jungle. Now, the player that is here with Sounds, he's got the Odin trying to play for the 1-for-1, but he's hearing all his info.
Yeah, and King's able to connect down to the opener. So now Wolves will get full clearance through mid, toss a couple of nades to slow down this hit for Galerists around tires. Yeah, they're realizing that they're stuck right now. You're going to have to hope that you find another trade pick just for someone over peaking, but Wolves have everything they could possibly want to defend this B site.
Can't really get a rotation out for free either. If they get any sort of hint that they're trying to leave past jungle, which is IC's afoot, could end up being the challenge here momentarily. But like you said, every single scope, Iron's being held for this cross. Here comes to crawl forward, trying to stretch. Yeah, he's going to be able to get it. He can hear the audio cue. It's the call for Sounds to slide forward, get the elimination. Wonderfully executed for Wolves. So patient.
That's a little bit of a mistake right there for Galerists. The stretch is just long enough, but we're not covering fully because mostly you just don't know where Wolves are, so you have to watch everything all at once. And in that sound cue moment, Wolves are able to convert, and likely that means that they will cruise their way to a very quick 3-0 edge. Unless something crazy happens, and, well, doesn't look likely.
Yeah, no, the PKM comes in for a little wall spam. Lucasin's going to find a consolation kill, and well, it's just up to Hen. He's got the Odin. Kid is cracked, but in a 1v4 sub 30 seconds, he's trying to get an isolated shell over by tires. He will die, but yeah, just struggling to try to get the bomb fully executed over towards the bomb plant. I mean, that was probably the best look to potentially do it. Like you were saying, if you're going to go for that stretch, you best hope for that slide shot that's going to be coming through from a 2-tap Odin. You better be able to get that elimination before your bomb planter dies. So 3-0 lead here for Wolves. Galerists gonna throw out these smokes right over the top of A. It looks like a little bit of a lurk to see if they can catch anybody overextending, trying to cause considerable doubt for the Wolves camp.
Different setup here for the offense as well. You've got the one same smoke over towards the cross at mid on the mid barrels, but not the same smoke behind A. Nade over the top at B does not land, but it was also not denied by a trophy. Problem is, all of that focus that Galerists had spent at mid, Wolves say, you're not going to challenge us, we'll challenge you. And Zai gets a first blood and slows down Galerists a touch, but a follow-up kill does get connected by the Latin Americans, and this is just 1v1s all over the map.
Yeah, it's like I was saying at the top of the round. That's the setup. They just wanted to bait all of Wolves to think that they were still trying to slow execute over towards B. Sounds puts himself on the backside of the B bomb site, and they were hoping for the overextension to come through in trailer, which it does. So 3v2. Numbers here for Galerists, but better be quick to pick up this flank. It's a massive 1v1 if Sounds can pick it up.
He's able to connect. King setting up the pitch.
All right.
Perfect. Just down to one, and whoa, Mihawk has found himself some isolation. Now to the 1v1, and you know exactly where the last player is! Oh. What a set of shots from Mihawk! A huge lifeline to get Galerists on the board.
Chow just came flying out like a wombat. I was able to lock him down. Odin versus the SMG, the VMP, and walk away with the elimination. That could have got dirty very, very quickly. But finally, Galerists, they break through the mold. They get on the board. Going to be any signs of light would be nice. Smoke right in front of wood. And it seems like Galerists are trying to double dip from the previous strategy, but this time they are sending 2 players to throw considerable utility over towards the B site now, Alan, to try to see if they can catch anybody overextending on that side of the map. But Wolves, they're going to adapt and learn what really came back to bite them in the previous round. Not going to give them an inch.
Different smoke setup again, though. Has Q9, pardon me, Q9. Wow, it's early. Wolves looking a little bit differently on their defense. Trophy Systems have the member in A feeling comfortable, though. And yeah, Wolves have made the right call in terms of how they're leaning this defense, playing more of a reactionary retake around B unless they can hear a sound cue. So yeah, I should be on Lucas if this is going to be a commitment over to B because he's going to have to hit a shot.
Zeus is into the side with a Type 6-3, hoping to get that single tap fire. Here's the cross to try to help yet. Peg's going to get damaged. He should be dead. That's what you needed a few rounds ago. Post-plant 4v4.
Is there going to be a long flank on the way from Wind? No. Instead, he's going to try to reinforce from the front. He's actually making sure there's no one lurking. So this is all about what these three Wolves members can do from the front. Good tags come through, but not able to connect as sounds for the final shot needed. Time ticking, 23 seconds of the clock. Trade still occurring. Wolves have numbers. Can Win get into the mix, though? No, shut down. And how about it? It's just down to Zai. 1v2 situation. As Foki's trying to dance, trying to play the clock, trying to use his best possible ally, but misses the first 1v1, and Wolves have plenty of time to defuse.
Ample time to try to do it. Yeah, they wonderfully retook there from Wolves just to try to isolate the player off of Peg's information from the PKM swing over by tires, where the location was set up. Also just the knowledge to understand where the Odin spam can come through. You get the information in the tags. You know he's not lurking inside of the cubby anymore, so it mostly has to be onto the backside of the B bomb site, where they were down in numbers. They were never down in moral, I'll tell you that much. Wolves, wonderful retake. And their lead is back to 3.
Huge nade spam here for Gallerus over the top at A. This is another unique look for them. Problem is, there has been a response for everything from Wolves. And now you've got an aggressive play from Sounds also coming around the back. So even though Lucasen is able to find 2, he is isolated and needs to continue to hit if there's going to be a chance at recovering this bomb and even finding any sort of success in the round. And as he loses Zeus, there's nowhere for Lucasen to go. A convincing 5-1 half for Wolves.
That's not looking too good. Again, I mean, when you're spending the opening 3 rounds to try to get the bomb over towards A by any means necessary, that the only round that you find is because Wolves got a little bit too antsy to try to go for the gunfights and almost just silver-plated their way towards giving that Gallerus that first round. Zai through wood. Great centering, knew exactly where Zeus is going to be located at.
This feels like the search and destroy from Wolves from a couple of years ago.
Yes, it does.
But Gallerus, what? Pardon me? That's a shotgun, by the way.
It's lucky.
Whoosh. So now you're down to a 1v3. Pardon the early morning pop-off, but that just blew my mind. And Peg almost does the same. But Gallerus' numbers and aggression works out for their second round.
Yeah. Wonderfully done there for Mihawk again. I'm going to keep shouting about it. He was the R9-0 player for this team last season. A real impactful player when it came down to these explosive moments. We saw it on offense. He makes the green light happen himself just to take that shell. And he walks away with a handful of eliminations, getting numbers for Gallerus. Zeus can't get first blood this time around. Aware of it, he gets the nade. He wasn't expecting Wind to be there, but he'll take the kill.
Couple attacks towards King actually push him off top wood. Then that mid smoke is from the defense. This is, again, going to have Wolves playing patient, making sure no one's doing what Gallerus did last time, which was push up and get into wood. So do Wolves have a protocol built to re-clear, or do they just avoid it completely and try to take numbers? Yeah, down A. Trophy Systems are more for trailer than they are the A sites. Those nades will clear off that back barrel. And you still have King watching across as the defense tries to manipulate their positioning.
PKM shots through the smoke, just hoping to catch any sort of tags through American. All the players here for Gallerus that are still alive are just barreling their way inside a trailer, and it's in towards the bolt hose that's being set up by Wolves. But they still find the trade 2v2.
Good patience from Wolves. King still trying to see if he can catch any information. He does see a member just outside the trailer window. How do you try to isolate to get this 2v1 situation? Spam shots is the call for it. And it does look like that member of Mihawk was hit by that. So again, extra confirmation, and this is an interesting call. You've got mid-map open. You're trying to keep focus on Zai, and now you have a 1v1 over the top, which Zai does not need the help. 6-2 the count.
That's a little bit of an egregious challenge in my opinion. Either with the bomb being planted, play the corners, play for trailer, because you do with the time being whittled down. There's realistically only one bomb site that they could potentially find, but maybe some nerves coming through, not knowing where King was located at. Gives Zai the 11th kill. And now up to map point for Wolves to take a 2-0 lead.
Quickly, 2 out that. Peg gets caught. Sounds response. Again, lots of early action through the middle of the map, and the one player who has snuck through is Mihawk for now, but he's on an island, and he will get punished. So again, Wolves, really good corrections, understanding what Gallerus are trying to do in this defense, and the Brazilians are split now as we go into the 2v2.
Zeus, Lucasen gonna almost combine forces here around 10. Right, here we go. Retake. Double sniper over towards B just to get here before the space is taken away. And what a read and what an angle being held now 1v1.
Zai on one side, Zeus on the other. Both players see each other, and Zai hits the dirt, doesn't miss a shot, and now Wolves find themselves up comfortably 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I'd say comfortably, because again, you go through, they only lost 5 rounds on firing range yesterday versus both Animus and New Gen Ninjas, and they'll continue on such a streak here with a 7-2 win versus Gallerus. But it's mostly just the offensive rounds. I mean, Gallerus just really struggling to try to find their way forward, and even on the defensive side, just trying to brute force their way through a lot of these different spaces to be able to find positional advantage any way they could possibly do. All of Wolves were just utterly prepared through all of their understanding of playing this time and time again in their own region. Spam shots, nades, get the information, deny the space to go forward. And Gallerus, I mean, they just completely lost themselves every single time they were losing members in the first blood. Foki finishes on the goose egg, doesn't exactly help things out, but I mean, this is as fundamentally sound of a firing range search and destroy out of Wolves as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and just to kind of reflect on to yesterday, the search and destroy for Gallerus against Q9 was not great. A 1-7 tally when they played Kurahana.
Correct.
That, I believe, was their veto today. But it's just tough to go up against a region that plays way more search and destroy than any other, and has the flexibility to move between maps.
Yep.
And yes, again, the big storyline when you look at kind of the setup into today is that, yeah, in the region and in CDM, Wolves were not a great search and destroy team, but they're still coming out of the best search and destroy region. And look at the new guy in 6-4 from King with a couple of pivotal snipes, but everyone's, you know, we heard it again at the top of the show. They're labeled GOAT of COD Mobile right now. Zai gets 15.
Yeah. And he also had an amazing performance there in that map, number 1 at Combine as well. Very impactful player is Zai. Put him in the clutch. He will try to turn it into something. Yeah, the new guy, King, doing well, 6-4. They've been doing it for quite some time, man. Wonderful snipes coming out from him. And just overall, just good cohesion, I would say that much out of Wolves. I mean, the ebb and flow that they're able to find on a map like Firing Range to understand when Mihawk is trying to hit these flanks, get these timings for themselves. It's not just one player trying to deal with it. You can actually see the full-fledged force. So that adaptation will lead them to a 2-0 lead in the series, which is not a good sign for Gallerus,
no.
Especially as we are setting ourselves up for the crossfire control. And you're back to scratching your brain here, Alan. How do we get here?
Mistakes.
Oh, okay.
It's just like it's always a tough conversation because on one foot you're sitting there saying there's a lot of VOD on Wolves playing this map if you've done your homework, which we know that Gallerus is going to sit down and do their homework. It just feels like such a miss when takeoff is right there for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Wolves are not bad at any control map, but they beat the absolute chimneys off of teams when they play Crossfire.
Yesterday versus New Gen Ninjas, it only went round 5 in both of their control maps.
And they were down 0-2 in that. They just,
exactly.
That turned up.
And then immediately flipped the pressure for a reverse 3-0 in the control. Like, this is just the respawn demons that you're going to be expecting from the Chinese region out of Wolves. So they're explosive, but they work really well together, and their team shots are absolutely fantastic. Not to mention the operator uses that we got from that map number 1, if you want to add something else.
Yeah, I also just feel like comparing Takeoff to Crossfire, you want a map where Foki and Mihawk can be a little bit more free.
Sure.
I just don't feel like you get that in Crossfire.
No.
Like, especially I'm thinking about that from the offensive side. To even get across the middle of the map is difficult in the first place. But then even when you do get either towards that cafe area on the right side of the map from the offensive side or up towards kind of that broken building, you're stuck there. Like, that's it. Like, you're playing your life in that environment, and it just doesn't really feel like you're able to really rely on the same kind of pressure that you would get from Lucas on a map like Takeoff. So I hate to make it sound like, you know, give your best player the ball. but give your best player the ball when he's putting up, 46 points a game.
You give Curry the rock.
And 10 assists with 13 rebounds.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting, too, because Crossfire, as the maps that we do have in the control mode, is the least offensive converted map, hands down. It's over there, the bus stop, like you were talking about, over by Cafe, just trying to get an SMG in that position to maintain life advantage just across the map. We'll have to see if any of these two teams can crack the code. Wolves on offense first.
Yep, good smoke in the middle of the map. Has Wolves already kind of stretching across. Mihawk, whoa, he's able to kind of use the Spidey sense to turn and find one. That clears off any potential threat towards the B zone, but Wolves have stopped some spawn pressure and still have a couple of members alive over towards the A side of the map. That first tick of progress looking pretty good for now. And it will lock. So this little double setup, it's a bit odd to see because you've got defensive players around the area of the zone, but they don't find the angles, and that's going to be 60 seconds for free.
Double HSO shotgun, really powerful stuff if you're able to work in tandem with one another. Two trades do come through for Gallerus. That's extra 60 seconds, but about to be coming their way. You don't want to be throwing away more lives as you try to contest this.
You need to get forward beyond this B point, so you cannot just allow Wolves to be hanging around over towards now the prior captured A zone. Nade drops on in. I think King is aware that there is a player nearby. It's Mihawk. Can't get the better of him. Zai trying to do some paper mache wall working. Not going to work out as Gallerus will respond nicely and now build a bit of a life lead as they move back up across the back.
17v15 now, able to nullify that life disadvantage. And there's that space that you wanted on, provided over by the already captured A control zone. Mihawk's going to be the player to try to take more space away, but egregiously will get taken down. So Wolves gonna start working through this map, the already captured A zone. The smoke comes through to try to cover their cross to get inside a deli where Zeus is already located at.
And watch the playthrough broken here. They have an opportunity to move up and really funnel this defense across and around the top side of the map, which is not what you want to try to defend this zone. 11 plays 8. Wolves have been clean in this next set of lives, and now they get forward in towards the bus stop and beyond it. The scaling deep is not what you want to see if you're a Gallerus fan. Uh-oh, not good. Lucas does connect onto 2. That keeps safe the play on the back side of the zone, but only down to 4 lives. They have to be perfect.
Well, I mean, plenty of time to play TDM here, Alan. Zeus, Lucasen, going to be able to find a couple of kills. Now no response remaining for Wolves. The trade department, and even soon afterwards, that much better for Gallerus. They're holding on.
4v4. And Sparrow could be just outlasted if Wolves get a read and wait, but wow, a huge threading of the needle up top. Not going to get the next, but it was close. 2v4. King, Scope, Tempest at the ready. Need to connect somewhere first, though.
And you'd like to imagine you're going to hold on to this going in towards the next one. 20 seconds remaining. And now Gallerus are not going to give you an inch on where they could potentially be located at. Lucasen's going to go for the challenge, takes down Sounds, last alive would be King, and although it would be a heroic montage, yeah, you like to think the flank is going to be coming through. So Gallerus going to hold on with 3 extra lives. The only ticks that were captured was at the A control zone, which was massive to shut down that rotation because those HSO shotgun in tandem was looking rather ferocious.
That was a huge save from Lucasen because it got to a point where one more kill for Wolves comes through. They're in your back line, spawn trapping you on really both sides of the map. But now Gallerus committing their early operators to try to get over and through the middle of the map. And honestly, relatively evenly traded. Wolves have not committed ops of their own, so far, shutting down things like the War Machine and Outlast the Death Machine is pretty good news for the defense.
It's going to cause a lot of time to just be bled off the clock as this Death Machine doesn't find much of anything at all. Gallerus trying to move all the way over towards Broken, and it's a really good call to try to go for the more difficult of the 2 zones to capture first. Maybe catch Wolves a little bit off guard. They don't really fall for much of anything afterwards. There's a couple good cleanup kills do come through soon afterwards. And now Gallerus are forced to go back to the old tried and true. Get back over towards his A control zone. Just got to try to clear this building because Peg is waiting for the call. Hello?
Oh.
What am I stepping on?
What am I stuck on? Oh, it's a person. Nah, that's the way that goes. Second tick of progress at A is locked. Doesn't look like Wolves are going to have a chance to contest this as they need to deal with an imminent threat. Yeah, in the bus stop is in particular. Zeus is found and dealt with. And this Sparrow from Wind is a little
untimely.
Yeah. At least Wolves are able to keep the back line safe through Broken. But Gallerus could just wait for the Sparrow to fade away.
Yep. This has a big operator just completely fall by the wayside that you might need to get over towards this B-zone defense because Gallerus are starting to get a lot of space forward. Peg, though, getting activated with the shotgun. And a 1v1 versus Mihawk, and the HSO shotguns are all over the kill feed right now. Foki, he's going to rip out the Tempest. He gets swiftly dealt with. And what a life advantage was there for Gallerus and space being provided for them completely snuffed out.
Trades over at the front of bus, has Gallerus continuing to work through A. Trying to get into Broken, but Wolves have, yep, the right response set up for it if they do get tested. How do you break through if you're Gallerus? Tempest is at the ready for Lucas in, but Wolves continue to not have to commit any operators to this defensive effort. Up 5 lives and down to 43 seconds on the clock.
And Mihawk just getting tons of information. He throws a shoulder. Now he knows that someone's honestly up there. And now Hen goes for the chow. Mihawk still throwing shoulders for the information. Wind trying to cause a ruckus down low. And he's able to walk away with 2. So now you can get a little bit more space forward if you are Wolves. Just to try to deny any sort of B antics. But there is one player that slipped the net.
Have to find something off of that one player as well. Luke is in Annihilator in hand, so I misspoke. Pardon me. War Machine out for sounds. But Wind, yep, behind that War Machine could just play forward, and that should likely put this round a bit more out of question. So we'll get tied up at 1 here. And I don't know, I mean, do you want to do much comparing and contrasting between the first 2 rounds and say who's got an advantage, or you just want to keep watching?
Well, it's the life advantage, right? Because each 2 teams already only captured one of the 2 zones. It's the Crossfire E-Classico, isn't it? Like, where you only capture the one of the 2 zones that is more applicable to try to assault. But it comes down to the lives if all the segments are just dead even towards the end of it. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that with the 3 remaining for Gallerus previous round. And then going in towards the, 11, almost 10 for Wolves. So it is their lead currently as they're back over towards the offensive side.
Trades are even for now. Wolves are still holding on to a couple of key operators. Keep that in mind. So now that they've gotten back on towards this A zone with some conviction, those are the power weapons they could possibly use to get influence back over towards this more difficult B zone. I will say for Gallerus, though, keeping this member up top and Foki could be pivotal. Okay, well, could be. They tried to swallow. Okay, so they're trying to pinch it with Mihawk, and Mihawk actually just gets a 1v2, has the death machine up, but they lose the A zone. Can't quite stay on to contest. So now it's just down to can you push forward, put the pressure on Wolves from their spawn, and they're doing it.
And then once the DM runs out of bullets, Mihawk can take his HSO shotgun and maybe get inside of this broken building where you already had one player of sounds located at. Hen now pulls out the Sparrow. Great transition from all the operators, but they come up just a little bit short on the exit. 3 quick kills come through for Wolves. They're getting more space. They're finding the kills in the feed, but then the immediate trades for Gallerus with the superior power advantage.
Life count, once again, starting to be fold back just a little bit. 3 lives down our Wolves, but Annihilator out now. And Zai's going to use that to try to clean things up past A, and he does that well. Where else do you go? Because you got 2 players over through Delhi that are trying to make their way up towards the bus stop now.
Annihilator. Whoa! Goat, by the way, everybody's saying.
Okay, now we can start to get frisky as he's got an angle towards the Gallerus spawn. Smoke will keep him alive and safe from the pinch through Broken. Life lead now for Wolves. 9v7, but Gallerus have reestablished some control around bus.
The operator's being pulled. Zeus takes his own life there with the War Machine. So it's immediate response coming through now for Wolves. King has got the Tempest. Death Machine out as well for Peg as he is just lighting them up as the first segment's getting worked on B.
Looking good here for Wolves to put this one over the finish line. Clock stalls at minute 5. Foki has to pull Tempest and isn't able to do too much with it. Huge advantage now for Wolves as they find themselves on series point.
Yep. I mean, segment advantage doesn't really mean much of anything if you're able to convert an offense, and that's what I was beckoning for going in towards this map number 3. So difficult to try to convert, but you're hoping for the one Herculean play to come through, and that Herculean play is by everybody's voted GOAT of Zai. What an Annihilator pull. He's up to 23 eliminations. Now Gallerus got to respond with an offense of their own.
First 2 kills are good for Gallerus. Get them quickly across the middle of the map. And, I was about to say, maybe an opportunity to stop the clock early, but, HS things. Quick kills for Wolves have the defense. Feeling quite feisty as Peg is just playing outside the zone. He's going to use that as kind of his alarm system. One, he needs to keep his focus on the zone itself. Here comes the play forward. It's shotgun versus sniper. And a little bit of help starting to come through. Whoa, Peg somehow doesn't hit that one in the corner. Help nearby as Wolves will gain control of the double stairs, and that will be enough for Peg to eventually connect, but not twice, as Gallerus continue to keep the defense moving.
Second segment, not fully locked in either. Gallerus, to your point there, able to convert the kills and continue to keep their feet moving forward to try to get inside of the bus stop and maybe try to convert a couple segments over at B to try to put the pressure on Wolves, but it doesn't really work out in their favor. Instead of just getting the extra 60 seconds, they throw so many lives away, Alan, and now they put themselves even in a worse situation, but they're able to turn this into something beautiful.
Yeah,
put themselves back inside of the bus stop and maybe try to find something with Hen Sparrow.
And what I was trying to say is, like, they're keeping the defense mobile. Like, they're moving Wolves between both zones, and that is actually leading to an opportunity here to kind of keep Wolves a little bit more limited in their scope defensively. Follow up here for Fokies. He's able to get deep towards shops. Zai understanding the threat, but Gallerus are ripping apart the spawn. Mihawk's Death Machine clears out Broken. And now you've got a chance here to not just get more progress done at B, you could possibly finish this zone, but King's able to hit a snipe, Sounds is able to find connection with the War Machine, and the life lead is still in favor of the defenders.
And they know that Lucas's operator, the Annihilator, is still lurking over at B, so they take the lesser of the two evils and try to work their way back to the middle of the map. Third segment of the day is going to get captured. You still have players for Gallerus lurking inside of the bus station. Second segment locked. Just 90 seconds left to play, and Gallerus are in prime position to respond with an offense.
Big moment here for Win. Comes around the corner for one. Not able to connect on the second. The pistol out is able to reduce this down to a 5v4. But now it's just down to Can. Gallerus get on the zone to finish the capture, and they do. Last second, they get in. They find the kills they need in low numbers situation, and we're going round 5.
And with that conversion on the offense via the segments being captured, that should give Gallerus the defensive favor going in towards this, and they absolutely got it. So where it's already difficult enough to close out a single offense, now Wolves got to do it twice to close out the 3-0, but Gallerus are fighting.
Can you slow down this Wolves team? They're trying to do it early, but Peg, doesn't connect. I don't know if the railing blocks the shot or not, but Gallerus had been pushed back for a moment with operators out. They're able to at least somewhat stabilize, but not enough to stop Wolves from getting the first tick, maybe even a second here at A. Luke is in trying to find some success through the middle of the map. Problem is, Broken's becoming a bit of an issue. And that zone of control will likely allow Wolves to get the extra 60, but pause. You've got Foki on a flank with the Tempest, but he misses. And Wolves are going to get the extra minute.
Any barring last bit heroics from Mihawk won't be the case. Yeah, and even the exit eliminations too. This is what plagued Gallerus in the last offense, or the last defense that they did lose, excuse me. But this time around, they're just keeping their positional advantage. Look at where Hen's located at. This is a good crossfire to keep for yourself. Pun absolutely intended. And they're going to be able to find them upon the exit. Zeus for 2. Foki on the last player. Just one more remaining around this broken building. But all the space provided for Gallerus to lock down these lanes.
Trades are even. Luke is in. Is this a sniper or is it an SMG? He could use it as either. But Wolves are stabilizing. They're pushing back the defensive force that's trying to make its way over towards the Wolves side of the map. Peg still playing on the A stairs. Good for 1. Sparrow is out right now for Hen, but has not been able to do much besides just slow down Wolves from moving across this position on the previously captured A zone.
Just hoping for something of these nades. The smokes are going to be dissipating here in a moment. Somebody's got to try to work their way a little bit further forward. Already got inside the parallel broken building. Now all Wolves are in a good enough position. Here comes the smokes right over the top. The execute soon after.
Zeus is able to stop at least one member from the Wolves from getting over. So Peg, he's going to have to try to thread the needle, and he gets shut down. Oh, Wind also loses the equalizers. Advantage now to Gallerus as they've completely wiped off this attempt from Wolves. War Machine out for Sounds, but he's by himself, just trying to play his own life, and he doesn't have an angle. So now you've got Gallerus really starting to heat things up. 13 13 plays 9. Still plenty of time for Wolves to reform, but a massive advantage for Gallerus.
Wolves went round 5 every single
Where are
game
we
they
going?
played yesterday. They get back here again, but this is not looking much better whatsoever until that moment in time. Gallerus throwing lives away. Mihawk has the death machine out, trying to find more than the 32 eliminations he already has in his rally. 9v8 with 20 seconds remaining. Wolves still have a shot.
This could be a breakdown, though. Why are we pushing forward? We have Delhi, we had the previously captured A zone, and we had operators, and now Wolves are starting to come back. Oh, it's a massive breakdown. Can Gallerus hold strong? Tough 1v1. That's Zai hit X with the Annihilator. Oh, but Lucasen responds with one of his own. 6v4, 3 seconds. Wolves didn't get on to stop the clock. Foki stops the initial, and Mihawk there for the follow-up. Gallerus able to bleed the clock dry and take the control.
Gallerus here fighting. Vamos rings through the area as they are not done yet, forcing out their map pick for the Hacienda. But what absolute grit was showcased in that offense they needed to respond with. And where the Annihilator for Zai was amazing, and it converted the initial offense that we got to see. Lucasen being able to pull his Annihilator out and just lurking inside a bus, even not finding all the kills, it was the pressure that continuously forced all of Wolves into these very narrow choke points where Mihawk was constantly lurking at, where he was constantly trying to play routes around all these different broken buildings, and that was continuously coming through there in that last defense as well. Wonderfully executed. When they were asked to stand up, they absolutely did with that offense to force a round 5 defense. Best position that they could possibly have put themselves in for Gallerus to stay alive in the best of 5.
Unreal. I'm telling you, though, Andy, I was about to kick the desk over.
That'd be a strong kick.
Yes, but legitimately, as soon as you start to get that pushback and Gallerus start to make a move to go even further, we got to hold off, a little bit. We're not
well, like tempered.
Yeah, we're not playing street gaming here. We're playing Wolves. We got to lock in.
Yeah, the punish game for Wolves has always been amazing, and we're very aware of that.
Yeah.
Our world champions at the end of the day that are still represented on that squad of Wolves, and you know that they've been able to do it all year long at CDM. You just don't want to give them that inch because they will turn it into a Chinese-sized Walmart. So.
Yeah.
In the final few moments with Peg with that death machine, thought it was going to be the square peg into the round hole potentially, but not going to be the case at all. 33 and 25 out from Zai, and albeit with the Annihilator heroics, wasn't enough to close it out in 4 rounds. But Mihawk is having himself a great series. The amount of engagements this kid is getting into is absurd. 55 of them here.
He's been, I would say, over the last 2.5 years,
really stepped up, man.
Yes.
Yep.
As much as the storyline and the spotlight continues to be on Lucasen and his ability to just blow the competition out of the water, Mihawk has really been the reason why the Brazilian teams that he's been on have found success. So.
Sure.
Great stuff there. And this now resets the entire mentality around this series because now you're going to a Hacienda Hardpoint, a map that Wolves have really avoided like the plague in CDM. They only played it twice. They split the difference on it. Gallerus, bigger maps, more wide open, can play more of a macro style game.
Correct.
And slow down this Wolves team, try to play for spawns maybe a little bit more loosely. And then you look at Coastal, which to be fair is Wolves map selection, but has not been necessarily their greatest map overall in search. It's also not their most played map in search. So there's an opportunity here to set up the narrative for a reverse sweep.
Either vetoed or not played yesterday throughout the entirety of the tournament thus far. Gallerus has not played the Hacienda, but like you were saying, I mean, this is a fever dream for them. The Apocalypse obviously getting taken away from Wolves, completely and utterly understanding of what their MO is going to be. Like you were talking about, Alan, get the Odin, get the Type 6 3s in these powerful positions, get Mihawk activated with Foki across the entirety of the map. That is exactly the recipe for success and what the doctor may have ordered. But this is what we were talking about. You just need to try to take one of these 1 through 3 maps. I didn't think it was going to be the control, to be honest with you, but doing so completely changes the architecture for this best of 5. Like you were saying, the Hacienda right being there, fantastic map mode combination for them all regionally. And what we got to see from the Combine Hardpoint map number 1, Gallerus will not back down from the respawn demons that are Wolves.
No. This is a fresh series, I think, if you're Gallerus right now.
Oh, yeah. That pop-off was immense. They are so locked in now.
It's going to feel very fresh. So fresh and so clean. See what we get. I would love to see another moment where we just get Zai versus Lucas, and like we did with the double annihilators right there at the end.
Yeah,
I would love that. That is cinema.
Okay, I mean, we were already eating so good throughout the entirety of this best of 5. Kind of slowed down. I ran out of space on my plate there on the firing range, search and destroy. But man, yeah, give me more of that. I mean, the battling death machines, Mihawk with the HSO shotgun versus Peg getting activated on the map too. Man, we got everything that could be a possibility coming your way here for this map number 4 on Hacienda. It is a classic map here for us as COD fans, but even more so, it is a home away from home when it comes down to this Gallerus roster. They have found so much success on maps such as this.
This is Gallerus' map selection, and Wolves decided to start blue?
Hardpoint identified.
Yes.
Okay.
Choices are made.
Here we go. I'm sure Gallerus is in like, all right, sick, thanks. Opening first blood will go the way of Gallerus. They're also winning window control right now. That is chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss from Gallerus. Now they can hold on to the high ground, try to get a read on Peg, who's trying to make a route over towards top side of the map. And well, it's actually well won for the first, but can't get the second. Zeus able to respond. And now you have an opportunity to try to follow up here as we try to reset, and Gallerus will have to try to set themselves up through the middle of the map.
Starting on blue side, not too bad, is it?
I guess.
Able to push their way.
Well, you know what? I'm totally blasted. CDL map is flipped.
It is flipped. I was letting you get there at the end.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was going to let you get there.
Ignore me.
I'm just happy that I got to live it with you. What a fantastic day. So, able to get the spawns for Wolves. Now they're on the preferred side, so that way they can set themselves up for this P2 rotation. Peg down low in the atrium of the mansion. Going to be able to walk away with a handful of kills. You also got rock control, a fantastic transition out of Wolves.
I was sitting like, why does the map look so weird? I'm okay, I promise. We're locking in. Wolves with the advantage as we head over to P2. But lobby control and well spawns now for Gallerus. I'm locked. I'm in there now. Right, missile will slow things down a touch, and of course get the the UAV essential elements of the information, and Wolves will set themselves up to deal with the driveway hit.
And now they can just lock in around Lambo, so that way they can watch the open staircase push. You already got one player doing it at Psy. He goes 1 for 1, so they know that one player is still going to be here on the flank. But you still got these well spawns coming through from Gallerus. A little bit of a spawn trap, maybe. A couple players do spawn out over by P4, but I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more successful transition and an even more successful hard point, as an EMP for Peg has already been earned.
Yeah, he's been great. And again, I know there's been a lot of conversation. We've talked about it a lot as the talent team, but also talking to the players. What would King bring to the table in place of Rise, who has been one of the best players for Wolves across CDM? He has been everything you need. And, I think that's the other side as we're continuing to watch Wolves just dominate the map right now. We see this across every form of competitive Call of Duty. When the system is this good for Wolves and Respawn, I don't care who you put in that 5th spot, they're going to find a way to find success.
Yeah, I mean, as great as Rise is, literally the most explosive player that's on that roster, it does let the other players step up and fulfill that role. You get to see Sounds really step into his own. Peg also coming back into his championship form, right? So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that one. That Wolves system is one that absolutely rocks. Gallerus, though, over towards P3. They at least hang on for the moment. They get the operators to hold, but Wolves still finding the kills on the backside of 10.
And Peg, if he finds one more, has an opportunity to push out this next hit with the equalizers if he can get it, but instead it's going to be the death machine in the back line from Zai, just kind of throwing out absolute mayhem towards fences. Responded, though, nicely. Gallerus have done well here. They win that out technically by operator to operator value, and now can find a little bit more time in the scrap of P3 before we head over to 4. Problem is they're going to be a little bit late. You're going to get a 1v1 between Mihawk and Sounds by the look of it, but Sounds will be found for free, and Gallerus will actually get themselves pretty decent opportunity to play from office side over to P4.
Exel sitting on that EMP, by the way, didn't end up getting himself in a position to try to rip it, to shut down any of those operators that Gallerus were able to pull. But now Peg has the equalizers out. 21 eliminations, and P4 has just popped. This guy is just going absolute sicko mode right now. Oh. The top side of office, nobody expecting the flank to come through as quickly as it did, because equalizers and Wolves are right back to where they were in the opening first.
All right, if you're Gallerus right now, you need to understand that this first rotation was won by EMP levels of earning from Peg. take a breath. It's going to be a minute before you can really dig into this deficit. You got to go little by little, step by step.
But it's not that bad considering 24 eliminations, like he's running away with but you're only down by 40. If you can somehow convert what was the biggest mishap in the first set of hard points was that P2 situation.
Yeah.
This is a much different game. And it is backed by 24 eliminations, but they should be aware, hey, we haven't been hit by this EMP yet. That's the scary part that Wolves are saving in their back pocket so that way they can try to truly snowball his upcoming second set. But 30-point differential is not terrible given the stat line that Peg has.
Agreed. I think you're right, though. That's what I was looking at. Is like I imagine Peg's going to use this right before P2 opens.
Yes.
And give Wolves an opportunity to try to play for that, again, that big money hill at Lambeau.
Yeah.
Wolves doing a little bit better off the exit from the most recent hard point over to P1. Have the lead back up to 40. Gallerus trying to accrue some of that operator usage that they're going to need if they want to try to fight this thing back. Zeus and Foki do a nice job of neutralizing the time on the hill itself. King, nice snap and reaction as he finds himself on 4 in a row. And Peg and the rest of Wolves can continue to just play through the middle of the map and stack the hill.
Peg went able to find 2 on transition. Watch player number 3, that is Zai. He's getting activated all the way through Secret. He already goes. He finds at least one player off guard, but he gets snuffed out. So that trade does come through, but still some decent amount of time coming through from Wolves here on this one. They're going to be able to get themselves an elimination inside of the atrium, and they have hallway control. The only player that's still lurking around is Luxie. He already rips out the Tempest just to try to meet them at the gate, expecting a water chow from Zai. It comes through, and Peg dies too. So you don't have the EMP available. A great call coming from Gallerus.
Well, Spawns, but Gallerus are aware of this. Can they stop the play from the front? There's the EMP combined with the War Machine. Gallerus deal with it nicely, though. Wow. Massive moment in this game for Gallerus. Spawn starting to move just a touch, but Gallerus are going to bunker down on the hard point. Zeus still with the War Machine out. No operators right now for Wolves until the Tempest gets pulled, but Mihawk coming back late to the party, has the Death Machine, and is absolutely finding success with it. Long range, able to connect. Now getting a read on the Spawns, and Gallerus have not dropped a second inside of P2.
Almost felt like we're ripping the EMP just to execute the plan, but it was so mistimed that, like you were saying, Gallerus just kind of like back up a little bit, reintroduce themselves with the operators after the EMP goes away, and they're able to walk away, to your point, the majority of this time. What was a 50-point deficit, now down to 20. Wolves, though, completely aware of the situation. They get those well spawns, a couple of wave of gunfights come through, and they're like, okay, hold on one second. Let's just go ahead and play for the rotation towards new. It is a fresh game. They got 3 operators at the ready, but Luxin might rip this Predator missile just to get the intro.
Especially with number 4 in the back. Yep, there we go. Pred missile in. Wynn's going to pull out the Sparrow, stay safe inside of 10. 10 going to respond with one of his own. Good information here, trying to get it into the back lines, but cannot connect. Wolves able to respond with numbers now of their own. Spawns not fully locked, but you've got Sounds watching this initially tough battle around the back. It doesn't come through, and Gallerus at the same time find a couple of kills from the front, leaving Wynn by himself, but that's apparently all you need. Unreal stuff. Equalizer, though, for Foki. Cracks back through, and an opportunity with Gallerus for numbers to continue to push forward.
You know, Foki hasn't had the sexiest KD ratio throughout the entirety of this series thus far, Alan, but he actually found a massive 1v1 in towards the back, and then the equalizer should have been the real go-ahead, a real walk away with the majority of time here on P3, but Wolves just completely put them back into the ground. They're walking away with a good chunk of time. They're playing for the trades, and they're able to at least maintain this lead. But Gallerus, they're sitting here still chipping away at it, and Wolves got to be aware of it. We got to get back to some fundamental hard point. Remember those 24 eliminations that Peck started with? He slowed down ever so slightly.
Does have the equalizers out, though, as Wolves will be the first team to open up P4. A little bit of confusion, though. Wolves not really reading where exactly Gallerus are. They've got the equalizers playing over towards P2, but Gallerus are spawning off this side, so now Peg has to run his way back over as the channel on the equalizers expires.
Oh, wow.
So now it's just down to, can you respond to the hit in towards mid? Luke is in for 1. Sounds right there in the longer corner, and King watches over the top of Rock, and this has been clean so far from Wolves.
Double chow bait and switch, a little bit mistimed there for Gallerus on the initial when it comes down to breaking P4. Very, very difficult to do. And now you got the Death Machine from Zion towards the back, trying to deal with these players down low inside the office. Does get traded. Hallway control coming through now for Mihawk. Zeus also able to appear, but the hard point's just too far gone at this point. Maybe find any lick of the back 10 seconds, but Wolves right back into that 60-point lead.
Yeah, you just need to keep Wolves from stringing scrap to initial here from 4-1. And Mihawk will eventually get back into P4 and clean up some of these Wolves members. Can't deal with Zai at range, though. But that exit, like we talked about, gives Gallerus a chance to win the high ground until the War Machine gets popped. It's a bold call, but it works out nicely, and Wolves are going to get past the 200-point mark.
Backwell spawns here, coming through for Gallerus. Not exactly the happiest place to be when you're seeing in sound still has the War Machine, finds the grenade to go through. But still, like you were saying, yeah, gets shut down. So Gallerus have an opportunity to move their way further forward, but they would love to try to get some time here on P1. Wolves are already over the double century mark, and Gallerus effectively need to play this as sound as possible. Hoop sounds, by the way, Predator Missile gets called in, stops that push dead in its tracks. Wolves in prime position to close out this map.
Looking good for it. P2 side of the map, though, still in possession of Gallerus as we get underneath 20 seconds on the first hill. Wolves working on it, or at least attempting to move past the fountain, but Gallerus find a string of kills. They're going to get a little bit of time here in the back 10, and also send a couple of members to get over to Lambeau early. They also have well spawns right here, and honestly, there's an opportunity here to just shut down the bottom side of the map and force Gallerus, or force Wolves to play over and up through well and lobby, which is not really where you want to be hitting this P2 from. There's an opportunity here. Hold on a second. You've got a Sparrow out for Hen trying to play forward at tiles, but he gets shut down as a Pred Missile lands on top of his forehead. Spawns are still mixy around the back of P2, but Gallerus are reading it and finding the kills they need.
Lucasen has the Tempest. That's enough threat for anybody to try to march their way up through this drive wave, which is already smoked out. Mihawk has more space forward. Foki off the nade is able to find the third. Just two more players remaining in Wind Sparrow, albeit finding one. Does get shut down in return. Gallerus are still here. 30 seconds left to fight over, and they got to find a swift break.
Foki falls. He was a single elimination away from getting the equalizers, but as he drops, Wolves will stabilize and surround the hard point. And now it's desperation time for Gallerus. No operators at the ready. Death Machine for Wolves, trying to defend the hill and put this one well out of reach. Not enough time to win here on P2, but boy, can they get close.
Oh, yeah. And they know that they all Gallerus are still spawning on the backside of driveway over towards well. Gallerus have to hit through the old time and then also win the rotation, which they haven't been able to do all hard point along, if I'm being honest with you. But this is where things are going to be scary. Foki's the only one with an operator at the ready, and this equalizer needs to pop.
Hen will be the first one over defenses. Wolves will realize they're not spawning close. They're trying to value their lives. Sounds able to connect twice with the War Machine out of nowhere.
Trophies.
And now you've got Wolves in a chance to just surround, envelop, and hit this all at once. Like you mentioned, no operators for Gallerus. They just have to stay alive inside the hardpoint. But if you wanted to have one member alive and kicking, it's this guy. Lucasen, already close to another Tempest as he has been unbelievable in the stretch the last 90 seconds or so, but can't turn that into more as Wind will get a double nade over the top plus a third. Zeus desperately trying to hang out with the War Machine, will find a double of his own, and you got a split spawn situation as Gallerus are able to surround.
If you're going to have Sounds, he's going to see one more player there for Gallerus right in front of him. Just 5 seconds remaining, and Wolves can close it out here.
Numbers advantage to Wolves. Zeus saved by Lucasen for a moment, but cannot find the final kill needed as he gets the reload. Last couple of seconds. Peg holding down the front with the equalizers. One more contested in, and Foki, as he falls, will have Wolves in a position to clean things up right before we get to the next hard point. Wolves take down Gallerus and move forward in the upper bracket.
Yeah, the literal last second within the time there allocated for P3, able to get it in their favor. Wolves win both the hard points here. They split the difference for Hacienda in their region, but they come here looking absolutely ferocious on it. Just the opening from Peg, that excess buffer that they did have really set themselves up for the map number one. The leader's advantage is what I like to call it, but Gallerus through the middle of that, they survive through the EMP. They fight their way back from a 60-point deficit all the way down to a 20, but then Wolves again lock back in. They are the hardpoint demons of their region at the end of the day, Alan, absolutely dismantling Gallerus at the end.
Incredible stuff from the Wolves as expected. China's top teams are moving forward in the bracket as we predicted. But Gallerus is not done. This is double elimination, and we have seen teams make a run like Tribe did back in 2022. Not an easy road in front of the Brazilians, though, Alan.
No, not at all. And I think it's just where they're weakest is being exposed by the Chinese teams right now. I mean, you see it in the Respawn. Wolves, an incredible hardpoint team. They survived through a very difficult map number one, taking a late stretch to grow that lead to maybe a bigger deficit or a bigger gap rather than maybe the game would have insinuated based on how it went. But here in the Hacienda, you had a couple of heroic moments for the side of Gallerus, but it never really truly felt like on a structured level they were playing at the same level as Wolves on the other side, and that's not something that just exists against Wolves. We saw it also exist yesterday versus Q9.
As we take a look at a lot of these highlights, we'll be talking operators in depth in a little bit, but can we focus in on the shotgun? Is the shotgun meta back? Is the HSO a thing to look out for? Because every time we went to Windy, he's getting a double, a triple kill with this thing.
Never left. What are you talking about? We just traded the R90 out for the HSO meta, and yeah, you're going to be seeing quite a bit of that. You got the double shotgun meta there on the Crossfire, comes back through as an explosive entity to be used, closing out a lot of these close corridors around P2, all the way through the upper hallways as well. It is a force to be reckoned with, Chris.
And then, of course, the War Machine shutting things down on the final two hills. Sparrow's coming into play as well. If you're looking at just an individual gunny, though, I want to see where did Zai end up on our leaderboard. He finished positive 18 in game one. He went positive in the second hardpoint. This is finally his first respawn where he goes negative, dropping 36 and 40 with 23 assists, Andy.
Darn. Oh, man, he had a little bit of an off game, and then Peg was the one to step up. That 24 and whatever it was start was absolutely heroic. Sounds there at the end like you were talking about with his War Machine, well placed. The trophy systems from Lukisin just a little bit too late and misplaced meant that he was constantly value with it, but we got to talk about the single tap go. He did pop off, man. 52 and 41.
Absolutely. 52 kills. Was not enough for Luke. Because then he's definitely going to be a player to look out for in that elimination bracket, the biggest threat, but the Wolves are the team moving on. If you could crown an MVP from this 4-game performance from the Wolves, who do you think deserves credit, Shift?
I'm going to give it to King, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know Zai, he puts in a massive effort on the search and destroy, but King hit a couple of awesome opening first blood snipes. He also played really well in all of the respawns, so I'm just going to give it to the guy that deserves it. The new guy in, filling into a system that was largely surrounded by Ryzen, the storyline of him, but King is looking solid and Wolves are looking prime.
We want to remind everybody there are 2 streams live here on day number 2. We have Alpha and Bravo, and over on Bravo, I was watching Street face off against Elevate. Let's take a look at this bracket, because in the top half, it was Elevate coming out of Group A with the top seed. Street was the surprise from Group D. Street was hanging in there. It was about a 2-point game in the hard point. At the end, though, Elevate and Wolves both getting 3-1 victories, meaning Street Gaming will be playing Gallerus. This is 2 Brazilian squads. One of them will knock each other out in the top 8. I guess the good news is you have a top 6 guaranteed for Brazil.
Yeah, but you got to do the TK along the way, right? I mean, like that, and that's what ultimately hurts. I mean, Street had a fantastic performance in the group stage, to your point there, versus TLE yesterday. Going back and looking at the scores as well, like the Herculean performance versus our previous world champions of Elevate Puck. But look, I think that lower bracket matchup is going to be setting things up ever so wonderfully, because Gallerus, they were showing a lot of different plot holes and a lot of different hardpoint situations, something that Street can absolutely pounce on.
Big shout out to all the Chinese fans who made it out to Poland for these matchups. The Wolves move on. We find out, will another Chinese team be able to power through a best of 5? Qingzhou takes the stage when we return.
We believe it's in communication because communication is key to like the whole game sections.
For me, communication. In my opinion, we need to be a mix like skill and communication.
The thing that determines victory the most is communication because it's a team-based game.
For Animus and me, I think it's communication.
Communication is really important, but you can do nothing if you don't have skill.
It will be over-egoing things. You think you're confident, very confident, but it brings you down when you face difficult teams.
The most mistake probably is gonna be don't be ready for the fights in the game. So don't be ready for everything is going like go too fast and they didn't be ready.
Being overconfident sometimes.
Mistakes that less experienced players do is their lack of confidence. Just because when you don't have confidence, you can't do what you do in practices, you can't show your true game.
Aggressive, number one. I'm also passive. Third is unpredictable.
Rushable and flexible.
Calm, aggressive, the same thing. And the last word is gonna be ready.
Me as a coach, I like aggressive play style, doing like a lot of respawn trap, doing transitions between the hard points. Faster, fastest.
What's up, guys? AO Raf. So we're currently going to be going through a pro player's loadout. I am personally a sub and heavy player, so I'm a machine gun and shotgun player. But my personal favorite in this meta is probably going to be the VMP. The USS is a great gun, but the VMP takes that throne for #1 spot, honestly. So I'll be showing you guys my personal and everybody's loadouts in the pro player. All right, and adjustable, heavy barrel, great attachment to use. Gotta go with the rapid fire, it's crucial. And this one's honestly where a lot of pro players differentiate. I personally like the integrated grip set, but other players do like the Phoenix grip set. It just comes down to how you like to play as a player person. I'd probably go for the integrated grip set though. And then for secondaries, honestly, melees are the best. I feel like pistols are overrated. You know, you got to go with the gloves, boxing gloves, prize fighters, Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? It's really, really good stuff to use. Down to the operator, I personally am a fan favorite of the equalizers. It's really, really fun, just running gun, Rambo style, really, really great. The 3 perks, gotta go lightweight, you gotta go gun-ho. Toughness is honestly really, really good too, but I believe personally gun-ho would be the best one to go for. The third option for the blue perks, you gotta go with Dead Silence. It's a crucial must-have. Now, obviously in pro players, you know, you gotta use these 3 score streaks. You gotta go EMP, Predator Missile, and Hunt to Killer Drone, because obviously everything else is banned. But yeah, honestly, that looks like a great loadout. You know, got the frag grenade. Actually, I'm one of the individual. I'll put you on a secret. I personally like stick grenades. I think they're low-key, very underrated. Besides that, this is my loadout.
Basically, our best map is everything in the chub set. Our worst map is none.
My best map will be Summit as a shotgun. Shotgun is very powerful in Summit. And my worst map will be Standoff.
My best map probably Hacienda. I really love that map. And my
Welcome back to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships 2025. The playoffs are well and truly underway across here on the A stream and over on the B. We have seen Street and Galeris drop into the lower bracket with Wolves and Elevate continuing on looking strong. Now, who will join them? It is now time to bring out our next 2 teams ready to compete here on the stage. Starting with New Gen Ninjas. Formed literally days before this tournament. Enemies became friends to fight for the same cause, putting India on top. Now it's time to welcome their opponents. Chinjo. Q9 finished second last year. They've returned looking sharper than ever this time around. A lot of people are saying it. This could be the scariest team in the whole bracket. Let's see if they can back it up here on stage.
Thank you very much, Ian Chambers. We got our second match of the day ready to go here in Winners Bracket Round 1, and our teams are ready to take the stage. They have not, of course, locked in their map vetoes yet. We have Brody, AK Infinity, and Chris Tunn at the desk. And gentlemen, I'm fired up for this one because Q9 made it to the grand finals last year, but a 4-0 loss really left that bitter taste in their mouth. A lot of people have been talking about it ever since. This is your tournament for redemption. And if you look at the bracket, everyone in chat is saying they have the easiest road to a grand final.
There's no easy roads in this World Championships. Let's not get it twisted. But they do have a very, very good chance to get themselves there. And they will want, of course, to get that revenge. And, well, that revenge is actually lining itself up quite nicely with Elevate winning their game in their first winners round. It should be interesting, though, for Q9. It's a real redemption arc potentially here in Poland. And can they get it done? We've got a lot of games to get through before we see.
Let's take a look at our rosters. We mentioned Q9 coming out of China is going to be the favorite, but New Gen Ninjas have a stacked roster. This is a team that is going to be representing India, of course, but you've got an American on the lineup. We're going to see what he is able to do in Jez. And then, of course, Marvel has been involved in a lot of the interviews. As we take a look at these teams, though, Infinity, walk me through this New Gen squad. Viper, Warden, Fran, who do you have your eyes on today?
I mean, for this one, it's incredible, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to Viper.
Go ahead and take it for me.
I'll take it. We'll get it figured out. Yeah, no, look, this New Gen Ninjas team, it is very much a last-minute thing, but realistically speaking, it's going to be a difficult task for them. We really didn't know what to see from them, but coming from two very, very solid teams that we really expect would have made runs, they have now amalgamated. They put themselves together to see what they can do. And we've been chatting to them when we were in the lobby to see how they can really get things going, how they're feeling about their chances. And their attitude towards it is just shoot. Just let's see what we can do. We know how to play this game. And I suppose it's that, I want to say the no pressure attitude. They're coming into this without the necessary pressure that they would have had if they're in their teams. They're going up against one of the favorites. They will be going into this to see if they can do something. And if they do, it will be a surprise to everybody and to themselves.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Brody, you with me?
Yeah, they tried to silence me. Well, now I'm back.
I don't hear myself either. It's all good.
I don't hear
I hope the internet hears us, though, and we can see this is the squad. The tall man there, that is Marvel. But if you heard his interview, he said Viper, the player to watch. Viper, the man who went on a 4K to seal their spot in this winner's bracket. Is he going to be the star to look at? And on the other side of the stage, Chris Tunn, who are you expecting to pop off tonight?
I mean, it would be for me, Ao Ling. I mean, this guy is just an absolute dynamo. How long we've seen him around in this Q9 team and how long he has been just a stalwart of the scene. He has just got absolutely everything. And I think what a lot of people will point towards with this Q9 team, realistically, is how good their search and destroy is. Conceivably, probably the best search and destroy team on the planet. And that is going to be a huge issue for New Gen Ninja specifically. That is really where they have to look at the rest of their game between these two teams. They are going to have to go in and pretty much win every single one of the respawns. And that is not an easy thing to do against Q9 either. Their search and destroy, though, is very much on par.
Shout out to our audio wizards. They just ran a whole new line to Infinity. It's your turn to talk, my guy. Walk me through China's #2 seed.
Alrighty, they tried to silence me, and we're back. Yeah, China, Q9, they are here to play after how many second place finishes? Q9, they want a championship under their belt. The closest they've ever gotten, technically speaking, it is a win, was the Snapdragon Mobile Masters in 2024, although it should be said, some of the competition wasn't exactly there. So, yeah, Q9, these are a godlike set of boys. Obviously, they've been through some kind of roster changes throughout the year. They started the year with Sun. They had to trade him out for the newbie on the block, Zero, during CDM. Zero, unfortunately, underage here for the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. So Cloud has come back from 2024 Q9 to fill that spot.
Now I got my brother who's already awake in America tuning in early. We've got some other folks from the CDL world who are tuning into COD Mobile for the first time. So you are watching the winner's bracket. And Ton, there is something special about this game. Not only do you have the best maps of Call of Duty of all time, you've got operators known as specialists back on the PC side of things. So let's talk operators. Yeah, Sparrow, the bow and arrow seems to be the classic that folks are using. We've got equalizers, we've got war machines, death machines. How do the operators have an impact in game modes like Hardpoint that'll kick off the series?
I mean, a ginormous impact, right? There's so many times, especially as commentators, if you can see in the codcaster view, when you see the little circle that's beneath each of the players' names, when that lights up, that operator is available. It's like its own economy throughout a game. We get to see it in different hills specifically. A lot of teams will save them for certain moments, for potentially hills that are very difficult to break, or hills that you want to make sure you're able to hold for search and destroy. Not in, of course, but for control, it's massively impactful. I think so many times we talk about that second round, and when that happens, a lot of the teams then start to get a hold of their operators by the time we get to that stage. There's so many crazy plays. I mean, we've seen it years ago, obviously, way back. Black Ops 4 was the last time we had it, of course, in the main CDL era side of things, and we've seen some crazy stuff. We see crazy stuff every single week with COD Mobile.
Infinity, does it come down to, like, I guess, strategy on which operators you give to which players? What roles do you think we should expect to be running what?
So actually, I think it's kind of map dependent more than anything, right? You know, I think you do expect kind of these mainstay operators, right? You know, Equalizer is probably one of those powerful operators in the game. The Death Machine was kind of a recent addition. You kind of need to have those operators in every single map regardless, and so you kind of give the best players your Death Machines, your Equals, your Sparrows sometimes, and then you'll kind of get these operators that will come out per map. For example, we saw earlier on Combine, that's a map that your Gravity Vortex gun will come out to play because you'll have a lot of these kind of close quarter engagements where you'll have kind of known as area denial, right? People can't get through doorways if there's a big vortex swirling in that doorway. You're not getting through there. It's kind of what the Tempest is also for, which is also kind of recently entered the meta.
John, you were mentioning you haven't seen a perfect Annihilator clip. We're looking for a term. I was thinking operator. Maybe the perfect operator is a surgeon. Let's work on that. Chat, if you got something better, let us know as we take a look at our maps and modes for this one. The bans are in, and we know we are going to Summit and Apocalypse for our hard points. Let's start there, Infinity. Do you like the bans that are coming out from both teams?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult, right, to ban against Q9, I'll say. I think in hardpoint is probably the easiest way to go. Allowing Summit through is a bit of a question mark.
You don't play Shine on Summit, is what I've been told.
Yeah, I mean, so specifically, I think Wolves are the strongest team on Summit. So you definitely never want to touch Wolves on Summit. Other teams, you can kind of get around it, but I think Q9 of the three Chinese teams here is the easiest team to play on Summit. I still wouldn't do it, and yeah, for that reason, I think it's probably one of the biggest errors here in this map pool.
Yeah, I mean, Summit is by far statistically their best map in terms of hardpoint, 5-2 record across the board. I think it's pretty much their only map in hardpoint that they're positive on. So the fact that that slipped through is a bit of a blunder, to be honest with you. I think you got to get rid of that pretty much immediately. Combine in there, they 1-4. Okay, that's probably going to be banned by them. Hacienda 2-2. That's probably going to be banned by the other side, and New-Gen Ninjas. But yeah, Summit being in there is...
it might be a comfort pick, right? You are uncomfortable on Combine or Hacienda potentially if you're New-Gen Ninjas. This is a pickup squad, two teams merging, so maybe you're going for something more familiar, but Summit is not going to be an easy route. How do we feel about Apocalypse, though, if we get to a Game 4?
Yeah, I think Apocalypse is going to be a little bit easier, yeah, better, but I think it's not a good map for both of these teams. I think, you know, it's kind of difficult to gravitate for New-Gen Ninjas towards either Godlike or Soul, because this effectively is a new team, but they are closer to Soul. Obviously, they got 3 of the players in that team, and Soul were not good on Apocalypse. It also isn't a good map for Q9, though, so I would feel more comfortable if we get to map 4. I will say the one thing about Search and Destroy vetoes in particular as we go further into this series, though, it is almost impossible to veto against Q9 in Search and Destroy, because not only are they great at Search and Destroy, as a matter of fact, they are the best Search and Destroy team in the world, they have a very deep Search and Destroy map pool. So I think it's difficult to veto against them. Doesn't matter what map.
As this game is kicking off, we got to send it over to Beef Mommy for a quick check-in. What do you got for us, Beef?
For our next matchup, China's powerhouse Q9 is going up against India's last hope, New-Gen Ninjas.
The art is ready, the players are ready. Let's jump into Summit on the mic. It's Chris Tunn and Infinity.
Well, here we go. Summit taking on the New-Gen Ninjas. My goodness me, how do you make this one work? For New-Gen Ninjas, though, Brody, heading into this one, how are we feeling about their chances? I mean, the answer to that question is the easy one to answer, to be honest with you, but where do they win is kind of where I'm trying to theorize on this one.
Where do New-Gen Ninjas win in this series, in this map? I don't know, honestly. I think, you know, again, we talk about kind of Search and Destroy, just generally speaking. You do not want to be playing any Search and Destroy map, really. You just get rid of Search and Destroy, I think, just generally in COD Mobile against Q9. It's going to be difficult to pull off for sure. You've got to win the respawns, I think, is the long and short of it in this series. You have to have a strong start here on Summit. And as we already said, Summit is such a strong hardpoint map for Q9 that's very difficult to envisage. So we we shall see how this goes. One thing I will say is I need to see hot games out of the likes of Viper and Marvel. Those are the key players for me. They have to come out swinging.
Yeah, I mean, as the Europeans in this talent team, or two of them at least anyway, I think seeing Marvel perform is in our best interests at this stage. Unfortunately, Exclusive not going through. I had a chat to them at the bar last night, not happy with their performances. But Marvel carrying the flag of Europe right now. Currently 14-11, not a terrible start from New Gen Ninjas. But there's rotation over towards P2 now incoming. Q9 ready and set up. Oh, they were.
Yeah, just when you think you're set up, the Viper will strike. Another one! What is that? Viper on a tear. He was doing this yesterday. He was the reason that they're even at this point in the tournament. That huge clutch moment versus Amigos. He's their guy.
Oh my goodness, Viper. And it's broken it wide open now for, well, Q9 to walk back through. But that's another 15 or so seconds going to go New Gen Ninja's way. And all of a sudden, we can start to see where they're going to set up. Are we heading over towards P3 already for New Gen Ninjas? It's probably wise. Viper here and ready to set up. They don't want to give up this side of the map. They possibly can, but Ao Ling will say something about that. He can force his way through.
Jess is already on that rotation, though, so trying to influence those spawns through. Q9 with their spawns, they'll recognize it. Viper going to bring a couple of kills out with the Predator missile. The problem is nobody's blocking those ice spawns, so Q9 will get a couple of players through. Breaking these can be relatively easy. We've already got players through as well. Jez is being challenged.
Jez managed to find a way through. Can he find the second? Yes, he can. He was so patient, actually made his way all the way through ice and was already set up for the new hill to pop. Helps his teammates out. They find the kills, but look at these operators now starting to come in from Q9.
Yeah, this is where you want to get all those ops out early on, right? This is one of those hard points where you can get a full 60 per se on this hill, and you do that with massive operator investment, but now New Gen Ninjas, they're trying to punch through the front.
And they managed to find a way through. Marvel sent himself up with the death machine inside, but the flank coming on through, spinning around as best he can, but Ao Ling has slipped the net. And not just slipped the net, he's inside of it, and he is swinging. Ao Ling finds two. Jez managed to find something back, but a bit of a 50-50 hill, to be honest with you. It's New Gen Ninjas with a slight lead.
Yeah, for sure. Q9 trying to get players behind enemy lines. D-Chen was trying to be sneaky, but does get cut down. Warden with more kills from the equals here. And as we approach the 22nd point left in this kill, New Gen Ninjas might well be comfortable just taking the rest of the time. But look how many operators have been drained off that hill. I think I counted like 5 or 6 between Q9 and the New Gen Ninjas inside that hard point. That is a heavy investment hill turn, and for good reason. Off the back of New Gen Ninjas, they are looking pretty sweet. We go to next, and this one's just a little bit more mixy. Q9, they have a player locking those back spawns down.
I mean, frankly, it might have actually been more, to be honest, Brody. We've seen so many coming through from both these two teams, but it is New Gen Ninjas who come out on top of that one. Marvel on this rotation over towards P4, I should say. And the setup here, to be honest with you, New Gen Ninjas, I've been impressed with what we've seen so far. They seem to be getting these flurries, that's being able to get them the time to set up. But Q9 have done the same. The Sparrow is now out. From D-Chen on the outside. Fran going to try and continue to survive, but Warden, he can find one. The kill feed just lighting up for both these two teams, but still New Gen Ninjas in control.
And still Q9 holding that back spawns. Fran, the last one left alive, he will get shut out, and that should be Q9 in. So Q9 now in control for the back 30 seconds here. New Gen Ninjas will have a chance to break in towards the back line, but they have to pick out those spawns and they can. Smoke's down. They're trying to get towards the hill, but the setup is too strong from Q9. They've got the ARs on head A's. They've got the Tempest out now. Q9, they are not letting New Gen Ninjas pass.
Good job from Q9 to get themselves back in a good position, because to be honest with you, that was a really good first rotation of hills coming through from New Gen Ninjas, and they will not have the lead heading into the second, but they will have this game very, very close. We've seen a couple of different occasions from New Gen Ninjas. I mean, specifically, Viper has been popping off, but everybody doing their job. It's a moment in time, though, Q9 very much staying with them as we head into a second rotation of hills. There is nothing between these two.
Yeah, absolutely not. And this is where we're going to start to see some of the operators coming out. P1 is always one of those weird ones right here on Summit, because albeit it's always a contested thing, P1 on every single map, running through everybody right now. Q9, if they can build out some of these operators a little bit earlier on, right, get more time off P1, a hill you don't generally expect to bleed time on, it would be huge for them. And that's why you're now starting to see New Gen Ninjas also invest into this hard point.
They've been the ones that are reciprocating what we're seeing, but Curly may well not need any operators himself. The gun is doing what he needs it to do. Ao Ling once again set himself up over towards P1, and they're just chipping away some decent time here. That's 20 seconds or so already for Q9, with 20 seconds remaining as well. Jez can find not one, but two, but three inside of the point, though, and they may well be able to find a break here with 15 seconds or so to go, and it's looking that way. Ao Ling over towards the top side. Can he stop that from happening? A couple other players to get in his way. He's found 2, 3 from Ao Ling, And both these teams are taking their turns and lining up 3 or 4 kills apiece. And he is just doing everything for Q9 right now. Couldn't find the fit, but Owling stops New Gen Ninjas, picking up some good time P1.
He's just a joke, mate, innit? The Owling is the king of Call of Duty Mobile for a reason. This guy has been around the block for a very long time, and he's currently sitting at 32 kills. Curly not that far behind him at 31 as well. And trust me, those numbers will not stay static. They will go up by a significant amount by the end of this game. Currently, Q9 in the lead and growing. They've got those P2 spawns locked in. New Gen Ninjas, they're trying to fight from up top.
35 seconds remaining here over towards P2. Curly can only find one with the Tempest. Oh, that was his third overall, sorry, but first on screen. It's early in the morning for me still. We only woke up just an hour ago, but we're moving and grooving. Let's see what we can get going here for the New Gen Ninjas over towards P2. Marvel doing his best. And he'll now call in the Predator missile as well, so getting a little bit of room for his team. And some decent time once again for New Gen Ninjas. This is really where they found a lot of it, and over towards P3 as well. And locking down P2. New Gen Ninjas now in the lead.
Here we go, New Gen Ninjas now. They will take the last 10 seconds of scrap time. Cloud's actually investing in War Machine here to provide some space for his team. That will give them some time to work with as the new build pops. Of course, you always have that 8-second grace period between hard points. So Q9 will have to patiently wait. Here comes the next investment from Mauchi. He wants to run through absolutely everybody. A couple of investments actually coming up from New Gen Ninjas, and both of them will be shut down by Mauchi. He is burning through absolutely everybody, and those shutdowns are important. Yes, they'll get charged back, but they'll have to wait a minute before they get those ops again.
Incredible work. And those are those moments when we talk about operators where they make the difference. If you can find somebody else who's bringing it, I mean, we've seen it towards the end of Control in our previous game. It was Lucasjin finding an Annihilator kill on the Annihilator player on the other side of things, and it swings the game entirely. And moments like that can define a hard point. 30 seconds remaining here in Q9, just lining these operators up and getting the job done. Plenty of kills coming through on either side, but Q9 are finding the important ones, and they're finding the time.
Yeah, this looks a lot better than what we had in the first set of rotations, right? Where New Gen Ninjas, they felt like they got a better time of things. Q9 feel like their operators to push out have been huge. Yeah, New Gen Ninjas are going to get in now, protecting the last 10 seconds, but if you're Q9, you're happy with the spawn flip to go, right? You're now looking for a 1 versus 1, a huge 1v1 for D-Chen, who actually wins that over by New. You give away the last 10 seconds of scrap time of this hill to rotate towards that next one and lock down those spawns.
A perfect flip at the right time. Now New Gen Ninjas will really have to go through the fire and flames to find themselves on the way over. The gunfight win coming through from Warden. Can find a second as well. Eventually he does get taken down. Q9 is set up, and Kelly is here with the Tempest. It's going to have to be a push through ice. They got one player pushing the other side, though, so there's a little bit of a pinch set up here by the side of New Gen Ninjas, but they've been slain by Owling on the outside. He can find 2. Chen is going to be here to try and just hold this down, but they will continue to find the kills. It's a good hold from Q9 so far.
Q9 in control. This is where they invested their ops previously as well. Sparrow is keeping an eagle eye on that top side, and they're locking down the spawns here too, Chris. Again, it's that setup that works so damn well for Q9, but the bottom there on the back, and now the Tempest as well. The spawns are gone.
2 or 3 kills coming through from Viper. They can now try to get a rotation back into the hill, and they have done. New Gen Ninjas fighting off the back foot just a little bit, but then once again, it's every single time we go on board with an Olang. 47 kills to his name right now. He is lighting the New Gen Ninjas up, and Q9 have got a 30-point lead.
Q9 in control here. It is a tentative advantage here as we go into the third and potentially, probably, the final set of this game. It feels like Q9 have got the better look of heals off the back of operators who's pushing New Gen Ninjas out of the hard point. They're going to want to do that again here. They're going to want to steal as much time away on this P1 as possible.
I mean, if we look at the slaying game here as well, Q9 have definitely had the moments, I want to say, as far as what you're saying, Owling, Curly, putting these numbers up. But New Gen Ninjas are not far away. When they're getting the opportunity to find points, they are making sure they're efficient, and they're being efficient here with our operators as well. The Death Machine is out, the Equalizer is out. They are holding down P1, and they are chipping away at that Q9 lead.
Yeah, it really does feel like both these teams right now are being dogged with their operators, making sure they just use them basically as soon as they get them, more or less, to get as much time away from the opposition. New Gen Ninjas trying to keep their head above the water right now inside P1. 15 seconds left, still kills in favor of New Gen Ninjas. We go towards the next hill though, Ton, and this is where things get mixy.
And here we go over towards P2. It has been a good one for the side of New Gen Ninjas. In 5 seconds time, we'll find out how they can do. But after being behind by 20, they pick up some substantial time over towards P1. P2 incoming in 7. And the setup for either one of these two teams is not definitive. Neither team in the best possible spot they could be. Marvel down low trying to get something going, but here goes Ao Ling. 51 kills to his name, equalizes out, and he's not going to find a great deal. It was only 2 in the end. For Q9, though, they've got a couple of operators on the table now. They're starting to get some control, and it's time they absolutely need it.
Yeah, triple investment coming out from Q9. Again, I'll keep on saying it, mate. It feels like both teams right now, as soon as they get those ops, they are out into play again. Curly also starting to streak out as well. Predator missile to his name through the smoke. It's carnage, it's chaos on P2. New Gen Ninjas come out on top for the moment.
They've done well again. P2 has been their bread and butter so far throughout this side of Summit. We said that this is maybe not the best of a pick from them, but they've actually done so well to extend this as long as they have done. But Q9 are going to find plenty of kills, but this rotation over towards New in 20 seconds is massive.
Yeah, that's it right there. Right now, it's New Gen Ninjas in control of the rotation. They're not going to go too heavy at 15 seconds. Yes, it feels like a lot of time at the moment, but those spawns for next hill are invaluable, especially as we cycle into the next operators.
You can see already they're on their way over, but Ao Ling is the one who's over there, and he is causing problems. 54, 55 kills to his name, and there's that going to be the flip. Not quite. New Gen Ninjas are still going to be here. Ao Ling trying his best to hold it down. He's finding as much as he possibly can. Everybody falling to Ao Ling. The hill will pop 2-3-2. They only need 15.
Fran through the front is going to find a couple of kills here. New Gen Ninjas are trying to keep the door open, but it's now Cloud with his war machine. He's trying to keep them out.
New Gen Ninjas have to fight somehow, some way. They have to find a way through. Jez can find one, but they've all got to go through one door. And who is here? It's nobody but Cloud and Ao Ling, who light it up. Ao Ling with 59 to find map 1 for Q9.
Wow. Q9. They meticulously search for every single player that could possibly have gotten through to change those spawns. Jez thought he might have gotten away with it. Marvel thought, hey, I'm here, maybe I can do some damage. No, neither of those players are able to get through, both of them denied. And Q9, they lock out on P3. Man, what a game to open up this series. New Gen Ninjas, how about that, hey? They come into this series, they come into this tournament as a team that, yeah, I know they've got a ton of support. Shout out to the entirety of the Indian Call of Duty mobile community out there, who I know are supporting the boys here at Katowice. But still, I don't think anybody really expected them to be going head-to-head, toe-to-toe with juggernauts like this, and yet still they make it a close game. Honestly, both teams' operate utilization in that game was pretty much perfect. I think a lot of the time what you'll see is you'll see teams kind of really focus in on P3. We'll save 4 or 5 operators to really lock that kill down. And that's kind of what we saw back in P1. But I think as the ante was being upped hill after hill after hill, we started to see more operators coming out on P1, on P2. And that was much, much better there for New Gen Ninjas. But in the end, it just comes down to one hard point. It just comes down to one rotation. G9 had that thing on lock.
I mean, it really is the hallmark of quality teams when we see how proficient everybody was with their operators. I think you're so right. But I think that was a big moment when Maushi was able to find multiple kills and they were able to get a decent lead over towards P3. That's give them that breathing room. They were able to sustain it. And they come out on top. But again, Ao Ling and Curly, I mean, yeah, what's that? 117 kills between the two of them. Absurd numbers. Ridiculous, some would say. Curly, the MVP of that one, but every single time we went to Ao Ling, it's just HS kill after HS kill after HS kill, but Curly will take the plaudits. What's a game from Q9 to kick things off here, but New Gen Ninja's very much in it, but the problem lies here. You now move to a search and destroy against Q9, and if you really do want to force it, even just to that map number 5, you're going to have to play another one. This is not necessarily nightmare scenario for New Gen Ninjas, but it puts them massively against the back.
Yeah, I think the difficult thing is, and this is the kind of the fundamentals of just Call of Duty, doesn't matter if it's mobile or mainline, right? If you're a newer team that doesn't have the strategies locked down, search and destroy is going to be a very difficult thing for you. And that is just the baseline of how Call of Duty works. It's how it's always worked. If you're a team, the most strategy kind of laden game mode of the 3 is always search and destroy. And so that's the thing you're going to struggle with the most if you don't have that on lock. If you're simply relying on fundamentals, S&D is going to be difficult. How about we're going to up the difficulty by having you play the best search and destroy team in the damn game for the remainder of this series. So if your way to win and go forward towards top 6 in the winners bracket semi-finals is search and destroy, yeah, this is like playing on like Ninja Gaiden ultra difficulty level, right? You're getting absolutely slogged right now. I mean, it's so difficult. Now, I will say one thing, the resilience of New Gen Ninjas, I want to say there's a chance that they can do it, but I mean, everybody at home knows knows that Q9 are S&D gods, it's going to be difficult.
Be loading in very shortly to map number 2. Well, even sooner than shortly, actually right now, as we go over towards Coastal. One of the newer additions, of course. 2-hour map pool. I've enjoyed it. I enjoy it a lot, honestly. Shout out to the devs because Coastal, Tunisia, all these maps. I mean, look, one of the big things I love about COD Mobile, me and Chris were just talking about as far as the difference between mainline COD and mobile is we just get to play all the best maps here on mobile, but some of the maps that are specifically on mobile, absolutely outstanding. I love some of these S&D ones, and specifically for me, Coastal, Tunisia. Been ringing true, and it's well kind of been the same for somebody like Q9 as well. Coastal, Tunisia looking good for them. They've only managed to lose 3 out of what I want to say 20 odd maps on these 2 maps combined, I should say. I do speak for a living, I promise. That sentence was not necessarily my best, but here we are. Q9 good at search.
Yes,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Very good at search. Q9 search, very good. We'll see that here as they wait patiently. Interesting start from Q9, I will say. They completely abandoned the B site. If New Gen Ninjas get that information early on and Warden is kind of edging his way in towards B, they'll recognize, hey, we've got a free bomb site and try and transitioning it, but it's where they transition it. If they do try for them on the map, well, there's a nice little trap set between Mauchi and Cloud ready for it if anybody tries that.
And it's such a different setup to what you typically see because you would always just stack in towards B, right? But they're going to get caught. Viper will take Cloud out of the equation, and now all of a sudden you're in a little bit more of a difficult scenario. Ling immediately trying to get something going. Viper knows it's going to happen, finds the shot as well. Chen will get rid of Viper, but that's a 1-for-1 that you would have liked to take cleanly. Now a 2 versus 4. Q9 have kind of fallen by the wayside here, but only just for now. Kelly will find one back, 2 versus 3.
That's a corner that G-Chen should check. That's Bryce. He's not checked that corner. That's crazy. That's a day 1 check right there. Or day 1 coastal check, we should say. Now left up to the 1v3 for Curly. He's already been tagged up.
They chose to just give B up pretty much off the rip, and New Gen Ninjas will say, well, thank you very much. Take it nice and easily, walk into the site. They were looking for the retake, but it does not happen.
Defend the objectives.
Just really crazy play from New Gen Ninjas and Q9. I think that's the gambit, right? You sometimes make when you give up one of the sites. Happens. G-Chen opening up the first blood here, looking for more snipes. He's going to have to back down, gets tagged. That's now space sport here for New Gen Ninjas.
Kelly trying to set himself up. Will manage to find the kill. Warden will find one back, but Q9 in a really good position here. Just hold on to this defensive side. New Gen Ninja's not finding a way through, but Marvel can find one, doesn't find the second. It's a quick round to answer back.
Play from Q9. They do hold on through a long. So New Gen Ninjas going to lose that round in the end. Now we go over towards the next round. And oh, snipe off the start from Viper. You normally see a player look down mid to get the information. Rarely do you see a snipe actually pop off for the opening blood. So Mauchi, big player to take off the board. That's a sniper for Q9 out of the round.
Advantage New Gen Ninjas now. Ling is here though, ready for the push, and will quite easily take Warden out. Ling does have a little bit of backup here as well in D-Chen, and all of a sudden this is now going to be a hard push. New Gen Ninjas trying to find it on the outside along. I mean, just like that. I tried to pass it over to you to say something, but it just immediately ends. Nice defense here by the side of Q9. New Gen Ninjas have tried their bets over towards A 2 rounds in a row, and it's not working out.
Yeah, Q9 just looks so good. And the fact that they didn't win the first blood in that round as well is absolutely insane, by the way. You take a big player like Mauchi off the board, you feel like, hey, that's a lot of space that you buy for the team. And then you still... And another one as well. This time it's Cloud who gets taken down by Marvel. The snipes at the moment for New Gen Ninjas on point. Shouldn't be that much of a surprise if anyone who knows who Marvel and Viper are. Now they're looking for another one, and they're going to get the second kill kit ton. Now they've completely cleared out B. Q9 now have to retake. There's a player in the middle map ready for this transition as well. This site is incredibly difficult to get back into once you've lost it.
It seems like Q9 are very willing to give it up, though, right? Multiple occasions, they're just leaving it wide open. And all of a sudden, you're in a little bit of trouble. Maybe they just fancy the flank a little bit more. Check and find Viper. And now Ling may well be the linchpin here for the side of Q9. He's the tip of the spear, but can Mauchi try and find something here? Jez on the close angle. He manages to get out, but now in a little bit of trouble. Has a backup, but T-Chain will find one. Ling dies through the middle of the map. Now a 3 versus 2. But Mauchi, he finds one. So does G-Tin, and all of a sudden, Warden and Marvel left on the run.
Player comes back here. Now it's a 2v2. Marvel's actually a little bit late to it. That's going to be the final 2 kills. I'll be honest there, I was stressed for a really long time in that situation for New Gen Ninjas because Marvel was so far removed from that situation. He was like a whole 20 seconds away from that bomb site. So New Gen Ninjas, they had the numbers, but in reality, that was actually like a 2v2, 3v3 for the longest time. It was only when Marvel actually came back to the site that my New Gen Ninjas, they actually managed to get control.
Marvel trying to find something there, but Owling will take him down. It's been a bit of a strange start to this search and destroy, to be honest with you. It just feels like New Gen Ninjas, they've had free reign to pushing towards B, and when they have done, they've went on to win the round. But other than that, Q9 have invited them over towards A and then comfortably found their rounds there. And that seems to be the latter happening in round number 5, yeah? Viper and 1 left down to 2 versus 5. Very little info, very little hope. But again, it's a bit of a strange tactic, and I never ever want to question it because it's Q9 that I'm talking about here in Search and Destroy, but they do seem very willing to leave B open.
It is a weird strategy, for sure. It's definitely not the normal one to full commit towards either of the sites here. Because it just causes you so many issues, especially in the late round, right, where you have to make those adaptations, and then you have to leave other lanes open. It can really cause some significant problems. Okay, Viper's going to cause some significant problems around the back line here. He finds a couple of kills. Makes this more possible for Warden. The issue here is for Warden in this 1 versus 3. He's already made noise in this round ton, and so they know more or less where they got to look.
Doable. If he wasn't running into Curly, he was just right in the corner to take that one down. 3-2 now. Q9 in a nice spot. 3-2 up. They'd like this defensive round, though. I think, you know, we still sometimes do lean towards the defensive side. I mean, it does change as time goes on, but you'd like a 4-2 lead. But New Gen Ninjas, I think, would take 3-3 after 6 rounds of attack, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is solid for New Gen Ninjas. Yeah. They've taken 2 offensive rounds away from Q9, I think, is incredible. So to get a 3rd one would be seriously something. I will say, I don't think Q9 have been infallible here in Search and Destroy from what we've seen so far. Like, we expect the best of the best Search and Destroy from Q9, and that's really not what we've seen thus far in this S&D. They've fallen foul to too many First Bloods. This is abnormal Search and Destroy, considering their win rate over in CDM, which is widely considered some of the best competition in the world. New Gen Ninjas are going to play slow here in this round, though. They haven't drawn that First Blood that's benefited them in previous rounds. Oling, he's not waiting.
Trying to find something. Oh, wow, Ling just whips it a little bit. One will find one, Jess will find one back. So a little bit of a misstep from Q9. And New Gen Ninja's just sitting there ready to pounce.
Bro, that's not Oling. Like, what happened to the Oling we saw back in game number 1? He never misses.
I mean, he whiffed big time. Munchie will find one back onto Viper, but Warden is there to find the trade. Should surely be there. Curly now left in a 1 versus 3. The pressure coming through, but Jess is very, very weak. Fran in. And we'll find the round. 3-3 after 6 rounds of attack of New Gen Ninjas. That is a decent return. And I know we're going to question that Erling just not hitting his shot there, but at the same time, it's the fact that they put that pressure in. You've got to say the New Gen Ninjas, they were very patient.
Yeah, I just turned around just to make sure we not got the stunt doubles on stage or something. I wasn't entirely sure.
Checking Alan wasn't playing instead.
Yeah. Alan was playing, mate. I don't think he'd even got a kill right now. Q9, 3-3 now. On towards their offense they go. Once again, they have been first blooded by the snipes of New Gen Ninjas. So this time, it's going to be a B hit from them. I like the setup here from New Gen Ninjas. Got a player inside the bar, got a player watching Warden, keeping an eagle eye on that opening. He has the HSO. He's going to be the biggest issue here.
And this is the highlight back from it. I was Viper to kick things off on the rip, my words. Now back into it, Cloud. He'll find one on the Jazz, and the attack from Q9 is just so fast. Like, you really can't do anything about it. That is ridiculous from Mao Chi. And now all of a sudden, Marvel left in a 1 versus 4. Yeah, okay, I mean, the shot that Viper hit to kick things off, fantastic. There's nobody left. Q9 have walked in there far too easily.
Oh, that's solid, though, from Marvel. Marvel! They've got souls! Not another one. Marvel now down to a 1v2.
How on earth has Marvel found that second shot? Ling and Mao-Chi are now going to be ready and waiting for him. This is still a tall order from Marvel. A good effort. Mao-Chi will find it. Q9 will take a lead. There's been some clips already.
Just pure bewilderment is all I've got for that, folks. I tell you what.
Defend the objective.
These boys have got some snipes. Marvel showing up Q9 also showing up in that round. Start things strong on the offense. Looks to be aggressive here towards A, but it feels like New Gen Ninja is actually ready for this one. That is some beautiful set nades coming out from New Gen Ninjas.
Catches Mauchi, and now all of a sudden, Cloud pushed up, nice and heavy. Warden again. He's been the one that's finding the kills. Alin gets taken down by Fran, and these certain exchanges that become so important just all seem to be going the way of New Gen Ninjas. They're clutching up when they need to. Jez couldn't that time. Curly will find one. Marvel gets in to clean it up, though, 4 apiece. These crucial matchups, these crucial 1v1s are all going New Gen Ninjas' way, and they are winning rounds off the back of it.
Brother, I love this New Gen Ninja squad. I want this permanently. This is amazing. Phenomenal play out of them. Their teamwork right now, you would not think these guys have been together for all of a week. Q9 struggling to headbutt their way in what is known to be their entire thing. Search and destroy is their game. I feel like New Gen Ninjas are trying to steal that away from them right now. It's the same setup though here for New Gen. Once again, player inside bar. Warden needs to find some more value from B, but you've lost the first blood, and well, that now splits the map up just a little bit. You've got to try and play a 2 versus X situation on either of these two sites. You can't afford to abandon them at this stage of the round.
Look how patient they're being. Expecting the push to come through from one, it doesn't. Q9 ready to just take their time. But they've finally set their sights on a bomb site. Now they're going to be able to find their hits. Yeah, the shot from Marvel rings through, but it doesn't quite land in time. Mauchi will survive it. But they'll get a little bit more information and plenty more here as well, as now New Gen Ninjas is start pushing from behind, but Marvel will find not 1 but 2. Here with the sniper, 3 from Marvel. And Fran will pick up the last 2 needed. Phenomenal work from New Gen Ninjas. And the thing is, Q9 were waiting for the push through B, and as soon as they leave, New Gen Ninjas start to make that flank, but Marvel with 3 to hold it down over towards A. Massive plays, 5-4 New Gen Ninjas.
Part of me starting to question where the util is from Q9 though, I'll say, right? I mean, you kind of want some late round util to put a stop to something like that. They don't really use any. I don't know if they even had any in that situation, but still Marvel runs through them, as does Fran. Once again, now it's aggressive from Q9. They want to set the pace in this round.
Kelly. Chen trying to find a way through. Kelly can find one, Warden finds another, but all these exchanges, it just seems as if New Gen Ninjas are the ones coming out on top. Shots coming in from the middle of the map, and I mean, that just hasn't been cleared. It's 3 kills from Fran. Is the trade going to be there as Warden now will find his way through, misses the first shot, and you will be punished for it. Viper now left in a 1 versus 2.
Viper, stay. No need to push.
Timon gets the time and finds the first kill. He is there to pick up the pieces. 5 apiece. 10 search and destroy this one. It feels like neither one of these teams have really got a read on what the other are doing. The New Gen Ninjas are the one who are most of the time coming out on top, but Q9 this time will get it.
Yeah, huge round from Q9 as well. I think they needed that to set the pace to actually get some control of this game. It's something that has eluded them so far. Their sniper's normally excellent, and they have been through this game at the first blood.
Oh, they're sending it. They're sending it. There's no way! He uppercuts one, hooks the other. And Jess finds 2 of the prize fighters. Warden will find another. Ao Ling will fall. What on earth just happened? They tried the smoke play, and they're just in there swinging.
Now the issue here is you're looking for snipes. You want to get control of the bomb. You've got control of the bomb site, but you've got no bomb. You've got to exit Cloud. You've got a job to do.
Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Not just that round for Warden to try and win, but the fact that we're 6-5 New Gen Ninjas. And it was such an anti-Q9 round. It was the big rush through the middle. They get caught lacking. And this would be an insane scalp for New Gen Ninjas to take. Once Q9's route into this round, it may well be the final one of this search and destroy.
What a feat this would be. We were setting this up like it's impossible. New Gen Ninjas trying to pull it off, and the snipes, they've got to be ready for it.
Marvel's been so good in this position. He needs to be perfect again. There's Cloud dead, but Ao Ling, he will find it when he needs to. Finds 2 in the entry to the site. Now Q9 have control over towards A. They need to get this bomb down, but do they have the positioning? Yes, they do. Viper will fall. It 4v2.
Yeah, Viper taking him out was huge. That was a flanking play that would have blown this entire thing up. Now you've got massive man advantage here. New Gen Ninjas trying to seek their way through.
Not going to happen. Ches and Warden can't find a way in. It's all about the 2-piece from Ao Ling on the side, and all of a sudden, we are going to overtime. Q9, through adversity, will find themselves with an extra lifeline. But credit to New Gen Ninjas for shoving it this far as well. To overtime we go. Now back onto the attack as the New Gen Ninjas. Can they find? A lot look like they were over towards B once again. A did not seem to be working. B was though.
Util out here for New Gen Ninjas, trying to garner some kind of control, some kind of...
Done the same again.
Information. It's going to be straight B here. How have Q9 let this happen? They've given up B once again.
They're so happy to do it. They seem to be happy to just fight from the outside in. But now everybody else from the side of Q9 has to find their way over. But Cloud positioning himself well. Marvel, he's going to get picked from the outside as well. So maybe this is the tactic. Maybe we just don't know, because now all of a sudden they're all falling like flies. Fran will be able to find one. He can find a second here as well, but he needs to find everybody else. It's not going to happen. Q9, a beautiful retake of B.
Yeah, and that's just when you start a swarm, right? New Gen Ninjas just a little bit discombobulated inside the B site there. You had multiple different players. I'm not too sure either of them were working together. Q9. That's something that's kind of eluded them, right? Their retakes have not been that good so far. We talked about them kind of playing for retakes around B. They've given up the site time and time again. Now they've got the first bloods. That's also something that's eluded them. Q9, I think they're starting to get their head up.
Oh, here we go. It feels as if the information is being downloaded and they've started to figure it out. Q9 will find an easy route in towards B. New Gen Ninjas did the same in the previous round, but New Gen Ninjas have got two people to retake it against the 5 of Q9. Mission literally impossible for Fran and Marvel. We said that with the 1v4 from Kings yesterday, and he managed to pull it off. This would be a step further. Not going to happen. Marvel, he gets taken down. Fran can find one. They are not going to let you find any more. Q9. Nice and solid across the board. Fantastic work from them.
Man. I was expecting some kind of cheer from Q9 at the end of that round of Search and Destroy. Complete silence.
I know, I was turning around looking at them, expecting the excitement, but it's just nice and steady away. They find it so easily.
Ice cold, man. Q9 are like, yeah, that was expected, don't worry about it. It was a little bit closer than we wanted, but yeah, Search and Destroy, that's our ball game. Yeah, Q9. I mean, that is a weird Search and Destroy. First and foremost, I know this is not the normal thing to do when a team has just won the game. I'm going to talk about the loser a little bit. New Gen Ninjas, fair play. You know, like that is Search and Destroy. I don't think I've ever seen out of Soul or even Godlike, to be honest, at times. New Gen Ninjas coming in here like, yeah, we got a whole new playbook.
Just
I don't know what's going on.
Just not even stressed.
Nothing whatsoever. I don't know whether the coaching staff had anything to do with that. Shout out to Callie and Zim, but yeah, that is insane, the way that they played that Search and Destroy. Particular shout out, I think, to Marvel and Fran, and you know, even Viper. I think all of them had their moments, to be fair, but I think particularly Marvel was a god with that sniper rifle, and that was what was working, I think, for New Gen Ninjas early on in that Search and Destroy, at least, was that the first blood win percentage was very high. Q9 kept on getting shut out in the early round. Obviously, we kind of talked about how Q9 were also giving up sight, so when we got to the half, New Gen Ninjas were keeping up. Then they started to kind of get a little bit ahead of Q9, but I think that final 2 rounds is more or less what we've expected from Q9 in the past. There was that phenomenal snipe from Marvel that blew us both away here on the casting desk. But yeah, I mean, Q9, I think when they want to lock in, those final 2 rounds are Q9 playing at 100%, probably more than that speed. That's the Q9 we expect. So honestly, I think as we get further in this tournament, probably expecting more of that consistency.
I'd be curious to see if the tactic on Coastal just given B up, though. Against it, with all respect to the New Gen Ninjas, of course, they've got a fantastic squad, but they have kind of just been pieced together a week ago. Against a team who are a lot more proficient in Search and Destroy, will that work? That would be my query, because we've seen it work once where they were sitting on the outside, and I actually believe it was Cloud who sat very, very patient, expecting one player to push over across from double doors to get a little bit more coverage towards the backside, catches him, and the dominoes start to fall. But it feels like a high-risk tactic, to say the least.
Yeah, I think the thing is, right, with Coastal in particular as a map, especially on B retakes, there's a lot of spots that I would say fundamentally are normal, like your day one spots per se, right? You're going to have somebody towards kind of that back barrel area, and you can snipe through from bar. You'll get like kind of the double wall bang, as it were. So that's where you'll see the players kind of just automatically snipe that on retakes. And then you kind of more or less know that you're going to have an HSO player to deal with near the kind of offensive side cut. And so, you know, if you're looking at a squad like New Gen Ninjas, I'd imagine they're quite quite easily readable because, as we mentioned before we got into the search and destroy, they're not going to have deep search and destroy strategies that are going to be any different from your bog standard fundamental S&D playbook on Coastal S&D. And I think that's kind of the way in which, all right, we know where these players are going to be. We know that Warden's your HSO player. He's going to be the player near the entrance, and it just made it so readable in overtime. But New Gen Ninjas, they deserve some love, man. They've been keeping up with Q9. These guys have been the creme de la creme of Call of Duty Mobile alongside Wolves and Elevate over the last few years. For New Gen Ninjas to be keeping up is a miracle unto itself. But now they have to take a map, because if they do not, they will be down into the lower brackets.
Well, here we go. Can they manage it on the control? They've been close. In absolute fairness, what they lose map number 1 by 20, they go to overtime in the search and destroy. And I said something yesterday at the end of the show, and I think that's going to kind of ring true. New Gen Ninjas are going to get better the longer the tournament goes on. And we are starting to see some of that. But right now, Q9 ultimately lead 2-0. And I think that's probably credit to them as well. Q9 have clutched up when they've needed. New Gen Ninjas have forced them to do so, though. Branico are doing well, though, to kick things off here. Cloud will take himself down. Branico, though, doing a good job of clearing out over towards that side. They've got themselves set up well.
Good start here for Q9 on the defense. You've only given up 1 tick of progression at this point in time. New Gen Ninjas now trying to get moving forward. A couple of kills coming through from Jez and Viper. That's going to clear out some space here, and I like what New Gen Ninjas are doing. They're not just kind of solo hitting either of these 2 points at the moment. They're trying to spread themselves across the map to, well, spread thin the defensive line of Q9. Kills now starting to come through as well, Tan, and they are making that A capture slowly but surely. That's the extra 60 seconds they want, but they got to be careful about Q9 pushing through to their spawn.
That was a big kill for Cloud to find. Takes down Fran and then gets Viper, who is wanting to get aggressive. Relevant of that, though. Air capture comes on through. And the time has now been extended. Can they find a way through there? That's always the difficult part. Cloud will get taken down on the flank, so there's a battle line kind of set now. Q9 arguably have their backs against the wall well here.
Yeah, they're being pushed very far back. I will say, I mean, this is kind of pretty standard defensive setup, right? You've got a couple of shotgun players inside of B, keeping an eye on that opening, and that's how you hold on. But now you're going to start to push through if you're New Gen Ninjas. Oh, he's trying to get the melees off. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? You can't do that against the former world champion. Oling is just that good, man. You cannot try and outgun him.
Starting to line them up with the HS. It's only Jez who from the outside can shut him down. Warden and Co doing well, but Curly sits back with the Odin and lets it ring. Finds 3, Mauchi will find another, and all of a sudden Q9 have got control.
11v4 feels like a foregone conclusion at this point in this round, doesn't it, Chris? Last couple of kills, and this round will be done. And now they're just on full hunt mode. Get those last players out of the round. This has been phenomenal for Q9, and the last player here, Jez, 55 seconds left on the clock. And here we go. Q9 run as far back as you possibly can, because you want those ops for the start of round number 2. Of course, the other side of this, though, is that you are inadvertently giving up tick progression for a potential defense in round number 5, although I'm not necessarily sure that Q9 care about that.
I'll let this one tick down. And as this kind of does tick down, I mean, look, New Gen Ninjas found themselves in a decent spot in the attack there, didn't they? They put themselves at that moment where it was going to come down to a big firefight, and they lost it handsomely. But until that point, it was a pretty even game, but that's so often what we can see on Crossfire, right? We see an even back and forth, and then all of a sudden one big fight can completely break a round. That's why I like Control, though, in a certain way, is that it can be so 50-50, and it's just one moment that can swing a game. Cloud, though, going to start pushing up through the middle of the map. Operator is now going to start to become a little bit more of an issue, specifically for New Gen Ninjas to have to worry about. Viper will find 2, though, over towards this A side. Jez doing well with the Sparrow as well. Holding the back, if only momentarily, Q9 to find a broke through.
All right, good start from Q9 here. They haven't been pushed back at the spawn just yet. 25 seconds burn off the clock, and now they're going to start to double up on the point. Reminder that they've still got ops to go here if they want to, and they've still got D-Chen doing some, well, ninja moves towards the point. Q9 slowly capturing at this point in time, Tom, but they are boxed in right now towards A.
Archie trying his best to just alleviate some of that pressure. And they have done themselves a good job here, though, Q9. They find a couple of kills, and they will start to now tick over towards this A side. First tick's already in. They want to extend this time. Curly just looking to try and give a little bit of cover. Warden is not far away, as is Viper. Jez will get taken down, though, and all of a sudden, Q9 will get their second tick. The third is incoming. I think New Gen Ninjas may well just give that one up. But you can see down the B side of the map, they try to get some control over towards Butchery, and that's exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, Q9 have now cleared a little bit of space. The big issue for me here is the fact that they've got ops ready to go. Viper needs to find a lot of value out of this Tempest to keep them at bay.
Jez, he can find one. Viper finds another, and now we'll get the cross on the other side. And this is the kind of moment that I was talking about with Control and Crossfire. You find a flurry of kills, and that can open things up. Just such a hard push. Jez is in a fantastic position, and I think now for Q9, they need operators to get them out of what is this hell of a spawn trap. Viper and Co doing so well. They're keeping them at bay. New Gen Ninjas doing a great job. Q9 with work to do.
It feels kind of weird, right? Because the longer you hold on to your operators in this situation, the more you're giving New Gen Ninjas a chance to cycle into their own operators. You've held on to these ops for a really long time. Like 3 of them at the very least, Cloud, Cully, and Oling have had their ops for a really long time. You're in an 8v14, so now you're kind of pressed to use them if you really want to. I would at least get one out right now.
They're going to now, though. You would like to think they find a couple of kills just to ease some of that pressure. And now there's going to be time. There's going to be an opportunity to bring them out. They still aren't, but there you go. Death Machine is out on the other side of things. Cloud and Co starting to do the work, though. Curly will find a kill, and it's all just broken to absolute chaos. It's an 8 versus 4. New Gen Ninja still in a good position, but Q9 have found their way up the map.
Yep, have to find some value out of this Death Machine. Hold players at bay, provide space for your team. You have to find these kills right here, right now.
Eyes went risky. Jez will find him. Cloud will fall. 6 versus 3. This is still doable. It's plausible. Chen looking for the kill on the Warden, has to find out great shots. HS now out, heading over towards this B side. A 3 versus 5 doable for Q9 still.
Do not be surprised if any of these ops come out in the last 20 seconds here. This is an important round for both of these two teams. Q9, if they're going to hit it, they got to hit it soon. They've not got much time here, Tunt.
10 seconds. They've got to find a touch onto the point as quickly as they can. You can see the operators are starting to be brought in. Mashi's got the Annihilator out. He finds nothing for it. Warden, he'll take him down, make it a 2 versus 5. You don't hit your shots, you don't win the round. New Gen Ninjas find it cleaning.
That is a 3-op investment in that round from Q9. They left themselves in an awkward spot. Generally speaking, you see teams swing those ops out at the start of the round pretty much as soon as you get them. They're like, nope, we're going to hold on to them, and they find themselves having to use them with their backs up against the wall. G-Chen will bring out his War Machine in the closing moments of that one, but don't worry, folks, he'll get it charged back. He didn't pop off a shot. And off the start of this one, this is how you use the War Machine at the start of a control round.
Yeah, they've done well. Owling's managed to find his way forward, though, with Operator in hand. Equalizers are out, and he's causing some issues, but Viper's found himself quite far up the map. Owling does not care about that. In and around A, he will show them exactly what he can do with these. And now he's just going to transition back over. He's just moving around the map so quickly, and it's just such a hard thing to read. But Q9 have drawn these battle lines in their favor for a moment, at least anyway. Marvel and Fran have combined well. New Gen Ninjas will break out over towards A.
Second tick about to be through here. Q9. I don't know if they necessarily want to invest into this point. I don't think there's any real reason to. You're not that far behind. But Jess is actually going to invest a Sparrow here to make a transition. And now all of a sudden, New Gen Ninjas, I was going to say they've got control of bottom X, but now they don't. That was the position you need to cause some problems. And I think that's where they're going to fill the space of Jess.
Jess gets taken down almost immediately, though. I feel like you cursed him. Cloud. He'll find the kill and get a little bit of control over towards the A side of the map. Now Ling is ready and waiting. China's going to be there for the change, yep, and it's just going to come on through. Warden does have the equalizers out, but Owling's HS may well just be as powerful. Moshi finds one under Jess. They're keeping them at bay here, Q9. That's all they need to do, if only momentarily. Warden can find Owling, though, and he may well just get it going. To be honest with you, Viper finds 2, and here they will go. New Gen Ninjas now putting themselves in a good position to get something going, but you got to continue to find the kills. Curly can find 1. The trade is there. New Gen Ninjas find a way into B.
And Fran takes himself down with the War Machine. There's not really much value off the other couple of ops as well, so triple on investment. It does give them a 4 life advantage and growing, though. With 90 seconds on the clock, this could well come down to lives, and New Geners now starting to get towards the point.
And look how far back Q9 are as well. Underkiller will take Viper down. Will take Chen down, I should say, from Viper. Warden and Co doing so well with the kills, and the slaying ability for New Gen Ninjas is coming out on top. 10 versus 2. I mean, we picked up Q9 in that previous round, but I'd be surprised to see Owling and Cloud be able to do this. They find the first couple of kills, they will force them away, but it's just so difficult to get this done. A 1 versus 8 for Owling, even somebody of his esteem will struggle with this one.
And they're just going to wait. They're just going to chill. One player on the point to slowly capture, provide some issues. And the rest of the players charge into those operators, baby, for the start of the next round. Owling will also make slow progression towards his equals at the end of this round. Now a game of hide and seek. Who can be champion? Owling on the hunt for these players. He wants to, in this situation, Ton, take as many of these players out as possible, because if he does so, it's huge. Switches to the MW11 to take Fran down. And yeah, just try and take out these players out before those ops comes through. But he is failing right now. Oling, no. Okay, thank God he threw that thing. I was going to get very stressed there for a second.
Yeah, we did have a situation there for anybody who is a viewer of the Mobile World Championship. You just can't. It's against the rules. You can't, unfortunately, monitor them, basically. Q9 finding the push over. Chess is out, but I mean, yeah, he's just trying to find as much value as he can, but this is going to be wound down by New Gen Ninjas as long as possible.
Yeah, how close are they to their ops right now? We're on board with Oling. He's getting his equals here in a second. None of the ops have come through for New Gen Ninjas just yet. They're surely going to be close, because they've been at this for like a solid 40 to 50 seconds, probably even more than that at this point. If Oling's not character isn't tired by now, I don't know what's going on. Still, no ops. And finally, they'll take him down. They have got to be incredibly close to their operators after that, because they were at that for like a solid minute and a bit.
I mean, they had the advantage heading into that round, right? They had so many more, and now they're going to be at an advantage shortly as well, you would like to think. As far as operators go, New Gen Ninjas threatening to take a map away here. 2-1 up, and now onto the defensive side. Q9 have got to pull, oh, well, a rabbit out of the hat, and right now they can't find a kill. Viper, Warden, doing well, forcing them back. And you can't lose these opening gunfights like this. It's going to put you in a tough spot, and not a single kill for Q9 so far. New Gen Ninjas in a really nice spot to close out this control. 2-1 up and cruising right now.
Here is why you're one of those operators, folks. They're 2-1 up in this control. You absolutely dominate Q9 at the start of this round. You make it an insurmountable advantage in the kills. And, well, there is no way back in, even for a squad as brilliant as Q9. Jez trying to make it work. We'll only find one, but look at the life discrepancy already in this round, Ton. And that snowball continues to grow. It's a 10 life differential, and I don't think Q9 are getting any better.
Yeah, the skies are opening now as well. Q9 really being forced back. They have been able to push themselves up at least over towards A. They're starting to get their operators themselves. Warden will waste his. Curly will find something, but Viper answers back. Tempest will hit. He'll slow them down. But Q9 do have a minor hope in this one. They can get a hold of A, and lives will matter not if they can just wipe them, but Warden's starting to get aggressive. Operators now available for the side of Q9 as well. Nothing available for New Gen Ninjas. Q9 have to be perfect, and everything is being thrown out.
Every single op to get multiple value here on this game. With 30 seconds to clock in a 9v17, everything has to hit.
It's doable. Equalizers out here from Oling. That's at least 4 dead, and now they're starting to move over towards this B side. The skill feed is just heavy on the Q9 side. Cloud will find one. Warden's the only one who can answer back, but Fran is there alongside of him as well. 3 players up and kicking now for Q9. And yes, okay, they've made some indents, but the problem is for them, 25 seconds on the clock, 7 versus 11. This is still difficult to do.
Absolutely feasible. They pushed a New Gen Ninjas all the way back. The kill feed is theirs. They wanted value out of their operators. That's exactly what they've got, and they've got map control as well. If there was ever a time for New Gen Ninjas to feel the key, it's right now.
Oling misses the first shot, but his teammates are going to be there to find the second as well, and this kill feed has not been yellow for some time. Maushi now with the Annihilator route. Q9 to pull this one from the fire, and Maushi is not missing. 4 for the Annihilator, 6 versus 2, and Q9, they may well have done it the hard way, but they've done it. They send it to a round number 5.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
I need a shower after that. What was that? A 10 life differential brought down to smithereens. Round 5, but all ops off the table, bar 1 from Jez. New Gen Ninjas, they need to do the exact same thing again, but this time, do not let it slip, and Jez is most certainly not. He is here to play.
Oh my word, Jez, now he has the Odin out and he's trying to keep them away. It's a good push over towards B, almost imminently from New Gen Ninjas, and Q9 answer back. They're going to be able to force them off here as well. Cloud will fall. Well, Cloud will find the kill, I should say, sorry, eventually. But the push over towards A will start to come through. New Gen Ninjas had a good start, but they've been pegged back just a little bit. But A under their control right now.
Small life differential. Second ticket is head through by A, and Q9 are not pushing New Gen Ninjas too far back into their spawn at this point in time. There's a chance for them to make some progression. Bit of a gracious push there from DGen to try and salvage the A zone. That is not happening. So the extra 60 seconds will be on the board regardless. We sit at 20v20 in lives with over 2 minutes on the clock here. Things should slow down significantly, but as I say it, 3 kills in the feed for Q9. Tempest out. I don't think Q9 want the tempo to slow down.
Warden actually managed to break it up, and Maushi will fall, as will Curly. So Warden will do it all on his own. Cloud over towards this A side. No, that's already gone, but he needs to keep control of this side of the map, and it's a bit of a pinstripe kill feed, but 16 versus 16. Not quite the tick over towards B that New Gen Ninjas need, or is it? Are they getting it over? Oh, no. Cloud, you need to be able to find that one. Viper with the Tempest will spin, and is that going to be the catalyst that gets things going? 15 versus 15. It's so close in lives. 2 ticks needed for New Gen Ninjas over towards B.
And they're starting to make that progress up the map as well. You've got players in towards X, you've got players forward, but Oling, he wants to put a stop to all of this chaos and carnage. Viper still keeping New Gen Ninjas in control of the map and in control of the lives.
How is Viper winning some of these gunfights? Curly and Kono have a little bit more control over towards this B side now. New Gen Ninja's going to start looking for a push. Operators are going to be absolutely massive here as well. Fran, the War Machine is out and it's starting to sing. Can he find more than 2? Not quite, but Owling, he'll find his equalizers and he'll try to clear it out here on the point. But Jez is going to jab him in the face to equalize it for very, very little. But now Chen with the War Machines, it's all about the Operators. 7v7.
You've got time. Do not push into this if you're Q9. There's a double up investment from Q9. New Gen Ninjas, you can wait this out and wait for the Operators to go away. Play time. That's exactly what Marvel's just done. He's just sniped one player out of the play. New Gen Ninjas, they are playing this absolutely perfectly, Ton. And Q9, I feel like they might feel they popped this a little bit early. I know that they've cleared some space here, Ton, but you don't really find any value beyond that space clearance out of those ops.
And all this time that they're waiting, that time that they're waiting for this to dwindle, Warden and Co can start to get their operators themselves. We talk about that economy, we talk about that mini game of the operators. It's in full flow now. This turns a bit more intense. Not that fast firing that we seen a few seconds ago, and now the push is going to start coming on through. Warden is the only one with an operator available, but can you break it anyway? Cloud is going to poke his head out. He's going to get taken down for it. Jez can find one. Can he find a second? No, it's going to be Fran who finds it, but Curly has to go absolutely massive for the team. Finds 1, finds 2. Is he going to spin for the 3rd? He doesn't need to because Owling's the one that's found it. But Warden, the equalizers are out. He's found 2 on the flank. Can he find anything more? No. Curly shuts him down 2v3, and Curly is just trying to do it all on his own. Owling in the middle of the map. Can he find that gunfight? Oh my God, it's 2v2. 1 second, they've got to get in. Viper can find 1. It's a 1v2 for Owling. The 2 ticks are on. He needs a moment, but Fran will not give him it. New Gen Ninjas find a way. And now he popped a blood vessel, but the Ninjas will find a map.
One second on the clock. 1 second to keep your hopes and dreams of being in the winner's bracket alive. And New Gen Ninjas, they do exactly that. Oh my God, just insatiable, isn't it? Q9, I just, like, look, let's bring this back here to big picture storyline for a second, folks. If you guys are new to Call of Duty Mobile Esports, if you're new to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships, this is one of the best teams in the world, Q9. They have been consistently in grand final after grand final. And they are being pushed to the brink right now by a team that really has only just come together. They are here to represent India, one of the most passionate Call of Duty mobile communities. And they're doing it. They're doing it with vigor. I mean, just an insane game of control from both of these two teams. I just, honestly, the operating usage of both teams.
Genuinely, that's probably the best crossfire control I've ever seen. That was ridiculous. So many moments that just swung back and forth. The pendulum was never in the middle. It was always one way, and it always seemed to swing the other. In the blink of an eye, I might have just about recovered after that one. That was mental. Q9 still in the lead here, but New Gen Ninjas have forced their way back into the series. But frankly, they've been in the series the entire time. Map number 1, 20-30 point game. It was close all the way down. New Gen Ninjas nearly brought it back. Q9 had to win in overtime in the search and destroy. This has not been the game we expected. Frankly, we were having conversations this morning saying, okay, well, our first game is probably going to be a quick 3-0. Q9 are going to work them. We thought that would be the case. It has very much not been. New Gen Ninjas are here to play.
I feel stunned. I honestly, I just feel stunned. And I know, again, a lot of people out there will be saying, well, you should have expected a team like this to be competitive. And no, just no. Like, for history's sake as well. I think Godlike have been a competitive team from India, right? Obviously, they've effectively, they got to World Championships in 2023, the Grand Finals. In 2024, they were competitive. CDM, they overhauled their roster with Viper and Warden and have been competitive with the best of the best. Seoul maybe not so lucky. And so to kind of see, a team that is effectively a combination of those two rosters be up here and hanging with the big boys in Q9, I think is a testament to just how good these players are. And I think more to the point, their determination is sky high. They win Crossfire Control. They move forward in this series to play an Apocalypse Hardpoint. And this is where things get a little bit more dicey between these two teams, Tom, because Summit Hardpoint, in a way, it kind of felt like a given that Q9 were going to win that. That is their strongest Hardpoint map by far. So we know they were going to take that one home. Apocalypse Hardpoint is a bit of a weirder one. Obviously, for New Gen Ninjas, it's very difficult to gauge Apocalypse Hardpoint. When, we talk about kind of Marvel, Fran, and Jez on Seoul, Apocalypse Hardpoint was not really a beneficial map for them. For Q9, however, I think it's not really been a good map for them either. So, yeah, Apocalypse Hardpoint, I think there's a real shot here that New Gen Ninjas are able to force a Game 5, and if that happens, well, if that Coastal Search and Destroy is anything to go by, oh, India, if you're here watching your boys, get hyped, because New Gen Ninjas, there is a chance they could pull off one of the most insane things we've ever seen here at COD Mobile Champs.
The Apocalypse was the one that we said was winnable. And frankly, New Gen Ninjas have provided to be a little bit more competition than we necessarily expected. Marvel off the rip will find the collateral damage to kick things off, and that is a clean wipe coming through for New Gen Ninjas, and they're able just to force their way through immediately. P2 spawns on lock. Q9 nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I really like the play almost immediately here from New Gen Ninjas, that they have a player watching Letterbox to make sure they don't lose those spawns. Unfortunately, they didn't actually have anybody back inside the temple, so those spawns will flip out regardless. Unfortunately, he also gets quite surprised by it. Viper wasn't quite expecting T-Chen to be in that position. So just as quickly as New Gen Ninjas do get full control over the spawns, they're once again having a fight for it.
And now it's flipped up back again, actually. I mean, it's all over the place. Nobody seems to want these P2 spawns. That's usually what you're fighting for. But Irrelevant, Q9 starting to get themselves on the board. 25 seconds for New Gen Ninjas to kick things off here over towards P1. 15 still to play for, but the spawns, the ever important spawns, currently belong to New Gen Ninjas.
New Gen Ninjas in control. There's still one player trying to be a nuisance right now. Oling is pretty weak, so should be taken out with pretty ease. So never mind, he's still going. Finally taken down, but he will buy some time for the rest of Q9 to make their way through the front of the hard point. We're going to see Ops relatively soon, and as a matter of fact, that push from Q9 is actually going to force a Predator missile out of Jez. So Q9 making sure utility is gone for New Gen Ninjas is going to make this a little bit more portable, but this is a kill box and a half. It's so difficult to get through this little choke point.
And Marvel's been performing admirably. The whole of Europe on this man's back, and he is flying right now up against Q9. Jen can find two though. Is he going to start to open things up? Yes, he is, because the nades from Cloud are fantastic. And there's the break that Q9 needed. 35 seconds to play for here. New Gen Ninjas still have the spawns towards the back, but they can be a bit of a curse if everybody from Q9's already on the point. They're trying to find a way back through, but Warden, he can find two. He can be the one to find a way back through. Equalizes out and singing, and all of a sudden, New Gen Ninjas back in control and looking for a little bit more if you're Warden. 6 off the rip from the spawn, and Q9 are forced away.
Warden is just that guy, man. A Prodigy. Not too sure about a triple investment with 15 seconds left on the clock, but you know what, Warden? I'll give it to you, mate, because you are beaming right now with 15 kills to your name, and it is reflecting in the scoreline as well. It will be about 80 to 25 or so, give or take, as we get into the third hardpoint rotation here. And, well, Q9, they might well get away with gunfights, but this is a real mixy hardpoint. You're going to see New Gen Ninjas fight for those back spawns here to make sure their spawns for the next hill are in their favor.
And they nearly did that successfully. No, they have done that successfully. They get the spawns over towards the backside, so Q9 backs against the wall ever so slightly. Not one mouse. She has the death machine out, though. Starts to send it down this side of the map, but irrelevant of anything else, New Gen Ninjas have not been able to get that much closer. They may well have the spawns, but it can be a little bit difficult sometimes to try and find that push, especially if the ups are like this and they're singing like that from Curly. 2, 3 kills found. Nice play, and Fran's the only one who can answer.
Q9 actually taking a lot of time off what is generally speaking considered to be a mixy hard point. Ninja's got to be careful how much they invest in towards this hard point as well, because I was going to say, those spawns that you put so much effort into obtaining might well flip against you, and that is exactly what's happened here for that lead that New Gen Ninjas have built up. Well, it's Oling who's cutting right through it. Q9, 10 seconds left on this hill. They do have somewhat control of rotation, but one player is already there. New Gen Ninjas, they might be secure on this next hill.
And it was Jez who was able to find something over towards the next hill. Drop it will get rid of the Predator cell, and all of a sudden you're in control if you're New Gen Ninjas. But that was the one that you've bled on significantly. Q9 managed to find a way through over towards P3, and it's not necessarily one that we expect a full 40-50 points to go over towards any particular team. And they managed to do it. The New Gen Ninjas, can they answer back themselves? Curly can find two, Marvel, Warden, Viper all combining, and they will continue to hold over towards P4.
And this is the problem again. We talked about that kill box earlier on the other side of the situation where it was New Gen Ninjas inside P2. Well, you can also do the thing on the flip side of it where you have an op just basically tearing through everybody who would even think about trying to get through that side. You've got to go through Chicken Coop if you can. First half of the kill is good. They can get through.
Curly managed to find the kill alongside of Chen, working out together, and 30 seconds to play for here. May well be Q9s. They find a break back through, and New Gen Ninjas wiped off the board. Feels like both these two teams in every single map we've played, it's like, okay, I'll take a Hail Mary at you. You take one back, and both teams are landing.
Q9 just taking time away from New Gen Ninjas here is huge. This is so reminiscent of the earlier hardpoint, isn't it? A back and forth game between these two teams. Everybody across the board performing, although it does feel like Q9 ever so slightly outslaying their opposition in at least points. Warden having a hell of a game though. Shout out to that guy at 21 kills, currently leading across the board. When we get into the second set of rotations, last time P2 spawns were locked down by New Gen Ninjas. This time, it is Q9 in control currently, and they'll want to hold them to take that lead and really start to storm away with this game.
Let's see if they can do it, because last time around, both these two teams seemed to give up the spawns for P2 almost every 5-10 seconds. Nobody seemingly wanted it, but I'm sure Q9 would rather keep themselves back here, especially considering that they're in over towards P1 as well and getting some time. Aling, Cloud, combining well. Operators Nelly on the board here for Cloud. That'll be a nice time to have it in 25 seconds time when we move over towards back temple.
Q9 looking for the kills. They've already lost one player over by Letterbox here, so New Gen Ninjas can now start to filter through, and it is possible to get spawn trapped towards the back of the hard point as long as there are enough numbers to do so. If you're a Marvel over by New, you have to win some gunfights because you're not getting any reinforcements through the middle of the map at the moment.
They're on their way through cave. They've managed to find themselves in a position where they can do something with P2, and there you go. That's Tempest complete wasted from Curly. Now she can answer back, but everybody else starting to fall on the side of Q9. Is the break going to come through here for New Gen Ninjas? It's looking that way. Spawns over towards the back now are dangerous because Warden, he's got the equalizers out, and now you're going to try and push through that. A very tiny choke point. So difficult for Q9 to do anything. It's a wonderful break from New Gen Ninjas.
Yeah, you see Warden now pushing out though towards the back temple. It means that now Q9 going to spawn out on the other side. The read is good from New Gen Ninjas. They left one player behind enemy lines. I think New Gen Ninjas are wise to it, but the kills now starting to come through from Q9.
Let's see if Chen can manage to find a way through. The rest of his team trying to come through on the other side, and Chen may well just be the one that pinches in together here. It's going to fall, but it's a lot of a distraction if anything, and Q9 can find their way through. Curly now setting up towards the back to be the mixy P2. Nobody seemingly want to continue control, but a big investment coming in from Q9, and it has to pay off, and it seems like it is. Machi will find two. Owling and Curly combining on the flank, and that's a wonderful, wonderful hard point from Q9. They find a way back through, but it's only a 20-point game.
Yeah, it feels like we're splitting hairs at the moment, doesn't it, Ton? Because, yeah, Q9, they do get through. Big play from Chi-Chen there, distracting New Gen Ninjas while the rest of the team are able to break through the front letterbox again. That kill box that is so difficult to break, Q9 do exactly that. Now we go back towards P3 here, and this is where Q9 got a wealth of time last time around. More time, I think, than they've got on any other kill in this game thus far. This is a very difficult kill to pull off. It feels like Q9, they've got that unlock.
Marvel, going to try and find something up top. Trying to get a little bit more control from the lower side so they can start to get some points together, and that may well be now. Q9 with the back spawns, which is more beneficial for the next hill. What we've seen last time, New Gen Ninjas really struggled to push through from this spawn, and Q9 flipped them, and Q9 found some good time. Right now, it's a bit of a pinstripe kill feed. Q9 can find plenty, though, and they will continue to find time. 30 seconds on offer, and Q9 in control.
And this is starting to get a little bit difficult here for New Gen Ninjas. You need to push through the old time and try and pick spawns for new. It's just not happening with the investment that Q9 are putting on the table at the moment. moment, and now you're starting to feel yourself in a bit of an awkward spot. Q9, not only are they getting the time off this hill, they're also getting utility off of the streets as well, and they're getting new control of the spawns. New Gen Ninjas, you need to break these spawns now if you do not want to lose this game in this series.
I felt like Q9 got the lead and they have just ran away with it now. New Gen Ninjas maybe just running out of steam a little bit, going up against a Titanic team. Cloud and Co inside of the point now. New Gen Ninjas trying to find a way through. Frank can find one onto Curly, but it's been all Q9 over the last, minute or so here, Brody. And it's really telling in the scoreline is 200 points is now reached. Marvel will find 2, but they need to find so many more if they want to find this break.
Players spawning in on the other side now. New Gen Ninjas, they're trying to flip the spawns in their favor. They're trying to get in through the other side. They know that Letterbox isn't the way in towards this hard point. That's the choice they've taken. Let's see if it works.
85 seconds to go here over towards P4, and it's Q9 still in control, but New Gen Ninjas have found a way through. They are starting to get some time, and it's time that's sorely needed. 30 seconds on offer here for the side of New Gen Ninjas. If they can find this, it's worth a game heading into the third rotation of hills. It just takes one good P2, you're back into it.
Yeah, you need this 20 seconds as well. At this point, you are down by 60 points. You cannot afford to give this away. That's a 30-point swing if Q9 get this time, and they've done exactly that. So Q9 here, even getting this time, is instrumental to winning the game. So Q9 looking to get that last 5 seconds. They might not get it. G-Chen finding that final kill against Viper. That should secure a couple of seconds. That could mean everything towards the end of the game. But now we go to the third and final set. New Gen Ninjas have been better at holding P2 over Q9. That is their only hope. But with 26 seconds to go until Q9 wins, they cannot afford to give any time here.
New Gen Ninjas starting to find some kills though, and they're trying to find the push over through towards P2. Ling though, he just shuts it down all on his own. Warden going to bring out the equalizers. He's going to find a great deal for it. He can get one, but that is it. It seems like Q9 have found another gear. And New Gen Ninjas, they're not quite quick enough to keep up.
Q9 looking to close things out here. New Gen Ninjas, you can feel them starting to panic. It's the kill feed that lights up blue. Q9, one more wave of gunfights, and New Gen Ninjas down to the lower bracket.
And they need to fight on so many different fronts. They need P2 control. They need to get in P1. They need to find the kills and as many points as possible. You need to try and extend it. They may well be able to do so. The kills start to come through. New Gen Ninjas are in, but they need to flip the spawns.
Yeah, that's the thing right now. You get these gunfights, you keep Q9 out of this hard point, but you have to split the spawns. You've got to go through, but that's Q9 kills.
10 seconds still to play for here for the side of Q9. They can win it here over towards P1, but is it being denied? It seems as if it has been. New Gen Ninjas now need to get their skates on and get over to P2 right now. They are not going to be close enough with 7 seconds. You may well get yourself over through Cave. You've got to make it work.
And they're getting through. The smoke's just allowing them through the front of this hard point. They've got a shot at contesting.
Got to go big, and you got to go big now. Jess cannot find anything. Viper, who's the only one who can. Q9 slam the door shut. 251 at 1. And New Gen Ninjas may well have provided a little bit of competition, but they could not step up to the level of Q9. They will get through to the winners bracket semis, not without trials or tribulations, but they get the job done, as they so often do.
Man, Q9. As you said, close the door on New Gen Ninjas. The storyline has been wiped off the board for now. We'll step it aside and maybe hope for some kind of lower bracket run for New Gen Ninjas. But nonetheless, Q9, man, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because we kind of talked about Search and Destroy being the lock, right, in this series. It didn't really feel there were any locks in this series for Q9. Ninja Ninjas were competitive in every single mode, every single map, even won the crossfire control. But I think specifically relating to that hardpoint turn, again, it was just so back and forth. And really what felt like the difference for me were Q9 were able to lock down a couple of hills that, we didn't really see that much from New Gen Ninjas. I think the closest we saw was that P2 at the very beginning of the game from New Gen Ninjas, and that was it. Q9 locking down P3 on the first set. You know, we locking down, I think it was like P4 in the second set, and then we get into that last kind of P2 hold from them at the end. Q9 just felt like when they were actually getting control of the kill, they were finding more value out of their lockdowns.
Yeah, I think especially that P3 for me, that was really influential. We so often talk about P2 being that money maker. It never really was for either one of these two teams, but I suppose if you're Q9, and you can just be like, yeah, well, we'll just turn P3 into a money hill there, no problem.
What a showdown. New Gen Ninjas keeping it close, but they are now done with this series. They will enter the losers bracket, but the team powering through in our upper bracket, it's Q9 living up to the hype as we take a look at the best moments. So many stars. Ton, did you have an MVP?
I think it's hard to say, but I think Curly for me, to be honest
biggest numbers.
I mean, the biggest number in map number 1. Like, we were talking about Ling all the way through it, but realistically speaking, Curly was the guy who was finding the kills when needs be.
What a showdown. At the end, Q9 powers forward, and we have the winners on the stage with Ian Chambers.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Oling, of course, of Q9, Qingzhou, as our wonderful good friend Lucia, who is going to be translating for us here, told me a little bit earlier on. You guys are looking unstoppable at the moment. Confidence within the team must be super high right now.
今天的比赛当中，你们势不可挡，现在的士气也非常高涨。现在心情怎么样？感觉？
我觉得我们今天是第一次踏上主舞台来进行比赛，可能我们还有一些，我们还是在游戏的过程中有很多环节没有做到最好吧，所以还需要继续努力的。
It's actually our first time stepping on the main stage, so I think we do have some missions that's unfinished. And we will fight for it later on.
Absolutely. New Gen Ninjas will continue their fight in the lower bracket. They did give you a bit of a kickback on map 3 control. It was wild.
在控制模式的第三张图当中吧，当时打得还比较焦灼，有没有感觉到一些压力？
在控制的 Crossfire 那张图，确实在前2个回合感觉我们的方法可能被。就是没有那么奏效，然后我们临场就是更改了一下我们的节奏，但在最后一个回合还是比较可惜，一个比较极限的人头输掉了，对，比较可惜。
Sorry. So for the first 2 rounds, our strategy was not that working at that time, and for the last round, we changed our strategy a little bit, and it's a little bit pity that we lose the last round.
Well, you came back to win the series, and I've just got to ask, when you look back on last year, a second place finish, how much has that driven you to make sure that you complete the mission this time around?
去年的比赛当中，你们并没有拿到最终的冠军嘛？那去年的这些遗憾会化作今年的动力吗？
会的。其实这一次我们肯定是冲着这个冠军来的，所以我们会尽我们一切努力去完成我们的目标。Yes.
We will do whatever it takes to fight for the champion, fight for the trophy.
Well, you're doing a good job so far. Best of luck as the tournament continues. Massive thanks to Oling and, of course, to our great friend Lucia. I'm sure we'll see more of you as the broadcast rolls on. But for now, their journey continues.
Chambers, as we take a look here at what we have in store for us moving forward, we mentioned Q9 is powering forward. The Brazilian teams, though, about to meet up in the elimination bracket. Elevate, of course, powering through in the winners bracket, is going to have a tough battle in the second round. Gentlemen, any surprises on the day for you so far?
I think for me, just how good New Gen Ninjas actually did look in that one, to be honest. I think realistically, we were expecting it to be a really, really tough game.
You called it 3-0.
We did call it 3-0. We were sitting in there thinking, okay, this will probably be done pretty quickly. But New Gen Ninjas really look solid through every single game mode. They feasibly could have won that series with how close some of the maps were.
And we will see New Gen Ninjas waiting to find out who will they be playing. It looks like it's most likely going to be OUG. After a tough search and destroy, OUG was on map point. They could not close it out. Stalwart comes back, wins by 2. They go up 2-0 in the best of 5, Brody.
Oh, man. I mean, if OUG end up facing New Gen Ninjas, just like, this is a picture-perfect bracket, by the way. If OUG end up losing, I don't want OUG to lose, of course. No biasness here on the desk. But if OUG do end up lose, obviously, storylines galore, of course. Tech, the former coach for Godlike, one of the teams that New Gen Ninjas is made up of, going head-to-head with his former team, effectively in the lower bracket. And I think the big thing for me here, Street Gaming versus Galeris, a last-hand face-off in the lower bracket. Those guys swapped players before we got into this tournament. Of course, Zeus and Pabzella swapping between the two teams. For Street, that was an instant upgrade. Pabzella has revitalized those squad to the point where they were able to take a map off of Elevate. I don't think it's a guarantee whatsoever that Galeris get through that matchup.
Do us a favor, if you are tuning in live right now, open up a second tab, head on over to the Bravo stream for the end of that OUG Stalwart Esports game. We're going to a break. When we come back, it's a battle of the elimination bracket. We send our first team home after this.
Hi guys, I'm FDX, the captain for Stalwart Esports, and here is my loadout. I'm gonna start with the loadout. Since I'm a sniper man, I usually go with the Tundra. Even if it's nerf, it's okay. So here's my loadout for it. So I'm gonna first put the muzzle here. As you can see, oh, it's not upgraded, so let's upgrade it first. So muzzle, I usually go with this tactical suppressor just because I don't want to be seen in the map. The barrel, I usually put the one with the fire interval. So here, I recently used this just because some of the attachments are banned. But if it's not banned, just like before, I usually use this Hammer Forge. But for now, jump set, I use this rapid fire. So for stock, I just go with the FMJ so I can wall bang, one hit, you know, something like that. And for the ammunition, for sure, it's gonna be the 7-round. Rear grip, it's gonna be the Serpent Ramp, yep, for the ADS. Then we go to the secondary, I go with the gloves. Of course, just gives me the mobility. I usually use gloves just because I'm really into rushing while having a sniper. And if close range, I usually pull out my gloves and just punch them one hit, you know. And here, I play lightweight, then toughness, then dead silence. The lightweight gives me the speed, toughness, just because I don't want the hit flinch for the sniper. For the dead silence, so I could sneak up into the enemy. For my OS, I usually like Annihilator. Yes, this one. Since I'm a long-range person, sniping gives me also a one-shot kill OS. Then just flash. And for my score streak, it's just the champ set, obviously. The normal one, we just put the EMP in the AV, and it's all done. For those who wants to rush with a sniper, just like in getting that TikTok trend, you know, rushing with sniper, use my loadout. It's very good.
我们在比赛前的准备主要是会去观看我们即将的比赛对手的录像，然后会做一些自身的调整，比如说在我们一些地图的某一些环节，我们会进行一些特别的调整。
So usually before the match, we just play training mode, 20 minutes to read mode. Then if we're like there's a lot of more extra time in, we just go for a free for all together as a team to like warm up our gunfights.
Me personally, as an individual, I make sure to have 3 things. Number 1, it actually happens before the match starts. I make sure to have really good sleep, minimum 8 hours. Number 2, I always make sure to eat very good food. And number 3, I always make sure to take a nice cold shower because it helps me refresh.
我们队伍每天的训练时间会在至少10个小时，然后如果在比赛密集的时期的话，我们的训练时间还会增加。
As a team, we're working around the 8-hour to 9-hour mark on average. However, people individually do work both inside and outside the game by their own time.
We usually train about 4 to 6 hours a day.
As a team, we might play 6-7 hours.
Usually, pressure isn't really a problem, but every player experiences it at some point. My personal best advice to that is take a deep breath in and sometimes just hold your breath.
I'm more like a chill guy, so I can work with the pressure without problems.
I remember that they're human too, and every emotion that I feel, they feel too.
So I would say when it comes to like raging, having a bad mood, it would be Eeyore. He's the one that's like, he's the one like snaps the fastest.
It'll probably be Kings, honestly. He's very passionate, you know, so his rage is very justified at point.
It's between Rihan and Yuki.
I think for me it's Crossing.
I think it's pretty obvious. It's Marvel.
我觉得我们队里都挺容易急眼的。
Oh, that's me. That's me. Yes, that's me.
Probably me. I think I have a bad habit of speaking really fast to the point where I just like fumble my words, honestly. So it's a bad habit.
BP.
Maybe can be Suiwa, I think so. I don't know. I think Suiwa.
I think it's Warden.
我们队里面应该是 Zero 的沟通，有的时候他可能会着急，就是也。
Day 2 of the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships has been all fun and games so far, but I think it's time to turn up the heat a little bit. We're moving now into the lower bracket, and for one of our next two teams, it's about to be game over. For the other, they will progress and live to fight another day. And this matchup is an all-Brazilian buffet. Let's bring out our next two teams, starting with Galeris. They kicked today off with a tough loss to Wolves, but they're back, rebooted and determined to stay alive here against an opponent that they know very, very well. That opponent is Street Gaming. They couldn't raise themselves to Elevate's level earlier on, but they have one last roll of the dice to ensure that this street doesn't lead to a dead end. Fuck it, I know you heard that. The teams are massively hyped up for this. For a neutral fan, this is what you're here for, right? Because it's do or die. The stakes couldn't be higher, and it's about to go down.
Thank you, Master Chambers. It is time to jump into the elimination bracket where we will send our first team packing here in the playoffs. Will it be Galeris, our top team from Brazil, or will it be Street Gaming able to pull off another massive upset? We welcome in Proper and I hold shift to the desk. And gentlemen, this was the bracket you told me we would be seeing at the start of the day. We have our elimination bracket, though, starting to get a bit spicy here. Street Gaming and Galeris, though, they've met up multiple times. So what should we expect based on history here, Andy?
Well, I mean, if history is always doomed to repeat itself, then this should be a very easy cakewalk for Galeris. They barely even lose maps when they do face Street Gaming in their own region, but this is a different beast that we're dealing with Street Gaming, taking maps off of top dogs all tournament long.
And Alan, this is a massive matchup for both of these squads. One team is guaranteed top 6, the other top 8, and there is a difference in the prize pool. Let's take a look at this, baby, as 350 grand is up for grabs for your top spot, but if you finish in the top 8 here, you're getting 24K. You're basically doubling that if you're able to finish in the top 6. So a win here, I'm telling my boys, we're playing for 20K, Andy.
Exactly. Yeah, that $20,000 difference is going to be massive. This is what we were talking about with the winners round 1 matches. That $20,000 guaranteed to at least get into top 6 now becomes that much more severe with your back against the wall.
All right, so Shift, with the big money on the line, let's talk a little bit about these teams, Street Gaming and Galeris. If you're looking for just an individual on this stage, do you have a top performer in the tournament? I know you've been cranking the numbers since the beginning of the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to focus, I think, on Mihawk and Lukaszyn for the side of Galeris, just because of not only what they've done historically across their careers, but even just in their most recent series, they were able to really put the fight to Wolves in a lot of different individual moments on different opposite sides of the spectrum. For one part, you do have the opportunity to play Lucazin on the double tap weapons. On the other side, you do have players like Mihawk up front. That's been the issue up close and personal for Street. I think we're going to see that bit of a rivalry. We talked a lot earlier today about how there's this long-standing history between Pabzera and what we've gotten out of Lucazin, either as teammates or opponents. But you also have players like Bigodera, who's been really, really, really solid and consistent. And I think in particular, looking at their matchups versus TLE, those are the two players for Street that really showed up.
Now, you guys were casting our main stage while I was watching Street over on the Bravo channel during the opening matchup, and the player to watch was actually chaotic. He was dropping 63 kills yesterday in groups. He topped the leaderboard at 57, but that was for the L in hardpoint. So looking at the other four, who needs to step it up when it comes to the respawns? Is it Bigo? Are you looking at GTO? Who's got the big gun? Because Pabzera, I know he's a sniper. You expect him to pop off and search. Does he also do it in hardpoint?
Yeah, I mean, Pabzera definitely deserves the flowers for the standoff search and destroy they took off at Elevate, but I'm absolutely leaning on Bigodera as well. That's a fantastic shout out to you, Alan, because Bigodera, when it comes down to last year's meta with the R90 shotgun, the same conversation I had for Mihawk earlier, it has always been Bigodera. That guy's getting into the trenches, and he is trying to force these kills where they do not belong.
Do we call him an entry fragger here in CODM?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, he's the entry man. Keep your eyes on the multi-killer. GTO, though, is the player I talked to before this matchup. I said, you guys don't look like you're very energetic. He said, we save it for the game. They are nothing but focused on this stage. On the other side, though, Gallerus did their huddle. They were loud. I feel like this whole venue heard them getting ready for this matchup. Let's see what they decided to do in our bans and protects.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about how these two teams have matched up, they played each other once in the LATAM playoff bracket earlier on, and it was a Gallerus 3-0. The difference is, for this scheme of Street Gaming, their worst mode in LATAM was Search and Destroy. They are currently 4-0 in the mode.
Russian.
So you're looking at Gallerus not being a particularly great search team on the weekend so far, and Street, who have found upsets to TLE, but for instance, by way of the Search and Destroys. That's where my focus is if you're Street Gaming. It's the same story we actually told about Gallerus. Street need to come out and win one respawn, win both searches.
Now, both of these teams were able to find success in control throughout the tournament. The only game mode it seems the Chinese squads are losing is control. So who do you give the advantage to when we go to takeoff for game 3, Andy?
For the takeoff control, I am absolutely giving it to Gallerus' way. I mean, when you gets through it all, the ban and protect system, like you got rid of the raid and the crossfire, I don't want to see any sort of that nuttiness if I'm in the camp for Street Gaming. But takeoff is the exact third map that they did play when they met each other in their regional games, and Gallerus wiped them off the planet. 3-0 at that point in time. But one thing that I am happy to see is that standoff search and destroy. Smack dab in the middle. I went back and I was speed running through that VOD earlier when they were playing up against Elevate. And again, just to bring it on home, Pabzera was
incredible. Incredible with the sniper rifle, and I've been told the sniper is more devastating on firing range. True or false, Alan? Where do you think Pabzera can have a bigger impact for Street Gaming?
I think firing range is the right call. I mean, we don't get me wrong, you're going to see snipes hit on standoff, but I think in terms of adding influence and finding early 5v4s, you're getting that more regularly on firing range. So that's, I think you're right to kind of keep the focus there, especially if we get to map 5.
And of course, we'll see what happens in Apocalypse game 4. I have a feeling this isn't going to finish 3-0. I'm expecting that second hard point. We haven't seen a ton of Apocalypse today, so what are we looking forward to if it goes that far?
It's everything that you want to see if you are a fan of Gallerus. They love their long-range engagements from the ARs, their double Type 6-3 meta to introduce themselves in towards this tournament as a whole, puts them in a favorable position when you look at the Apocalypse and the Hacienda because of those longer range gunfights to get Mihawk into the trenches to be able to hit these routes that we saw versus Wolves was a proper nuisance, let's put it that way.
The 1, 3, and 5 in this series is a direct repeat of when they played in their Latin American qualifier. 250, 177 the Hacienda, 7-3 the firing range, and 3-0 the takeoff control. So this legitimately is all about Street Gaming saying we're aware of that. We can improve upon what we had done prior, and they have played some pretty decent reps across this map pool so far this weekend with some good success. So it feels like a pretty good square-up opportunity here for Street Gaming to come out and get some revenge.
We started with 8 teams. We're about to say goodbye to 1. It's a battle of Brazil. Street Gaming Gallerus as we go on to Hacienda on the mic. You have Proper and I hold shift. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Bucket. Yeah, Street Gaming has been the only real major team that has been narratively an upset caliber team.
Yes.
So why not continue that here? you were able to put together a pretty decent fight versus Elevate in your opener. In particular, it was on the Hacienda hardpoint, so that's what you're looking at to see if they can try to improve upon that. Take down Gallerist, start this series off on the right foot, and again, build towards revenge against your inter-region counterpart.
How about the photo finish that they had in their opening series on Hacienda, the 250 to 248 slobber knocker to start the entire tournament to put them on the map. Street over on the favorite side, or Gallerist, excuse me, on the favorite side of the map to start things off, but for Street, it's all just about getting the upper hallway control, trying to keep things scrappy to generate as much time as possible, and then fight for new.
Hardpoint contested.
A little bit of pause as the smoke will really negate either team from getting onto the zone for now. Gallerist able to step back in, though, with numbers, finding a couple of kills from the high ground. And it will be Gallerist just kind of hanging on to this line of scrimmage right up and close and personal from window to window as Lucazine steps forward to the next M4. Does get shut down before finding 4 in a row, but again, the numbers are decent, although Street Gaming, nice little resurgence here off their second set of respawns. Will get some time to counteract the 20 of Gallerist and put some pressure across the map.
Really good thing to point out is that Lucazine is on that XM4, so he's going to get a little bit more activated. He's going to try to get a little bit more aggressive alongside of his 2 SMGs. There's one player in particular that I really want to point out did struggle versus Wolves earlier, was Foki. He's still sitting on the goose egg currently, but we want to see him try to get a little bit more activated. That's your equalizer player, and quite literally needs to get a hot momentum to try to take more maps off the top teams, and this could be where he could get his footing. Spawns have now flipped. You got the back driveway spawns if you are Street Gaming, but Gallerist quite content to hold this from the front.
Maggie gets surprised over on the rock pinch. So Street Gaming will have to try to fight this from driveway and lobby. Gallerist from the front of the hardpoint have gotten their way in, but cannot hold their position. Zeus and Mihawk, the last 2 left alive. Death Machine pulled out, bold calls. The War Machine is also used in combination. The Death Machine shut down, the War Machine staying alive, and for the moment, well, eventually it does get negated, but not before Gallerist can reaffirm some control inside the hardpoint.
Very good time being generated here for Gallerist. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. You started off on the better side of the map. You're already at that 60-point threshold. And now we go over towards P3, where a lot of operators are going to start being online. GTO does have his. Street were here first, but not exactly a stellar setup. Nobody was anchoring the spawns towards the back, though they do read it. That could have gotten out of this world very, very quickly. The Scholars are sort of funneling their way all the way through arches.
Oh, no.
Good job to be able to find the initial gunfights, but then those operators get pulled just in a moment's too late. The Gallerist are starting to poke and prod their way forward.
Yeah, Lucazine actually gets a route through top office to block off and stop the reinforcements for Street, allowing Hen's Sparrow to find more value on the hardpoint itself. So Street Gaming, they technically win the first 2 rotations to P2, P3, but not finding success on actually holding the time until finally we start to get the Tempest online here. GTO will have an opportunity to try to get, again, the proximal spawns faster into the hard point for Street, down about 35 points.
You see the response coming through just for the time that needs to be garnered here for Street Gaming. You get the Death Machine plus the equalizers out for Maggie, as well as the Sparrow to be pulled. They use every single operator possible as far as P3 is concerned, so they're going to be lacking going in towards this P4, minus the Hunter Killer Drone and the Pred Missile. And were able to accrue for themselves off of Street Gaming from P3. But for Gallerist, they're not exactly working with all the resources in the world either. They are lacking numbers on this rotation. Street are putting a lot of numbers and focus over by Office, and it does force a split spawn. But the players inside the time are just absolutely flourishing. Hen for 3.
Yikes! Hen's not done! Working with Foki, and that's one of those setups that you look back at and you were to take like a pause and just a freeze from the minimap. Street Gaming have a full surround on the hill, but they don't hit it together.
Exactly.
The timing was not there, and Hen punishes it completely. But again, quickly on the back foot, Street Gaming able to get themselves combined in for some contest until Mihawk, working with Foki, can clean things up. Death Machine out for Mihawk as he's on 6, making 7 in a row. Eventually shut down, but not before Gallerist can get close to the 100-point threshold.
I mean, they are getting outslayed by a good chunk right now. Mihawk plus Lucazine combined 41 eliminations. Hunter Killer Drone off the Predator Missile all at the same time. At the end of this first set of hard points, it is a 60-point lead that Gallerist will have. Street, the majority of their time all came off of P3, and it came by way of ripping 5 operators. We're going to have to see some real squeaky clean when it comes down to this next set of rotations, because when you got Zeus hitting shots like this, Lucazine piecing you up, and Mihawk getting all these different timings, who was looking rough?
Yeah, and Zeus could just keep throwing shoulders and take these window fights.
Why
There's
not?
just no way you chow him from that position, not with help also pinching on the outsides. And oh, mercy me. Zeus is looking like the god of the Type 63. Nice shots here from Gallerus, get them up to almost 70-plus points. Street, again, able to at least salvage some time, but it's just not in the convincing fashion that they need to start getting back into this game.
War Machine from Zeus does get called out here on P1. They really want to start snowballing this here and maybe try to get any sort of resources out from Street so that way they can continue to lean on what has realistically garnered them such a massive point threshold. It's just all off of their gunnies and execution off of some superior advantages. But Gallerus able to blow them out of the water. Street still reeling, trying to find where they're even located at off of the respawn. Over by well is where they're currently located at, but they're still trailing by that 60-point threshold. They got to turn P2 into a money hill.
Yeah, and as the hard point starts to move and just before the P2 opens up, Gallerus will get a couple of members of spawn behind driveway. Street are not in a position to get a read on this nor deal with it quickly. Pinch on the way from the well spawner, but that gets turned around and traded, and now it's just down to can you hold from the front with this Sparrow. Tempest for Lucazin is out. He's able to connect onto one plus chain it to another, so there's an opportunity for Gallerus to continue to reinforce with the proximal spawns unless Street can get the ops of their own to start to land.
Maggie dies. Would have loved to have the equalizer there potentially. Should
trophy.
Other two operators go awry, and they do. The trophy system just nullifies it, which means that the death machine now is to be pulled out. And Bigodera also drops after only just finding a little bit of peppering from damage. So now you're down to scrap time. Don't use the equalizer here. You got to try to save it for the rotation over towards New. But a bang-up job once again for Gallerus, holding P2 from the front.
Yeah, and you know, we can give a lot of credit to Gallerus for being able to find success from doing that, but they still haven't won a rotation yet.
Correct.
So, again, that's kind of what we saw when they were playing in their opening matchup today, is decent to contest, but as the game starts to get tight, if we're not winning rotations on bigger maps, that's where their weaknesses are. So let's see if Street could just clean things up a little bit. I think especially zoning off and creating a buffer in front of these hard points as they continue to win spawns.
Well, Equalizer is going to get pulled by Maggie, and then the Predator missile from Zeus calls it out, but it's still space being provided because you know that nobody was inside of office. Gallerus fighting all the way through the fences, but Street do have the irons up, and now you got the focus on towards the backside of the map. Yeah, it's better, but you're also EMP'd.
Still hanging, though.
Still hanging.
Habs off of a off spawn, makes use of it to set up a natural pinch. Now the read the Gallerus is playing through patio is pretty well known by Street. They've got all eyes forward for it, and the kills are starting to get there. Zeus has the War Machine out, though, trying to thread the needle between a couple of different setups here that Street have in and around the hard point, but it's Voki that finds himself, too, to open things back up for some neutral time.
Still got those back spawns. Still have that 60-point threshold. But the difference is that you at least stop Gallerus trying to kick down your front door. And you're at least getting an operator out at the same time. And it's a big one. It's Lucazin with an operator. You definitely don't want that guy to be steamrolling their way forward. But here we go. The rotation over towards New. Foki's the only player here. What is happening inside of open stairs? Foki's good for one. Can't find the second. But it's another rotation of which Gallerus is lacking. But they do it the old-fashioned way. They just sprint on in and just gun everybody.
And I think the thing, too, is that they know they've got extra tools to use. EMP now earned for Lucazin on top of the streaks that he had earned by way of the Tempest prior. So again, there's advantages that continue to get built, even if it's not necessarily perfect. You're still using what you got, and they are using it well, considering the circumstances. 182 plays 104. Hardpoint open for now, but that's largely elected to Gallerus because they're trying to zone forward and win P2, which nice shots from Head. He's having a pop off map number 1. Eventually shut down with the majority of the force of Gallerus around the front tiles position, and Street will have a chance to try to get a couple of members into the hard point for time.
Bigodera starting to heat things up ever so slightly. Papzera there with the Sparrow trying to lock things down. Death Machine pulled from Bigodera. Stuffed immediately. Gallerus keeping P4 contested, which means they maintain this leader's advantage, but it's going to grow even more so going into the third set. 193 to 115. It's like you were saying, I mean, the resource dump that came through on P3 going into P4 for Lucazin in particular just was the snowball that you were looking for out of Gallerus when we were talking about all the way back on P2. So something's got to give here. You got to lock into this third set or you're going to go down 0-1 Street.
Yeah, got to find, I think, just success off of the team setups. Good double chow through top lobby stairs. And then a little fall out of the window will work, but only for a small moment. 43 for Lucazin. Are we joking? I'm not. Are you joking?
I am not.
You're not joking either.
Mihawk's also up to 46, by the way. He's just been active ever since the opening frames of this game. Number one between two LATAM teams. Just knowing damn well the confidence that Gallerus has to feel in this matchup alone has to be immense.
Yeah, and I would just say, like, in this particular matchup, coming off of a really emotional loss to Wolves, like, just clean things up and, like, take the moments to clean up your comms, clean up our ideas and our philosophies surrounding especially bigger maps in Hardpoint, because you have to win those, I think, versus the Chinese teams if you're going to make a long run. And so far, Gallerus, even though they've been tested, trying to get the rotation, including another one here to Lambo, they're using good operator usage to break hills. Like, Hen continues to find at least 2 with the Sparrow to open things up. It's just the value has been immense. The only thing I think the purists in the COD world would want to see is just better rotation percentage from Gallerus.
I mean, that's realistically the one thing that was hurting them more than anything when they were going up against Wolves. And although you might be able to get it done here versus Street, that's why we do hold the candlelight up to Gallerus. 5 seconds remain for them to call game. The death machine being pulled. You also got a hunter killer drone to give yourself more space. 250 to 124. And Gallerus, I'm letting them know.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it always will be.
And that's been the story, right? Last 2 years, really, in the Brazilian and just Latin American region. You put Lucas in and Mihawk together, they are not being tested by anyone in their region. And here, in person, in Poland, map 1, from the front, again, break percentage, so clean from Gallerus. And they take a nearly full-on double-up lead and win.
I wonder if they planned that, like, off of, like, just winning map number 1. They just, like, completely actively just won the entire series.
Mental warfare.
Mental warfare. That's what I'm saying. I thought, like, just immediately getting into the heads of the enemy against a team that they have beaten tons of times. Like you said, this was the same exact map number 1 that they played regionally. Yep. It was 250 to 177 then. Now we're on local area network, and it got even more devastating. The Type 6-3 shots coming through from Zeus up top of the upper hallways, never really fully contested. Lucasen with the XM4 getting mixy with Hen and Mihawk.
Yeah, dude.
Absolute chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's just, again, the only thing you can look to is the purist side of it of, like, we just need to rotate better, and this could have been a 250 to 25. But Street not able to hang inside the hard point, even though they're winning rotation. Couple of really tough goes, 33 and 49, 32 and 47, 26 and 41. It just, even though you're getting some hard point time across the board, not being able to stay maybe as significant into the hard point as you'd like, considering that you won spawns in almost every single money hill, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
If your street gaming is a major issue, but how this series turns around, and this is what we talked about if you're joining us here maybe a little bit late, or you just were off getting more coffee or whatever it was during the pre-match setup. We didn't expect that Street Gaming was going to win this by way of the respawns. They need to win this by way of the search and destroys and take one respawn somewhere. So, yeah, Hacienda, fine. We've seen it a lot from Gallerus. We know what to expect. For Street Gaming, though, you have to win map number 2.
Oh, unquestionable. You have to almost really stick it to the other side if you're looking from one player in particular. That's Pabzera. He was the player that was quite literally dropped from this Gallerus roster going in towards this entire event. And the one thing that he was always bringing to the table for this team and regionally as well was always his sniper play at the same time. So going in towards the standoff search and destroy, I think that this is where they could find a boon of success. Again, taking any maps off of Elevate, you definitely got to be feeling good about that one. But it was 7-3 versus them on standoff.
Yeah. So that's what we got coming up next.
That's right.
Then if we eventually get their map 5 firing range.
And that should be it. You got some immediate VOD on that from the way that Wolves just completely dismantled them in that map number 2 in the opening series.
Yeah, that's conversation for another time, though. Let's start and focus.
Gotta get there.
Here, there, and now. And this has been the big storyline for Street. Their worst mode in their region was Search. They are flawless in Search and Destroy so far. Couple of overtime wins, a 9-7 on Coastal versus Stalwart, and an 8-6 overtime win on Kurohana versus TLE. But here on Standoff, 2-0 on it, 7-4 to 7-3 are the 2 different results. So they've been convincing on this map, and that's why we continue to really lean into the fact that they have to win it.
But it's who they want it against, too. You know, going in towards that TLE matchup, albeit like North America not exactly like the strongest region ever, but for Search and Destroy, you would expect it to be a little bit more competitive than that. Street did a really good job at just being able to break down and dissect any sort of setups when they were on the offensive side. Elevate, on the other hand, they were just completely setting pace. And that's something that you do have to be aware of when you're thinking of the opposite team for Gallerus, who like to play it slow and methodical. That hesitation did come back to bite them in the rear when it came down to a lot of decision-making in the firing range versus Wolves earlier. But it is standoff, so quicker rotations around back deli to get inside a hostile, or even just to get over towards the A bomb site with a nice little Mihawk shotgun or SMG inside a cube on an offensive round could be Gallerus's MO.
Let's find out. It will be Gallerus on the offense to get us started on this first half. Street Gaming, double scopes in play for Pabs and GTO as expected. How do they want to set the tempo up? Nades passing by one another over the top of the middle of the map. And it will be Pabs' eyes towards top brown. Passive setup on the backside of Delhi for the defense while they put 3 members committed into A.
Bomb's still forgotten in spawn. Gallerus still trying to take space. They're trying to get some good information. You know Lucason's going to go and pick up that bomb should they need it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Bigodata in some trouble. A little bait and switch set up over towards Fridge. Has us in a very early 5v3. Bomb will be collected, and look at how far forward Gallerus have gotten through the middle of the map thanks to that Fridge kill. Follow-up from Zeus is good, and this round is looking pretty comfortable for Gallerus's attack.
Yeah, I mean, the smoke's going to dissipate before the bomb fully gets planted, but it may not even matter, does it? I mean,
R9.
Massive shot coming through, so at least you stopped the bomb from being planted. You got another isolated gunfight should you want it. Chaotic?
Yeah, Chaotic is crushing right now.
You doing the thing.
You doing that thing.
Yeah, so now, if you're looking from Foki and Hen's perspective, like double up together, just try to execute this 2v2 because now routes are being taken.
Yeah. Odin out for Hen. Trying to match Chaotic at range if possible, and Maggie has crouched his way into a power position, but Chaotic does get isolated. And now it's just down to the question, where has Maggie gone? And oh, for a second, it looked like maybe Foki had looked towards this direction, but the timing comes through. First shot hits for Maggie, looking for the 1v1 now. And trying to jump over the wall for a moment. There is Foki, who eventually pops out, surprises him, takes the dub, and Gallerus get the opener.
And Foki lets him know on the opposite side as well. The double HSO shotgun coming through from Foki and Mihawk means that a lot of aggression will be there, backed by the double sniper. You're gonna have to be aware of that for this opening utility to try to keep them at a distance. They're leaving the bomb again in spawn, trying to get a good feel for the information, but look at the deli push.
Yeah, it's all about forward positioning with numbers. Take your odd man advantage in things like a 3v2 somewhere on the map and then go back and collect the bomb once you have, first blood secured. Not the case here, though. Street Gaming playing a little bit more reserved, not committing members into A, and instead playing more of a fluctuating flex-style defense back towards Grandma's.
Smoke there over by the hay bales. And unbeknownst to them, that's not blocking anything, but still have a lot of brown lurking happening. Yeah, Foki's going to find that first blood, immediately traded 4v4.
But the pistol out for Zeus connects. Numbers will stay with Gallerus as Pabzera is not able to get us back to a 3v3 as the shots towards mid-tank miss, and he cannot cleanly get back into Delhi. Lucasin hitting hard with the Tundra, has now gotten this to very comfortable terms for Gallerus, who will not make this more interesting and instead just drop one in the process of getting their second round.
Yep, that's right. And again, the way that they're forgetting about the bomb is to try to catch the immediate timing on the cross to either get the information or the initial first blood. 1 for 1 in the center of the map with the HSO shotgun. This time it's a heavy focus over towards A and L, trying to maybe get some courtyard control.
And yeah, Chaotic is going to step up with the Odin here at mid-street. Support behind him as GTO has scope out by Delhi, but Chaotic will drop. The double setup at this A defense has also been read by the look of it, as I believe Maggie had been seen on this move over towards the tank. Gallerus trying to isolate best they can. They find Bigodera first. And with that, knowing they've got numbers to play up towards B, it looks like they're just going to continue to try to play their numbers advantage, but Maggie does connect onto Lucasin, and that's going to ring the alarm bells of Gallerus offensively.
And you lost both your ARs, so now you're down to your HSO shotgun and your 2 snipers, hoping for some clean shots to come through. Zeus looking for the hip fire, but won't find it. Maggie will clean him up. So 3v1 we go now off of Maggie's death. GTO's still alive, and he could actually catch good timing, but he has the wrong read. Or does he?
Has both weapons, though.
Oh.
Slide across.
You see him, you think?
Yep. Hen Going to commit for the plant behind this. How do you exit? Okay. Foki's in spawn. Can we swap perspectives, please? Thank you.
He's just playing with his food. He knows he's like still hanging around this tank. And I think that's just like the bait for Foki to maybe hit a route. But the problem is that Foki has a shotgun. Oh, no, he does have a secondary Tundra, so.
Yep. Oh, just throwing shoulders, gloves out, just running.
Yeah.
Pumping the corner. Oh, jeez. Yeah, says I got help nearby. Let's just go ahead and send it. Keep the aggression up.
Nice little movement there at the end, but yeah, it's like you said. I mean, on that cross for Hen, when he was sliding forward, definitely saw the cross there from the sniper rifle, and once he got the bomb planted in that 1v2, just good manipulation around Cube, throwing shoulders and baiting out the inevitability of the pinch. 3-0 for Gallery. Now they got the bomb, and it is an aggressive hit to it.
Yeah, but you have a couple of smokes and stuns still available here for the defense playing on this barrel stack wall, but Foki just steps up and goes 1 for 1. That's enough to create space for the bomb to get planted, but without the defensive read through mid, Street will find another elimination, but they can't get through the scope of Lucazin, who continues to dominate mid-map. Tough battle here, which Pabs does find his longtime bud. Maggie traded, and it's just down to Chaotic outside the picture looking in.
You got the open for the first, almost the lineup for the second. You got the information. Smoke's gonna come through, does absolutely nothing, and yeah, Hen, he got the read. Got to play for the clock though, goes for the challenge and is able to take down Chaotic. Some good shots initially, but not enough to walk away with the gunfight win, let alone a round yet. 4-0 opener for Galleris.
That's a massively confident way to play that 1v1 from Hen too, knowing, okay, I don't have the ability to play street side against an Odin. Let me just kind of slide back and forth between the bomb heady and the tractor. And that works out to clutch up the round and keep it perfect as mentioned, but this time opening nades do land for Street. Had them in their first 5v4. But, hi, how are you? Foki just taking a look at his kicks, gets a little bit of damage onto another, but no trade initially. The problem is Hen is still feeling it. Takes a 1v2 through Fridge, and numbers back to a 3v2 in favor of Galleris.
Yeah, and this is the adjustment for Street, right? Galleris only showed an aggressive hand on that previous round, just a quick execute over towards A. So Street were setting up for maybe that to be the second time of it happening, but it doesn't work out. Galleris go back towards, what was it, like their round 2, where they're just slow poking around the backside of Delhi, causing a lot of distress around L and catching a lot of players off guard. 2v3.
And this gas pinch is chasing shadows right now.
Could be beneficial off the peak, though.
Yeah, it could be, especially on this crossing ankle. Yep, first shot lands. Second opportunity coming through, but does not land. So we get to the 2v2. Bigodata, not the weapon for the job at the moment, as he's got Lucazin. Yep, that's what you're afraid of. The scope in front of you, a GTO, catches the angle first, leaving Mihawk to a 1v2. And he's going to get challenged quickly. Nade queued up. Cooked really nicely, but how much damage actually gets confirmed? Here comes the push forward. You got to line him up. Not going to happen. And Bigodera will make sure Street get on the board.
Super late grenade to clear out of Cube. Wonderfully executed there for Street to finally get themselves on the board. But even through like the opening salvo, once they saw the play developing right in front of their eyes, it's no longer a fast hit over towards A. You just have to hope for something to go your way. And to be able to find the timing, like you were talking about the gas pinch, because they went back, collect the bomb. Nobody's watching that pinch anymore. Able to find the timing to peek onto the top side of Bakery and then go top round. Wonderfully done for Street. Can they find another defensive round?
They're going to go to a 2-1-2 split here for the defense for Street. Aggression from Chaotic, but a smoke blossoms right in front of Tractor and may have stolen away an opportunity for her first blood. And that's enough for Galleris to say, whoa, this is different. We got to back up and respect the fact that we do need to look to see if Street are going to push through this A hit.
Yeah, the secondary set up to what the aggression was going to look like should they want to do it one more time. Maggie gets first blooded. It's going to cause the defense to be honest as the bomb gets planted here at B.
Yeah, and that's not great news right now for Street, because not only do they need to re-clear out Delhi, but look at number 3 in yellow. Zeus is watching the cross from A, so there's no chance for a flank. Everything is technically covered, so you got to hit your shots. Pabzera connects for the first. Numbers now down to a 4v4. How has Bigodata gotten behind this play?
This timing's nuts.
If he can find the scope of Lucas, it could be massive, but Zeus connects onto 2 on that cross that I was mentioning from before, so it's got to be Pabs, it's got to be Bigodata, 2 of the long-standing members in Brazil trying to stop this post plant setup. Oh, Pabs! How does he hit that? Trade for Mihawk, counteracted by Bigodata to the 1v1, time becoming an issue. and he can't hit through the banister in front of Delhi. A 5-1 half for Galeris.
I don't know how Pabzera was able to get that quick swap plus the snap there with the HSO shotgun, but all heroics are for naught after losing Maggie, your B defender, for potentially shutting down what was going to be that quick plan off of the pivot from what was looking over at A. Now you trail by 4 rounds.
That nade, backside boxes looked like it may have landed, so it's going to slow down Street maybe just a touch. Smoke from barrel side. Zeus in some trouble, able to reset for a moment, but can't turn it into too much. So we've got a 3v2 advantage to Street as they plan over towards A.
A little bit of miscommunication looked like from Hen and Lucas on where they wanted to go. Didn't look like that they were going to be teaming up together. They got to, you would think, have to clear Brown. It's Pabzera made the absolute correct play.
Yeah, just stay alive. Post plant set up to lean towards mid. Retake. Taking its time, to be fair. It's going to have to make its way through barrel at this point.
Well, they're hoping that Lucasen is able to catch one. Yeah, there you go. Now it's just about isolation and trying to overwhelm with numbers.
Problem is the clock, though. You really don't have the ability to make your way back through mid, so you just got to hit some shots. C1 jumping through the fence line, but they don't expect the one over towards Cube. Luca by ourselves. This is the first, hit the second, but there's help nearby. GTO converts, and that's a second round for Street.
Would have been a face scope montage if he was going to be able to hit it, but not going to be the case here. So in the 7th round, Street find their second. Slowly fighting. Again, here on Standoff Search and Destroy, you do have the luxury to get a lot of good offensive rounds to throw the defense off kilter. And that's to see if Street's going to be able to do that. Shutting down Lucasen for this first blood would be very, very impactful, but it's all the setup to get Mihawk inside of L.
Now, we've seen Galeris be in positions like this before, but it hasn't turned into round-winning conditions. Maybe a 1-for-1 at best, but this time, Foki's also getting deep in towards Brown. Oh, that's a lot of damage, but Foki still follows up for a second shot to get the first blood. Mihawk still playing up towards L, and Foki is just finessing.
Yeah.
And now Mihawk can make his play, and that is a very quick 6th round for Galeris.
And for dropping a goose egg in the firing range Search and Destroy versus Wolves earlier, Foki is just right at home here on Standoff, isn't he? With that HSO shotgun, being able to feel comfortable inside of Brown. I'm just more surprised of how he was able to slide shout that, still got the second shot for the elimination, but still didn't get traded with players in the vicinity. Map point here for Galeris, and they are heavily seeing all these nades thrown over towards A.
They're ready to contest this, though. Double trophies were down here. Maggie finds the first, damage onto a second. Does he overchow and overheat? Well, maybe not, because he finds 3. Bold to say it plainly, but if it works, you can't really deny it. Nope. And it worked.
Bomb has been planted.
All right, so 1v5 certainly out of the question. Yeah, Mihawks are going to get found out. But it just is the same as like such an uncharacteristic and unorthodox push through Brown, like what you got to see from Foki in the previous round. That overheat all the way through Cube, like you said. You got the double trophy system confirmed with all the nades. And he just completely catches 3 different players off guard. The HSO, that thing is strong.
Similar setup here for Street off the get-go, but more reserved in nature as Maggie continues to be a big problem right in front of that Cube push through. They know he's stuck on side of hay, but you wait for the regen, you get through. A stray hit marker hits the player backside boxes, but all things told, it will be a 5v4 in favor of Street on their attack.
You can indeed wallbang that.
Oh,
Zeus, good centering. I thought GTO was going to be able to pull the trigger. Not the case. 4v4 now. And they know that there's still one player certainly lurking around A, but they don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, they know that Maggie was here before, but do they know that he's still here? And on top of that, if they try to push for the isolation, will they be vulnerable to this play on the backside of Fridge? Mihawk out in no man's land finds one, trying to follow for another, but Chaotic was there to keep the play alive and keep the numbers, more importantly, in favor of Street.
So that's going to call for the rotation to go over towards B, but the problem is they never cleared Cube, so Maggie's still just vibing, confirming nobody slid on me, so we can rotate back over towards A. The timing.
No way.
Zeus was holding it. He had to have seen the nameplate for the secondary cross. Smoke gets called to then cover their way over towards the A bomb, but they've just shown their play. They can open up the scoreboard and see that Maggie's still alive. There's realistically only one position I think he's in.
And it's the right read right here from Galeris. You know that one of the scopes has moved their way over. You got that elimination, so you've got mid-map all in front of you. Plus, of course, you know that Maggie's on a shotgun. I believe that shoulder was just seen. So now you got a 1v2 situation. Maggie trying to go quickly. Sound cue on the bomb defusal. And it's not going to turn into anything as Galeris were able to overwhelm it. and take a very comfortable, all things told, 7-3, quickly up 2-0.
Yeah, with a very uncharacteristic and unorthodox, I would say, approach for the offense, waiting to save the aggression until the latter 3 rounds on the offense, completely and utterly throwing wrenches into the system, setting players up time and time again. Foki had a fantastic map number 2. Mihawk was constantly getting aggressive. I talked how we were going to expect a double HSO shotgun plus the double sniper rifle more than likely in between all of Gallerus. We saw that quite frequently on the standoffs or on the firing range earlier today, and it comes through wonderfully. The offensive transitions were absolutely electric.
Bigger narrative across this series. We talked about how it had been flawless for Street Gaming in the Search and Destroy on the weekend. That was a must-win map for them, you think? And outside of a couple of gut check rounds where they're able to get away with some early first blood aggressions and then keep the numbers advantage, I won't lie, Gallerus looked pretty solid on the map, all things told. They were able to get a couple of players inserted deep into the defensive lines.
Yeah.
And even on the defensive side, they were able to get players like Mihawk and Foki really far forward. So, good map manipulation leads to advantages that were just too much to overcome. So
their defense was so fundamentally sound, man. Yeah. It's like that Maggie Overchow was like the biggest monkey wrench that you could possibly imagine for themselves, but you're always going to get Lucas and top grandmas. And it's more for the other team, for Street, to recognize that, but it's not just the sniper rifle you have to be worried about. What pressure does that cause over by Courtyard, over by L? There was always Foki. It was always Mihawk. Hen has himself a fantastic map number 2. Double positive for the kid, 10-5. Zeus 10-7. 10 of those kills coming away with the sniper rifle, unless I miscounted. But geez, that team of Gallerus is absolutely firing. They knew coming into this one, got to be confident.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of injected fuel into this series because it is an inter-rival, or inter-regional rival and an elimination matchup.
Right.
And the expectation for Gallerus, I'm sure internally, is that, you know, after finishing top 4 last year and being one of the West's bests in the year that Wolves won back in 2023, that they're looking to try to get into a championship Sunday and find a way to possibly scale deeper than just finishing top 4. Get to that, you know, 3rd place match. Get to that lower finals at least. It's a tall road, though, when you come into going down and playing a tough opponent and now having to go all the way to lower bracket round 1. But I'll tell you what, the teams that we've seen make long lower bracket runs don't lose confidence.
Yeah.
They come out, they take care of business in the lower round 1 matchup, which they expect to win. And that just rides them through.
Yeah, it really does. So you can only get more and more confident.
Yeah.
Again, when your backs are against the wall, you've only got so much more left to lose. And it could potentially be a last potential map with your 1+15. You know that everybody wants to be playing a lot more maps and a lot more series on that bad boy. But I mean, when you start getting the confidence of which Lucasen never is lacking, with a win like this, could only skyrocket them that much further for other players on their team like Mihawk and for Hen as well. Like, this is a very vibey squad. We've seen it so many different years. And this is a team that wants to finally break past that threshold of Gallerus to finally get past top 4.
Yeah. And the way to do that for Gallerus is to come out and handle business on takeoff control, which is map number 3, a map that they utilized a lot inside their regional qualifiers, but they've also found good success on here this weekend. To be fair, though, they only played Xochitl and Diavolos on the map, and both of them went round 5. But all in all, the control's been really good. That's just been the best mode so far for Gallerus.
Correct.
Especially after their win versus Wolves on Crossfire, which both of us were sitting here like, why choose to play them on Crossfire when takeoff is right there? But
it wasn't because of their fundamentals. Like it was
they were good.
Sheer grit in that offensive round to be able to convert it as well. I think it's just like the one thing that you never fully expect is the X factor to come through from one of these players of Gallerus to be able to find that multi-kill and set themselves up for an offensive round win on takeoff. It's a little bit more likely to be able to see offensive rounds being converted. However, it's a lot more meticulous when it comes down to finally getting over towards that B control zone. The problem with this is historically, it was the map 3 that did conclude in the last time they fought interregionally, and Street Gaming didn't take a single round.
Yeah. So, trying to build a reverse sweep narrative, difficult, especially considering that map 5 firing range was also part of the picture when they played in the regional qualifier, and it was a very comfortable one for Gallerus then too.
I haven't played Apocalypse this weekend.
No, they have. Yeah, and they haven't. Like neither of the two teams really played a lot based on what we've seen. Yeah, just period. Agreed. But who knows? Could be a wild card. Has to start here though, first and foremost. And it will be Street on the offense to get things kicked off. And eyes towards the high ground play, which Maggie's able to beat Foki. Lucasen, Hen follow up, and the numbers looking good as Galaris will control some of that side staircase until GTO connects twice with scope.
What you're really looking for here as the defensive team, you want to try to get that north side building, that control building in your favor. That is a very powerful position. It's always going to force them to spawn inside a launch, but Street have actually found an avenue to get all the way out past the B control zone. Could be setting up for a scaffolding hold.
The defensive forward line, though, continues to at least trade things out. Or even though in Lives 21 playing 21, Maggie looking at a route around the back. And that looks like they want to try to clear the north side of the map. Yeah, Stuns and Nate's head in that direction. So eyes towards A here. Big win from Bigodero to create some space to allow this route to happen, but they cannot find Lucasen. He's just been sitting in front of this smoke. Connects onto 2 off screen. Street Gaming are able to at least keep the life lead, but they're having a really tough time staying alive on zone, and that might help.
It's the moment that Galaris get any information that Street are dipping their toes in towards one of these 2 zones, the collapse comes through lickety-split. A lot of mid-map control, 50-yard line being held, whatever analogy you would like to use, but regardless, lives may be even, but that clock is looking devastating.
Yeah, this is just Galaris doing the tappers of the
tapperoo, yeah.
And the Type 63s is hitting like a freight train as Mihawk pushes forward with some aggression. Life lead now in favor of Galaris, down to 15 seconds worth of time to play with, as Street will avoid some spawn trap and take their desperation measures over towards B.
Got to hop on the zone, stay on the zone too, because when you look at that clock, man, like you got to try to add the 60 seconds, and then maybe you can play a little bit of TDM, but you have no respawns, and realistically, you have no space to try to move forward because control is already gone, and you lost all the space you previously had at B. 2 seconds remain, and in a 2v6, you know that all Galaris are licking their lips waiting for them that challenge to come through. A single segment has been earned, and we'll make sure we tally that one, but not exactly the opening breakoff you were hoping for out of Street.
No, and I see the idea, like Street is trying to make a mess in the middle of the map by getting around and taking away the high ground of Galaris, which is the right move if you want to try to get A quickly, but the problem was they never were able to feel out how far Galaris were playing defense over towards that P4 side of the map. So it's like you get some success on their high ground, but they're also getting success in your spawn. So it's just a tall battle to fight for, as Galaris will come out, keep the lives even, and automatically jump onto A by again, playing the top side of the map and already confirming about a first tick of progress.
Let's say it's like the meta way of like approaching like a takeoff control. You can get like inside of the control building, that northern part, and then you get inside a lounge, and exactly where you have Hen located at. His crossfire is gross. 5 life lead here for Galaris off of the opening salvo.
And this is what we did not see from Maggie. Hen is moving the spawns of Street over and over again to the bottom right corner of the map, which is not where you want to be, because now you have to try to cross into the Type 63s, and this is what happens. Extra 60 on the clock, 5 life advantage, 4 operators for Galaris. In what is a confidence-boosting round of World Champs, it feels like.
Maggie's going to pull out the Sparrow just to try to rectify this opening break-off. Perhaps Zera also ripped as well. I wonder if he's going to get that charge back if he's shot any grenades, but it is straight gunfights all over the place. 16v13 right now, and Galaris are thriving in the chaos.
Dude, look at Hen on the minimap, number 1 in blue. He just continues to just chill and say, all right, I got you guys spawning bottom right while we capture A. Oh, you guys don't want to rotate around that? I'm just going to go to the bottom right, force you to spawn top right while we capture B. It's just, he is playing field general right now. And it's setting up his teammates to find success with the operators, and then coming off spawn also know where they need to take their battles as they try to approach over towards B. But Chaotic is able to find a couple with the Death Machine. They actually make it 4 for the Death Machine. That'll push things down to a 10v6, make it worse than that as the Annihilator's also out, and Street Gaming have some signs of life here defensively late in the round.
90 seconds remain here. Almost everything plus the kitchen sink is being thrown for Street to hold on to this defense and get themselves up on the board. No respawns remaining, though. And you have an operator should you want to use it. GTO has the Annihilator out, needs to go huge with it.
Does Lucasen try to match and say, I got this? 4v4, GTO now has it at numbers advantage for Street. And you can see the defensive line of scrimmage forward through the middle of the map and on scaffolding. Hunter Killer Drone trying to scout out where exactly this offense is moving. Same can be said for Galaris' attack as they make their way through Stadium. Oh, and has Hen is denied. It's just down to Mihawk. And Lucasen who pulls out the Annihilator. Oh my goodness. What do you got for us? Trying to isolate. Oh, nice shot from Maggie. Leaving it down to Luca for the 1v3. halfway through the charge of his Annihilator, is going to have to make a call. Around the corner. First shot misses. Second, not going to be there. And Street Gaming, a huge response after the start.
Yeah. That's the one deep pull that you needed when you're looking at it from Street's perspective. They lost out in segments after the A zone was captured, but again, all 5 operators being used for Street going in towards this next round. It's going to be pretty gritty. Zeus has the only operator available. It's going to be the War Machine as it ceremoniously is eating nades over the top. There are trophy systems deep, and all of Street are mostly trying to get through inside of launch so that way they can get over to B once again, but that leaves under scaffolding completely vulnerable.
Yeah, that was a heck of a setup for Gallerus attempt-wise. If you're going to throw the War Machine over the top, you could send everybody else right up through scaffolding, but Street deal with it really nicely, not just negating the War Machine, but also responding to the forward play from Gallerus defensively.
Yep.
Problem is, Mihawk, like you mentioned, underneath scaffold is the last agent deep, and will make good on that to at least keep Street away from a numbers concentration type situation.
Got space being provided around the back. Watch player number 5 in yellow. He's getting activated. As Maggie, he loses the initial gunfight, which means now his teammates on the B zone are a little bit more vulnerable. He would have loved to stay on that zone and maybe keep the clock stalled out while your teammates off of the respawn are able to get more space. But again, you got players in such powerful positions that are hurting these Street Gaming members to be spawning in very uncomfortable situations.
However, Maggie continues to just force an opening into the mix. Mihawk and Foki, though, take this into a 2-life defensive advantage. The other opponent here for Street Gaming is again the clock, down to 30 seconds to fight, and there's just not much map control here for Street. They do get one member to stop the clock on towards B, but it's very individual, it's very isolated. And the Sparrow for Maggie, try as it may, only finds 2 before being shut down as we continue to look at under 30 on the clock with just one member on B.
No excess assistance off of the Sparrow. There were kills already coming through. Foki now pulls out the Tempest just to try to find a little bit more value, and he slides into control on the stairs. Now the high ground is all Gallerus. Now he knows where they're spawning, going in towards Lounge. The crossfire has been held, and the lives are depleting.
11 plays 5. Street finding some kills here, though. Can they pull this back? With only 12 seconds on the clock, they're resorting to playing on top of A, and the surround is here for Gallerus. It just comes down to can Street win their gunfights, and there may not be enough numbers to do that on even footing. And that's indeed the case. Gallerus find themselves on series point.
Yeah. And even if this next round doesn't even go their way, Gallerus already guaranteed a round 5 defense off of the segments that were not captured by Street Gaming. And again, the double dip for the attempt to try to get out from that B control zone all the way through launch off the opening rip, it didn't work the first time. Would have loved for them to go a little bit more orthodox of a route, but now you have to step up and hold the line for Gallerus just to stay alive in the tournament.
Pab's able to find 2 with the War Machine right off the rip. You could see Gallerus were trying to avoid that by playing inside a stadium. Doesn't matter too much, though, as now as the War Machine fades away, Gallerus start to make their move. Largely just playing in front of scaffolding. The long-range battles, though, come away in favor of Street. So numbers advantage starting to amount as Street Gaming's defense is looking good, but look who's gotten through. It's Foki this time, although he gets red. So opportunity for Street to build a major advantage here.
Well, you remember the one thing that absolutely plagued their last defense was because Hen got all the way into the top side of Lounge and, like you were calling, was hurting them to spawn in multitude of different angles and unfortunate situations. Mihawk finds 2. Foki's there for the 3rd. Is that enough space to provide themselves to go through scaffolding? You got 2 players on a different mission, though, trying to get over towards B while other players are causing a nuisance inside of control.
There are 3 sets of high ground that dominate this map. You control 2 of them, you likely win. And that looks to be kind of the idea behind Gallerus as they continue to try to play through P4. Not going to be allowed to now as Street Gaming have overwhelmed that part of the map, and they have also cleared out the B contested. So now the